Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday Night Football live stream here on FanSided. I am Matt Verderam, NFL Insider, alongside Josh Hill, and we will have all of the conversation you could possibly ask for the game between Philadelphia and Atlanta tonight. But before the game starts in about a half hour or so, we have plenty to get through from the week that was in the NFL, Mr. Hill.
We do. Let's start on Thursday night. The Buccaneers and the Panthers. The Buccaneers win 20-14 over Carolina. First win of the season. Cam Newton, he's there to go for it on 4th and goal for the Panthers. They don't give it to him. They run a different play. He's had a rough first couple of weeks. What's up with Cam Newton? Didn't look good against the Bucs. What do you expect next week?
Well, look, right now he's got problems with the shoulder and problems with the foot, I think. He hurt the foot against the Pats in preseason. It was kind of almost forgotten about because he's been working to come back from that shoulder surgery all offseason long. He doesn't look like he's comfortable moving around the pocket. No. And he doesn't look like he's comfortable stepping into his throws. And we saw that against Tampa Bay, your Buccaneers.
That's right.
It looked, I don't want to say painful, but awkward. It just didn't look on schedule the way you normally see with Cam. So, like, until I see him play better, I kind of expect more of the same. He just doesn't seem like he's very healthy at this point.
Yeah, and somebody that did look good, surprisingly, Jameis Winston. Doesn't have any turnovers in the game. Throws for a touchdown. Actually looked pretty good. Which version of him are we going to see in Week 3 against the Giants? The one from Week 1 or the one from Week 2?
I think Week 2 because you're seeing the Giants. I think, look, realistically speaking, you and I have talked about this a lot on and off air. Like, he's got all the talent in the world. The problem has always been the turnovers. Now, can Bruce Arians and that staff curtail that for the first time in his career? They did on Thursday night. The Bucs win the game. You move on. I do think he'll play well against the Giants. The Giants are terrible. Yeah. I think most quarterbacks will play well against the Giants. My question is with Winston as we move on and we move forward. Let's say they beat the Giants. How does he play when they play the better teams on their schedule? The Saints, the Falcons, teams like that. What are you getting out of them? I'm curious to see how it all shakes, but I do feel encouraged by Winston in a game they needed to win, playing well and not forcing the issue.
Another game that a team needed to win, the Dolphins needed to win against the Patriots. They did not get it, 43-0. When are we going to see Josh Rosen? Because this is getting sad in Miami.
Reports are coming out now that Week 3 might be the time. And frankly, if I'm Josh Rosen, I might tell Brian Flores, no, I'm good. You know what? I'll keep my value at a minimum if that means getting to keep my body. Look, I don't understand why they didn't start in Week 1. They waited until they were down 52-10 to put him in the game. Didn't work out. They waited till they were down 30-some-odd points against New England to put them in the game. Didn't work out. Give them a shot. Look, they're not going to win anyway. Let's just call a spade a spade. They're not. I don't care if Mahomes was on that team. They're not going to win many games. But at least give them a chance to evaluate Rosen. Because right now you're evaluating Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that's just doing you no good. It's a waste of time.
Yeah. The Patriots have outscored their last two opponents 76-3. Are they unstoppable? Because it certainly looks like they're pretty close to that at this point.
See, I think they're very good. I think they're the best team in football right now. But no, I don't think they're unstoppable. And look, I also say, people say, they've only given up 3 points in these two games. The Steelers game is very impressive. You won 43-0 over Miami. Like, let's just take that for what it is. Miami's awful. Miami's going to lose a lot of games this year by 30-plus points. So, it's like being impressed if Alabama beat Presbyterian. Like, okay, I mean, fine, right? But like you're supposed to. You're Alabama. I think New England is excellent. I think New England is the class of the NFL right now. I do think, though, eventually they will play some harder games. They will play Philly. They'll play Dallas. They'll play Kansas City. We know who the Pats are. They're a great team. They're going to earn a bye. And frankly, they're probably going to be in the AFC title game facing Kansas City or such. So I think at this juncture, I think the Pats are really good. But unstoppable? No, it's September.
No, fair enough. The 49ers, they go into Cincinnati. They get their second Eastern time zone win since 2014, I believe.
And since last Saturday.
That's true. Yeah. So you have 41-17 over the Bengals. Are they real? Are they legit? Should we believe in Jimmy G? What's going on? What do you say?
I think they're legit from the standpoint they're certainly better. And if Garoppolo is upright as he wasn't for most of last year, I think you're in pretty good shape in terms of the offense is better. The question I have with the 49ers is, okay, look, you've beaten the Bucs. We'll see how the Bucs are 1-1 right now. Okay, it's a mixed result. You beat the Bengals, who we all expected to stink. What is that going to be like when you start playing some of the best teams in the league? You get the Rams twice, the Seahawks twice. You've got the Browns. You've got the Steelers who are coming in this Sunday. We'll see if Ben Roethlisberger plays. I like where the 49ers are headed. My question is can you continuously do that against good teams? I don't know. They needed 2 pick sixes to beat the Bucs. That's not happening every week.
Yeah.
But I like where they're headed after 2 wins.
What about the Bengals? How should Bengals fans feel after the first 2 weeks of the season?
I think a mixture. Look, encouraged with the Seattle game, disappointed with the San Francisco game, but I think ultimately they're about what you expected. They're terrible defensively. They're going to have to score a lot of points, and this is not a team that's ever been a big offensive team with Andy Dalton, or at least rarely so. They don't have A.J. Green right now. Tyler Boyd's their number 1 receiver. He's a good player, but he's not a 1. Joe Mixon has been hurt. He ended up being able to play, but he's still banged up. I think realistically, if you're a Bengals fan, this season's about evaluating the younger players. Mm-hmm. It's not about how many wins and losses you have.
The Lions, they get a surprising 13-10 win over the Los Angeles Chargers. If you're a Chargers fan, what positive are you taking out of this game?
That it's over. Seriously, not much, man. You can't go into Detroit and play that badly. Detroit missed kicks left and right, took a million penalties. And if you're the Chargers, you just kick yourself. You fumbled at the 1 yard line in the third quarter, up 10-6, could have put the game away. Mm-hmm. You missed kicks in your own right. If I'm the Chargers, seriously, there's not a ton. I'm walking out of that saying, look, let's put it behind us. They got to go play Houston in week 3, back in L.A. It's a big game. You don't want to go to 1-2, especially with Kansas City. You're going to 2-0. So you want to stay in touch there. It's a tough loss if you're the Chargers.
What about the Lions? They haven't lost the game yet this year.
They've not.
They've only won 1, and they've played 2. When is it okay to start wondering if Matt Patricia is going to coach this team next year?
It's weird to say about a 1-0-1 team, but if you watch the Lions, it is
good.
Just bad.
No.
There is so many mistakes, and I think it's not fair maybe to wonder today since they're 1-0-1, but is it fair to wonder once they're 3-5-1? Yeah. The problem is they're so undisciplined. There was a sequence in the game where they played, I believe it was a punt. They fumbled the punt. It was recovered by the Chargers, and then it was wiped away by offsetting penalties. They punt again, and they took 2 personal fouls on the play. Mm-hmm. I mean, what are we talking about? And stuff like that happened throughout the game. Stafford throws a brutal pick. They ran some very questionable plays. Look, I think the Lions are more talented than people realize, but Patricia's got to do a better job of putting them in a position to succeed. They won today, yes, because they played well enough at the end, but also because the Chargers made myriad mistakes to keep them in the game in the first place.
From one bad NFC North team to another one, the Minnesota Vikings, they go into Lambeau, they lose 21-16. When, if ever, are Vikings fans going to be able to not live in absolute terror of Kirk Cousins?
When he's gone. No, and I like Cousins, I to an extent, right? But you win week 1 because you throw the ball 10 times. Mm-hmm. You're not going to win games in the NFL throwing the ball 10 times. I don't care how good you are defensively, how well you can run the football. And look, I give Cousins a pass to some degree. Their line stinks. Yeah. I mean, at some point, can you block? Can anybody in Minnesota block? But to be fair to Cousins and that offensive line, blame's got to go both ways. There are times when Cousins just doesn't make the throws. Yeah. He's too slow to pull the proverbial trigger. So I do look at it as, hey, look, Cousins at some point here, if you're going to beat the Packers, if you're going to beat the better teams in the schedule, you're going to have to make plays. He didn't do it, and the Vikings find themselves 1-1 with a tough loss in Green Bay.
And it erases a career day from Dalvin Cook, who, again, was running the ball very well.
Second week in a row.
Other side of the field, Matt LaFleur. Is he the best new head coach hire of the season?
Right now, yeah. Right now, for sure. Look, I think you're looking at Vic Fangio. He's 0-2. Cliff Kingsbury, 0-1-1. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you look around the league, and I think you'd have to say he's right up there. He's done a nice job. The offense has not been incredibly explosive. They're averaging 15 points a game. Yeah. But they're 2-0. And the defense has done a really nice job. I actually look at Brian Gutekunst, the GM, and say, hats off to you. Nice job drafting. Darnell Savage comes in free agency, and they got Rashawn Gary in the draft. In free agency, you look at them, and they added Jadarius Smith, Preston Smith. Last year in the draft, they made a really nice trade with the Saints. They moved back. They ended up getting Jair Alexander and Josh Jackson. So I think the Packers have done a nice job, and I think LaFleur has done a nice job in kind of reinvigorating Aaron Rodgers in the offense to some degree.
Yeah. So the Colts, they get a win, first win of the post-Andrew Luck era, 19-17 over the Titans. Colts and the Titans, do either of these teams win the AFC South at the end of the year?
I think, look, it's going to be a 3-horse race between those two in Houston, so I would say that it's possible. The problem I have with all those teams is I don't think any of them are consistent at all in any way. And Houston, they're lucky. Houston is inches away from 2-0 or 0-2.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get any closer.
Billow.
Billow. But look, I think ultimately, if you are a fan of any of those three teams, you're saying, okay, look, it might take 9 wins, right? Like, it's probably going to be who plays best in the division. Well, if that's the case, Indianapolis bodes well for them. They got a road win in Tennessee, and they should be 2-0.
Yeah.
If Vinatieri wasn't killing them right now, they're 2-0. So if I'm a Colts fan, I feel pretty good. I'm like, all right, hey, 1-1. I believe next week. I believe they play the Falcons at home. So it's a winnable game. They play the Raiders at home. So, hey, okay. If I'm Indianapolis, I'm encouraged. If I'm Tennessee, that's a disappointing game to lose coming off of a nice win in Cleveland.
Yeah. The Bills, we want to talk about impressive wins. 28-14 over the New York Football Giants. When are we going to see Daniel Jones start? Because, my God, let's just put him out there by now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let's answer this question. When are the New York Giants going to drop the football Giants?
They already have dropped the football.
You have to play
It's
football
gone.
to be the New York Football Giants. Look, Eli Manning's been done for years. You have Daniel Jones. You drafted him 6th overall. Let's see him. Let's see him. Because you're not winning a game with Eli Manning. He can't play anymore. And look, he has nobody around him. This isn't just an Eli problem. They stink. Okay? They don't have Sterling Shepard, who's got the concussion. Odell Beckham, he's long gone to Cleveland. It's Evan Ingram. Saquon Barkley's terrific, but he's a running back who can only do so much. They have no defense. You give up 28 points to the Bills, you should be examined. So ultimately, for the Giants, I don't see what the point is in waiting. Let the kid have a shot.
Flip side of that coin is the Buffalo Bills are the best football team in New York. Are they
Yes.
a playoff team?
I don't think they're a playoff team.
Why not?
Because I don't trust the quarterback. I don't trust the quarterback. I don't trust Josh Allen against good teams. They were down 16-0 to the Jets and needed a miracle to come back and win that game. Okay?
Yeah.
The other problem is they're losing 2 to New England because anybody in that division is losing 2 to New England. I will say, though, I do think of all the other teams in the AFC East, I do think the Bills are best positioned. The Jets have a ton of injuries. The Dolphins are a Big 12 team at best. I think the problem, though, in the AFC is I've got the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Pats, probably the Ravens, and then somebody's got to win the AFC South. I mean, that's 5. So are the Bills better than all the rest of those teams? I'd probably lean toward one of those other teams in the South being a little better. But I like the defense. I like McDermott. If the Bills can keep beating the bad teams on the schedule, maybe.
Yeah, all right, makes sense. The Seattle Seahawks, they go into Pittsburgh today. They get a win. They're 2-0. The Steelers, they're 0-2. They lose Big Ben. It was the Mason Rudolph show for most of that game. What happens next for Pittsburgh?
They go to San Francisco in a game they have to win. There's no way around it. You're going cross country. You got to win that game. And if Ben Roethlisberger's out, good night. They're not winning that game with Mason Rudolph. Losing to New England was one thing. It's on the road. It's week 1. Okay, fine. You expect to lose that game. Seattle's a good team, but you're at home in that game. And I know they lost Roethlisberger, but they were losing even when he went down. To lose Roethlisberger hurts, obviously, beyond measure. If he's not there, they're done. But 0-2, Baltimore's already 2-0. Now, Baltimore's played the 2 easiest games on its schedule, but 0-2 is a tough hole to climb out of. Typically, if you're 0-2, I believe it's about 12% of teams since 1990 when they changed the playoff format make it. The Steelers face a must-win in San Fran.
What about the Seahawks? They're 2-0. Do you see anything that concerns you for them? Because they had to come back kind of and beat the Bengals last week. They almost lose to the Steelers by letting them back into this game. What concerns you about Seattle?
The offense is limited. I also don't know that if you play a really good quarterback who can really chuck the ball around, I don't know if those corners can hold up. Those corners worry me. I like Seattle. I think Seattle is going to be in the mix for a playoff spot. When you've got Carroll and Wilson, you're going to be there. I like the weapons. I think the line's improved. The problem for Seattle is they can only win a certain way. And the shame of it is I actually think they could win just chucking the ball all over the place, but Schottenheimer won't play that way. So I think if you're Seattle, you're somewhat limited in the way you are going to play. They're not very well coached in terms of their coordinators. So I'd like to see Pete Carroll step up, take a little bit more of a role, because I think he's obviously the best coach in the building. But I think if you're Seattle, you're going to have to start winning some other ways. They get lucky today with Rudolph, but don't gloss over the fact that at times that game was a lot closer than maybe it should have been.
The Dallas Cowboys were in a game that was close for a little bit, and then they blew the doors wide open. 66 points in the first 2 weeks of the season. They beat the Redskins today 31-21. How much stock are you buying in this new Cowboys offense? Is it as explosive as it looks, or is the other shoe going to drop?
No, I'm buying it. I'm buying it a lot. Like, Dak looks great. He looks comfortable. He's in rhythm. He's on time. 4 incompletions this whole game. Looked terrific. 3 touchdown passes, averaged 9 yards per attempt. I get it's the Redskins and the Giants. and next week it's the Dolphins. Like, I get it, okay? You basically got to start against, like, Kansas, Iowa State, and UTEP.
Take it, though.
Sure, absolutely you take it. So I do think if you are the Cowboys, yeah, the offense looks great, and you feel good about that. Zeke goes over 100 yards today. Mark Cooper looks terrific. By the way, what a mistake it was not paying Dak. That is going to cost more and more. Oh, my God. But the other part of this is, too, the defense looks terrific. They, to me, are a contender in the NFC. I think they're right there among the top 3 or 4 teams that could get to the Super Bowl out of the NFC.
Washington's not going to get to the Super Bowl this year, and they're not contending. At any point, do we see Dwayne Haskins?
Yeah, I think you will. I think eventually you will. And Keenum's played well to this point. Threw for 380 in Philadelphia, 26 of 37 today against the Cowboys. But yeah, I mean, at some juncture here, you're gonna have to turn it over to the kid. And if they're 2-5 or something, at what point does it become, hey, look, let's see the future, right? A little bit. So yeah, I think you'll see Haskins some point around midseason.
Speaking of seeing the future, the Harbaugh brother, who is still in the NFL, has seen the future, and its name is Lamar Jackson. The Ravens 23-17 over the Cardinals today. How impressed are you with Lamar Jackson after his first week where we thought maybe it was a fluke? Now he gets a couple more touchdowns. He looks real good, hasn't turned the ball over. How impressed are you with Lamar Jackson?
I'm very impressed because I'll be the first to admit I did not think he was very good as a rookie. In fact, I thought he was bad. He's looked very good. I will say this, though. I want to see how the Ravens play when it's not the Dolphins and the Cardinals.
Fair.
I think that's fair. Right? Like today, 24-37, 272 and 2 touchdowns. It's not a great game in terms of passing. Now, he ran for an 120, so that's awesome, right? But I wonder, do you want him carrying the ball 16 times a game? The answer is probably not, right? The other thing is 272 against the Cardinals. Okay, it's not bad. I'm not knocking it at all. It's a fine performance. They play the Chiefs on Sunday. That's a bad defense, but it's an improved defense. How does he look in that game at Arrowhead? How does he look when they play some of their better defenses? But look, no question, he's vastly improved. I think if you're a Ravens fan, you're really excited about the future, and you should be.
What does this do with Kyler Murray, though? Because a lot of people are doubting Kyler Murray in the same way that they were doubting Lamar Jackson. Should he look at him and say, hey, man, if I'm not that great in my first year, there's always year 2, even though it's the Cardinals and there's not a guaranteed year 2?
Hey, listen, Lamar Murray, see, he was like a combination. Together. Kyler Murray, he looked good today, 349 yards passing against Baltimore. I get some of that comes a little later on, but who cares? He looked really good. He came back. He tied the Lions last week when he was awful the first 2.5 quarters. I think Murray looks really good. Again, though, it's small sample size. What does the Cardinals offense look like once teams have tape on them and how they want to play? What are the weaknesses? What are the strengths? We've seen guys come in and be dynamite early, and then the book comes out on him. Okay, well, he can't go to his left. Okay, well, he can't go the intermediate route. So I want to see that. But early on, I think Murray has surpassed my expectations. He's done a nice job for the Cardinals.
Our favorite game of the week, the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, dear God almighty.
13-6, Bill O'Brien ekes out a win. How good should Texans fans feel about this?
I mean, good because they won, bad because it happened. I don't know what else to say about that. Deshaun Watson, 16-29 for $159. It's not doing it. It's not doing it. Carlos Hyde played well. I guess that's a plus. I mean, you're inches, maybe an inch away from being 0-2. You could argue, like we said earlier, 2-0 could also be the other way, right? But again, Watson sacked 4 times. He's on pace to be sacked 80 times. At what point here? At what point do you just have to be better than this? And I look at Houston and say, you were facing a team that had Gardner Minshew. You had film on him. Like, you had a whole week of tape. You knew it wasn't like some surprise coming in. You knew who you were getting. Marquise Lee's not there. A.J. Boye's not there. Cam Robinson's not there. You went 13-12 at home. I don't feel great about it.
No.
I don't feel great about it.
Say a little prayer for Deshaun Watson. Speaking of
Say a big prayer.
Yeah. Gardner Minshew, when does the magic wear off and when do the Jaguars just become sad? Because he's fun right now.
I mean, right now, look, it's fun, but they're still sad. They're 0-2.
Well, true.
They gave up a 40-burger to Kansas City at home and then scored 12 points. So I think for Jacksonville, the hard thing is just they're so limited offensively. That defense is really good. I know they did give up that 40 I just mentioned, but that's the Chiefs. Teams are going to score 40. I just look at it and say, okay, how are you going to win games? And Minshew's fun, and it's different, and it's cute, and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, you got to win games. I don't know if they can win games. I actually look at them as one of the most interesting potential sellers at the trade deadline.
Interesting.
Wrote about it in Stack the Box. They got a lot of guys who have big cap numbers next year that they would like to trade, and I could see them, if they're not good come midseason, I could see a fire sale in Jacksonville.
Kansas City. They go into Oakland, 28-10. They didn't drop a 40-burger like you were just talking about, but they get the win. And the biggest question coming out of this game is Patrick Mahomes better this year than he was last year?
I actually think he is.
Really?
I think he is because he's in more control of the offense. They had no Tyreek Hill. They started out, they were down 10-0 in this game early. On the road, it didn't look good. And Patrick Mahomes said, okay, get on my back. Here it comes. 30-44, 443 yards, 4 touchdowns. So he's got 7 touchdowns and no INTs here through the first couple weeks of the year. You extrapolate that out, it's 56 touchdowns and no picks. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. But he threw for 50 touchdowns last year. They already played one of the best defenses you're going to see in Jacksonville. Yeah. And they lit them up all over the field. Look, he makes guys around him better. You look at DeMarcus Robinson, 6 targets, 6 catches, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeMarcus Robinson. So when I look at the Chiefs, they're so diverse. That also helps. They added some weapons, LaShawn McCoy, McCole Hardman. But Mahomes has a mastery of the offense now he didn't have last year. They look, at least offensively, like they are going to be a major, major problem.
What version of the Raiders are we going to see next week? The Week 1 version or the Week 2 version?
I think you're going to see somewhere in between, but I think the Raiders are actually an improved team.
Okay.
I do. So I would lean more toward Week 1.
All right.
The Raiders ran the ball well, 6.8 yards per carry against the Chiefs. Okay. The problem was Derek Carr looked like Derek Carr of last year. $198, 5.2 yards an attempt, a touchdown and 2 picks. It's not getting it done. I worry with the Raiders that the talent level is just not quite what it's going to need to be a playoff type team. Mm-hmm. But do I think they could win 6-7 games? Yeah, I do. And I think that'd be a nice improvement for the Raiders as they head to Vegas. So, look, I do believe the Raiders are deeply flawed, but I also think that Week 1, there's a version of that team we're going to see throughout the season.
All right, we'll see. The team that they beat in Week 1, the Oakland Raiders, the Denver Broncos, they lose at home to the Chicago Bears, 16-14, mass chaos at the end of the game.
Tough game.
The Bears' defense played very well today. Are they going to be able to overcome Mitchell Trubisky for a second straight year the way that they did today on the road?
No.
No?
No.
Hard no?
He has to be better. 16-27 for $120.
What about that last drive?
A roughing the passer call that shouldn't have been called, and then the most wide open breakdown ever in the middle of the field.
Rough.
I'm sorry. It's the NFL in 2019. You have to be able to play quarterback, and they don't trust him. It's evident in their play calling. And if you don't think that every player on that sideline is watching that and being in the huddle and listening to the play call come in, they're going, we don't believe in our guy. Trubisky's getting the call going, they don't believe in me. And it's manifesting itself. And let's be real. They won the game. That's all that matters. But they looked awful. Their defense looked great. That's fine. But Denver's not a good team. So if you're the Bears, and that's the way it went for you, you better play a hell of a lot better against good teams. And they got a lot of them on their schedule. They got the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Rams, the Saints, the Eagles, the Cowboys. Better play better. Packers, Vikings twice. So I got to see a hell of a lot more out of Trubisky because the defense isn't going to be able to just shut everybody down to 10 and 14 points. It's not going to happen.
What's the ceiling for this version of the Broncos?
6 wins.
Oof.
They're not good.
That's tough.
They're not good, and they're in a very tough division. You're playing the AFC South, which none of those teams are terrible. Mm-mm. You're playing the NFC North, where your road games are Green Bay and Minnesota. You're playing in the West, where 4 of your games are the Chargers and Chiefs. Who are they beating? I look at their schedule and just say they're probably a 5-win team. Mm-hmm. And today's a game where it gets away from you. You're 14-13. Chicago's on the other side of the field with 9 seconds left. They were on their own 49 seconds left. Win the game.
Tough.
Can't do it. I just think Denver, they're so limited. That, very much like Chicago, that defense just has to win the game. And that's just so hard to ask a team to do in this day and age.
The Los Angeles Rams, perhaps the biggest game of the late window, they get a huge win over the New Orleans Saints, 27-9, but the Saints lose more than just the game. They lose Drew Brees, who leaves early in the game with a hand injury, his throwing hand. He couldn't grip the football on the sideline. It was a Teddy Bridgewater show. How cooked are the Saints if they don't have Drew Brees, even for the next couple of weeks?
Well done.
Really?
Done. Well, I mean, yeah, look, if he's out for an extended period of time, turn out the lights. Mm-hmm. They're not going to win with Teddy Bridgewater. I like Teddy Bridgewater, good a comeback story as any, but let's be honest about this. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater today, 17-30 for $165. You don't win a lot of games like that, and it's not like that defense is going to step up and be dominant.
No.
So if the Saints don't have him, long term, look, next week at Seattle, following week, the Cowboys. He misses 2 games, they're 1-3. Now, could they rally and make the playoffs if Breeze comes back right after? Yeah. But you're probably looking at a 3 or a 4 seed, and all of a sudden you have a much harder road than you would if Breeze were there the whole season.
Did we sleep on the Rams too much in the offseason?
Absolutely.
Seems like we did.
Absolutely. Rams look good. Really like Cooper Kupp being back for them. 5 catches, $120 and a touchdown. Looked like Christian Okoye there on his touchdown against the Saints. So, look, yeah, I think if you are the Rams and Rams fans, you feel like, hey, told you, we're still really good. Don't forget about us just because of that Super Bowl. So, look, I think the Rams right now, if you said you got to pick a team in the NFC that looks the best, I'd put them right there with Dallas, Green Bay, Philly. I feel really good about where the Rams are.
All right, there you go. That's what we saw today. Verderam, what are you looking forward to tonight with the Falcons and the Eagles?
Well, I think, look, the Eagles are better up front on both sides of the ball. So if you want to win the game and you're Atlanta, you need to find a way to at least hold your own at the line of scrimmage. To me, that's all I'm looking at is the line of scrimmage. If Philadelphia's getting pushed, it's going to be a long night for Atlanta. If Atlanta can at least hold even there, the skill position players are good enough to give them a shot at home.
I agree with all of that. And I'm also thinking about some of the things that you just said when we were going over these games. Specifically, the Jaguars being sellers. Because we saw after the Week 1 performance, if you even want to call it that, in Miami with the Dolphins, players were like, you got to get me out of here.
Yep.
Minkah Fitzpatrick apparently was granted the ability to search for a trade partner, so to speak. Who on the Jaguars do you think would be the first guy to go? Because everybody's going to say Jalen Ramsey because he's the biggest name. Look, but who do you see?
I mean, Ramsey's a possibility, but I'm literally looking at my column right now. I'm not going to read it word for word, but Yannick Ngakoue is a guy I'm looking at.
Okay.
I have it from a source close to the situation who this summer when they couldn't come to a contract extension, he ended his mini holdout. Source told me, look, there's a good chance Jacksonville's probably going to slap the franchise tag on him and not really even bother negotiating going forward. They look at him as a guy who's a great pass rusher, but he can't stop the run. They don't think he's worth that kind of crazy money that we maybe will see with other guys like a Clowney next year.
Yeah.
So all things being equal, look, if they were to tag Ngakoue, they would be $38 million over the cap next year. As it stands, they're $20 million over.
Yikes.
So I'm looking at Ngakoue. I'm looking at Marcel Darius. I'm looking at Brandon Linder, the center. I'm looking at Jake Ryan. I'm looking at Calais Campbell.
Yeah.
I'm also looking at, Boye and Ramsey. Not easy to get. They would command the premium, especially Ramsey. But teams are going to be calling if the Jags aren't good.
Yeah, make sure to leave questions in the chat for Verderam, myself. We're going to have John Bueller in here a little bit later. Anything you want to know about today, the games that are either tonight or tomorrow, because we got the Jets and the Browns playing tomorrow in a fantastic game where Odell Beckham is already talking crap about Greg Williams.
I mean, that game was exciting until the Jets decided to have everybody hurt, and Darnold's got mono, and now all of a sudden...
Jeez, what a plot twist that was.
Yeah, you don't see that coming, right? But now, that
which is worse. I think this was posed on, maybe it was Brian Tulloch, our fantasy guy, because I know he's a Mets fan. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this if he didn't actually ask this on Twitter. But somebody asked, what is worse for a New York fan, the Sam Darnold mono thing or the hand, foot, and mouth disease for Noah Syndergaard? As far as random, I didn't know that was still a thing, sicknesses that you could get that could take you out of a game.
It's not good. It's not good. I don't know which one's more ridiculous. I guess hand, foot, and mouth is kind of just a ridiculous name.
I don't even really know what that is.
I don't want to know what that is. But it's not good.
No.
Look, man, at some point here, these New York teams, you got to have better luck. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Yankees are kind of aside from that commentary.
I don't like talking about the Yankees.
But, well.
As a Twins fan.
Yeah. But the Mets are always struck with this kind of stuff. The Jets are always struck with this kind of stuff. I had a lot of buddies from back home. I'm from New York. All Mets, Jets, and Knicks fans. You want to talk pain?
Wow.
That's pain.
That is just
You could get hit by a bus and be in less pain.
That's right? The trifecta of just...
That is, that's no way to live. See, I was smart enough to be from New York and only root for one of those grease fires, the Knicks. So, and my God.
The most attractive of it. The shiniest, glowiest dumpster fire of them all.
A complete disgrace of a franchise, but that's neither here nor there. By the way, I just want to point out, the lines are out for week 3.
Oh, hit me.
Okay, so...
What's the biggest line?
Biggest line is the Cowboys and the Dolphins. Want to take a guess? It's in Dallas.
Cowboys and Dolphins.
At Dallas, Jerry World.
Is it 12.5?
It's 20.5.
Oh, 20 and a half.
Look out.
Wow.
Look out.
Yikes.
That's the
20 and a
there's
half.
two lines. Now lines are not out for the games involving the Saints and Steelers because of
Sure.
Roethlisberger and Brees.
Yeah, you don't know.
Two biggest lines, Dallas 20.5, New England at home against the Jets 17.5.
Yikes.
Beyond that, there's not any crazy lines. Not any and by the way, this is great. This is an all-timer. My old man watching the stream shoots me a message on my computer.
Oh, here we go, Lance.
Says, "Hey, when you were 2, you had hand, foot, and mouth disease." Hey, first of all, I didn't know that. That's hilarious. Second
go.
of all, I was 2. Cut me some slack. Maybe it was your fault. You should have bathed me more.
Yeah, I don't know. You weren't pitching
All
for the Mets.
Jeez.
You could have, probably, for the way that they looked.
So the other lines are not crazy. Look, I'll run down them real quick because what the hell, right? Green Bay, 7.5-point favorite over Denver.
Okay.
Philly, 7.5 over Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs, 6.5 against the Ravens. Buffalo, -6 over the Bengals. Indianapolis, a 3-point favorite at home over the Falcons. Minnesota, 7.5 at home over Oakland. Tampa Bay, 6.5 over the Giants. The Panthers giving a field goal to the Cardinals. Saints and Seahawks, no line. Steelers and San Fran, no line.
Mm-hmm.
Chargers, 3-point favorite against Houston. And the Browns are a 3-point dog at home against the Rams.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So only 2 lines bigger than 8, but my God, are they bigger?
Only a 3-point dog against the Rams. I thought that line would be a little bit bigger.
It's in Cleveland.
I feel like you want to get people betting on
And
the
you want
Browns.
to see the Monday night game, too.
That's true. I guess the line could change. All right, let's take a look at what we got going on in the chat here.
Let's do it.
Liam Hines wants to know how you guys think the Lions played. Liam, I'll cue it up to Verderam, who has lovely things to say about the Lions.
Look, Liam, I don't know if you're a Lions fan where you come from on this. I thought it was nice that they got a win. It's impressive to get the win. They certainly beat a team that I think is one of the better teams in football. But at some point, the penalties have got to stop. The penalties are just absolutely ridiculous. You're not going to win games like that. The Lions took a million of them. Stafford threw a brutal pick in the second half. He overcame it, had a very nice touchdown drive at the end. But ultimately here, if you're the Lions, you need more out of Patricia. You need to scheme your way to some easy points. Okay, they ran for 3.5 yards a carry. Stafford throws a couple of picks. You're just not going to win like that very often. And look, the reality of it is, okay, you got outgained by almost 100 yards in this game. And again, 8 penalties. You're not talented enough to consistently overcome that. That said, you won the game. And if you're a Lions fan, that's what you care about right now. You're 1-0-1, and you're right where you need to be, despite, frankly, at times looking very good, at times looking terrible.
We have in the chat, Zach Best says go Chiefs, Dave Stevenson says go Ravens, and Hunter Armour says go 49ers. I'm going to take the Chiefs out of this.
All those people are
because
questionable at best.
Well, I'm taking the Chiefs out of this because, A, there's some hometown bias because Chiefs fan, Zach's a Chiefs fan. The Chiefs are also very good. So, objectively, they're the best of those 3
I was going
teams.
to say, I don't think you have to be a homer to say they're the best.
So, let's take the Chiefs out of it, the 49ers and the Ravens, who met in the Super Bowl not that long ago. Which of those 2 teams do you see going further in the season? Who's the last team standing, so to speak, when all is said and done?
The Ravens, because I think they can win the division. I don't know if the Niners can.
Okay.
So, it puts the Niners at a disadvantage. I think they're both good. I think the Ravens are better. I think they're a little further along right now. But, yeah, I think ultimately you've got to say the Ravens, because they could host a playoff game. If they host a playoff game, they'd have a shot against anybody they'd play, so on and so forth. So give me Baltimore in that. But I do think the Niners are showing me something.
Before we bring John Bueller in, who is a Falcons fan, to watch this game
with
you, the first quarter, I'm looking into my crystal ball, and I'm seeing at the end of the season their MVP award is being handed out, and Lamar Jackson is taking it? How realistic is that?
I don't see that.
No? You don't see that?
I don't see
Different
that.
crystal balls?
I mean, man, this time last year, Fitzy was taking home the MVP award.
That's true.
I don't think he's going the way of Fitzy.
No.
But I don't think he's the MVP. I mean, I don't think...
Do you put him in like that top 3? Because I don't think he's going to win the MVP
Like
either,
right
but
now or like at the end of the year?
At the end of the year, do you see us having the same conversation about him as we
I
are
don't.
now?
I don't. No?
He falls off?
Because, I mean, look, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here, but let's be real. Okay, 5 touchdowns against the Dolphins. Like, that's fine and well, but I mean...
The Patriots defense almost got touchdowns against the Dolphins.
Let's be honest, man. Like, I respect him. He's done a very nice job for the
Sure.
Ravens. But let's also just keep it 100%, as the kids like to say. Well, I don't think the kids say percent. He's done it against the Ravens, and he's done the Dolphins and the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all fine and well, but can you imagine what some of these other guys, like a healthy Breeze, would do to the Dolphins? What Mahomes would do to the Dolphins? If you said to me the Chiefs play the Dolphins, 7 touchdowns and 500 yards, for Mahomes. Like, if you said that, look, they're going to try throughout the whole game, they're going to go for, I would honestly say, yeah, it's probably about what's going to happen, right? So I think Jackson's been great. I don't think he's in the MVP conversation. Now, if he keeps playing like this for another month, then call me. But 2 weeks in against the Dolphins and the Cardinals, little premature for me.
Oh my God, Mahomes against the Dolphins. You have to put that on like Cinemax at 3 a.m. Like that is like
you got the parental controls on there.
Block that out. You got to put in the number code password, to get in there,
and then take the batteries out of the remote. Keep the kids away.
Oh my God! All right,
the damn kids always.
They have. We're getting ready here for Sunday Night Football.
We are. So, Collinsworth has done his slide.
Collinsworth is in.
We're in good shape.
So this is where I leave you, Verderam, and John Bueller comes in.
I see Dave Stevenson asked me, who wins next week, Ravens or Chiefs?
Oh, come on.
Dave,
what do you think?
What do you
think he's going to say?
Actually, I'll say this. If the game was in Baltimore, I would pick Baltimore to win the game. It's in Arrowhead. It's a home opener. I think I think Baltimore's going to cover. I think it's going to be a very good game. I do think the Chiefs at Arrowhead win the game. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a close game. Last year's game was great.
I was going to say, they played them pretty good.
I think if the Chiefs are going to respect the heck out of the Ravens. I think it's a very good game. I think the Chiefs win. It's a one-score game. That's my take.
All right. My take is I'm going to be back at halftime. John Bueller is, as they in Atlanta like to say, going to rise up to the occasion here. He's going to join you. So, all
right,
here we go.
Bueller and his dirty bird nonsense. Get in here, Bueller. All right. We welcome in John Bueller, staff writer on FanSided.com, one of the legends. So, I like the jersey. Neon Dion.
Yeah.
The hat, little snapback. You're ready to go. You're ready to go like it's 1991. I appreciate it.
Well, hopefully for a better result than 91. But, this team
still made the 91 team was good.
Yeah, they made the playoffs for the first time in 9 years.
Yep.
Got to represent prime time. Just got to feel really good about, just about heading to the game tonight before, all my hopes are completely destroyed by Fletcher Cox.
So, I'll ask you, since you are the Falcons fan here, how confident are you going into the game?
No.
Okay, fair enough. I think that's fair enough. All right, we got a question from Patrick Allen. So, saw Matt Ryan getting a lot of hate on Twitter last week. Fair?
A little bit. I think he did have, those 2 picks. The Vikings were able to capitalize on, all 4 of Atlanta's turnovers. And obviously, you have all these great offensive weapons. You just can't. You can't play that poorly against an elite defense, albeit on road, in a team that many of us think looked like a top 5 team last week. Obviously, this week, Green Bay had their own answer to that.
I find this game fascinating. And, by the way, I've got to toss out there what would be fantastic. If we could find a computer charger, because my computer is at 10%. And let me tell you, not a great job by me. Should have had that bad boy plugged in earlier. Didn't see that till just now.
Yeah.
But our video team is usually right on top of these things. Oh, there's one behind me. Listen, I'm going to let you talk for a second. You do what you got to do. But let me ask you. I'll tee you up. Let me ask this.
Okay.
The Saints might have lost Drew Brees for a little while.
Yeah.
The Bucs, they win a game in Carolina. They're 1-1, but we got to kind of see how they shake out. The Panthers 0-2. Cam doesn't look right. How do you feel, as I go grab my charger, about the Falcons in the NFC South, that they could just find a way to get the win tonight?
If Atlanta gets the win tonight, they'll be in great shape. I mean, you'll be in a 3-way tie for first place with Tampa and with the Saints. If Drew Brees is out for an extended time, I mean, it was really a bummer that he couldn't even grab a football there. In the loss to the Rams today. You do feel confident that you probably have the best quarterback in the division at this point, and your schedule does ease up a little bit. I mean, after that, you're at the Colts, you've got the Titans at home, at Texans, Cardinals. Those are all certainly winnable games. I mean, starting off with 2 teams that are very strong in the trenches with the Vikings and Eagles, it does kind of ease up a little bit. So if you can get to 1-1, I think you'll feel pretty good just about where you stand in the division because, at the end of the day, it's all about winning your division. And then from there, anything can really happen.
Yeah, there's no question. And by the way, we are moments away here from opening kick as NBC does its little intro. For anyone who did not see it in the comments throughout, as Everest, who is our kind of moderator, will tell you, this game is not a stream of the actual game. You're not going to be able to see the game. We don't have the rights to it. If we broadcast that, you're going to see it once, and then you're going to see us banned for life. So we're not doing that. But Mr. Bueller and I are going to be talking to you throughout the game. We're going to be keeping you updated. I'm not going to give a straight-up play-by-play, but certainly we're going to keep you abreast of everything that's going on. You're going to be right along with the game. You can talk to John and I in the comments, whether you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook. Please keep it right here. We really appreciate you watching. We're really going to have a good time tonight, and we will do that every single Sunday night the rest of the season and the occasional Thursday night as well. So thank you for joining us, and we are just about underway. I almost called it the Georgia Dome at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, a beautiful venue down in Atlanta.
Yeah, we call that Uncle Arthur's spaceship. He put a ton of money into this. Like, you'll be driving around like 75, or you'll be downtown like. Is the Southeast being taken over by a bunch of aliens. It's also the home to MLS's defending champion, Atlanta United FC.
Yep.
You'd like to see the Falcons play a little bit better there. They haven't been great in the first 2 years that the Benz has been opened, but right. This is the start of a new year at home. This city loves this team, and I think they would love nothing more than to say that this year is going to be different versus the Eagles, a team that has been their nemesis the last 3 years, actually.
For sure, yeah. A couple of really tough losses against the Eagles recently, and Kenyon Barner is back deep for the Falcons. They will receive, and we are just about ready to go here. Sunday Night Football Week 2, and indeed we are underway, and it looks to be a returnable kick. Over the shed.
Out the back of the end zone. So
touchback. So, all right, Falcons on the offensive first. Matt Ryan coming on the field, and I look, for me, man, I think the biggest key for the Falcons tonight is going to be blocking. They've got to be able to keep – if they can keep Ryan clean and give him time, I think the Falcons are going to win on the outside. But they got to be able to give him some time.
Yeah, it's got to be a better effort from the front five compared to last week. I mean, last week Danielle Hunter just basically ate Jake Matthews' lunch. Just basically gave him the Dwight Freeney experience with the spin move. And, you got – Devontae Freeman running a little bit to the right, getting about a 3-yard gain there. So it'll bring up second and manageable.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see, do the Falcons start out this game by pounding the ball, trying to slow them down that way, or do they just come out, spread the Eagles out and say, look, we believe that if we go 3 wide and we chuck the ball around a little bit, we can take advantage of your corners, whether it's Ronald Darby, Sidney Jones, Vontae Maddox. Not that it's a bad group, but it's a group without a star.
Right. If you're going to exploit any part of the Eagles' defense, it is the secondary. And, Ryan finds Hooper for a first down. He's been a great asset in the receiving game, particularly last year. Pro Bowl alternate getting in, with some of the guys going further in the playoffs.
I look at Philadelphia, and I think they're the best team in the NFC. I think they have the most talent. The big question for me is Carson Wentz and his health.
Absolutely, yeah. I picked the Eagles to win the NFC. Actually, win the Super Bowl this year. I think I have them over.
Really?
I have them over New England.
Okay, I had them in the Super Bowl against Kansas City, so I think they're very good. And a nice little play here off the left side by Freeman. He picks up about 6. Look, if the Falcons are going to win the game, it's 3 plays, but this is what you need to see. They need to be able to get up out in space. They need to be able to block down on the Eagles. You see that early on. Look, a nice reach block there by the left guard. And so that is good football. Now they come out in a power set, the fullback. Look, I like it because you have to be able to win the line of scrimmage somewhat here. You're not going to win all the time. But you got to win somewhat. And then they throw out a power, which is a nice play. A first down, an easy one to midfield.
Yeah, you throw it right to your number 3 receiver, and Mohamed Sanu, who would be a number 2 on a lot of teams. Very good possession receiver.
Yes.
Been a big key for the offense the last 4 years since coming over from Cincinnati.
So Dan Quinn trying to keep his job this year. It looked like he was going to be here forever early on. They went straight to the Super Bowl. Obviously, things didn't work out in the second half of that game. I won't make you relive it, but
please don't.
Yeah. But
this is what broken looks like, Matt.
Yeah.
Like you never overcome this.
Believe me, I get it. The Falcons, little toss play to the left and a lot of space here. Nice design. Freeman's got 9.
He's been looking really running the ball really strong here. He missed most of last year with an injury, and when he's out there, he is one of the top 5'8" running backs in football. Maybe a little bit past his prime, but He's looking like he did when he was a Pro Bowler. I think the first 2 years with Shanahan there.
Yep. No, listen, there's no doubt. It's impressive. Look, Freeman's a really good back, and it gets lost because they have so many other weapons. But Freeman can really play, and early on, he's established himself. With the Falcons tonight, it's really, I don't want to say it's a must-win game because it's early in the season, and the division hasn't played particularly well. But it is a home game.
Yeah.
And it's a game that if you could win, you really set yourself up nice going forward.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, it does get a little bit easier with the schedule. After tonight, you're playing mostly the AFC South, which, you're not going to have to travel too far. You're going to be playing in, indoors or, in decent weather. You don't have to go deal with, some of the stuff up north just yet. But, if the Atlanta Falcons are going to win big this year, they're going to have to, hold their own at home and go, 7-1. You can maybe get by with 6-2, but
right.
Not really, not much worse than that.
No, absolutely not. They've been, when they're good, they're typically a very dominant home team. Mm-hmm. Which is the case for a lot of teams, but Atlanta really especially. And you mentioned that, look, their schedule after this, they go play 3 straight games against the AFC South. They got the Colts on the road, the Titans at home, the Texans on the road. So it's not a brutal slate, but it's also not easy. If you can steal a win here against Philadelphia at home, and my God, that Brandon Graham just killed Devontae Freeman about 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Just a great play by a great player. Just completely blew that thing up. It was, this is the kind of stuff that the Eagles do and dominate in the trenches. Like this is the type of player that Graham is. He's not necessarily going to get a bunch of sacks, but he is going to make an impact in just about every down.
Really nice job. And the fullback there, Smith, he's got to step up and make a better play. Totally whiffed. Puts him behind the sticks. This is where Philadelphia is dangerous because now with Schwartz, they'll come after you. And here it is. It's an all-out blitz. Ryan does well just to get rid of it, but it's complete. Now you're third and a mile.
You're third and a mile. You probably want to get a little bit closer, get yourself in a money Matt Bryant territory.
I'd like to see them almost go screen right here.
Yeah, I think so. Screen, maybe some sort of delay.
Yep.
Try to, because you were doing a really good job with taking advantage of Philly's secondary here, but once they've kind of decided that you are going to commit to the ground, that they're going to do what they do and just shut you down.
Well, now you got 3rd and 16 with 10:16 to go. As you see on the bottom of the screen, 0-0 between Philadelphia and Atlanta. And only a 3-man rush here, and it is a little just wide receiver screen, and they'll pick up nothing.
They're not going to do anything. Calvin Ridley just ran backwards.
Ridley had 4 yards and then just ran straight backwards to the line of scrimmage. That was nice.
He's looking for a flag that he's not going to get. Obviously, that was a good start to the drive, but it kind of just unraveled there. And they're going to bring out Matt Bryant, who the Falcons did let go after offseason. They tried, a couple of other kickers, namely Giorgio Tavecchio and Blair Walsh, neither of which were able to stick. So they bring back the franchise's leading scorer for a 50-yard attempt here.
Well, if you're Atlanta, you really want to get points out of this drive. Yeah. You had a nice drive at bogged down. Brandon Graham flipped first down play and never got back on schedule.
And
but Bryant puts it right through.
Right through. This is why they brought him back. He's usually incredibly accurate inside of 50. And, he gives you a chance, even though he's into his mid-40s, an opportunity to make big kicks like this. I think his kick 2012 gave Matt Ryan his first playoff victory of his career over the Seahawks with Russell Wilson's first.
Yep.
But I'm curious to hear what you have to think about, the Eagles' defense on that first drive. Are they still trying to feel out what Atlanta's doing, or?
Yeah, I think, look, ultimately, man, you know as well as I do, these games in the beginning, they're always scripted plays, right? A lot of 15, 20 play scripts. And so all you're trying to do, for anyone who's not aware, is, a lot of times you're going to see a lot of different formations, a lot of different personnel packages, because you're trying to get that defense to show you, okay, if you're in this, then this is what we're going to give you. If you do that, then that's what we're going to give you. So I think if you're the Eagles, look, that first drive, you're just kind of getting an idea of, okay, if the Falcons are in 11, this is what we'll see. If they're in 22. I think for Philadelphia, ultimately, with Schwartz, it's always the same thing. Get pressure. Bring pressure.
Oh, totally.
Be aggressive. And so I thought Atlanta handled it really well, save for that one play. And unfortunately for Atlanta, that one play is a big loss, and it sets you back, and then it becomes much harder.
Yeah, Atlanta needs to continue to dictate terms offensively. This is a team that has 3 new coordinators from a year ago. They parted ways with Steve Sarkisian, who's now back with Alabama for Nick Saban. They bring Dirk Cutter in, who had been Matt Ryan's previous OC after a several stint in Tampa. And they have the new coordinator on the defense and on special teams he used to be with the Redskins. I'm blanking on his name. And then Dan Quinn's now calling the defense.
Well, you know what? Right now, the NFC South is becoming very interesting. I was just reading a report while listening to you that Drew Brees is very concerned, quote unquote, about his thumb. He's going to see a specialist tonight in Los Angeles. Could not grip the football. So if he is out, that division is beyond open. In fact, I mean, I'd say the Falcons are the favorite in it, even if they are 0-2 after this.
Yeah, if Breeze is out for an extended period of time, I mean, anybody is really in it. I'd probably push back a little bit on Carolina with just how terrible Cam Newton has looked.
He doesn't look healthy.
And then
Not at all.
With the new coaching staff, they're in Tampa. Maybe this is like what Jameis was, in 2016 when they were about a game away from getting a wild card spot.
Right. No, listen, I think the Saints have been the dominant team in the division for a few years. But if Breeze is not there, and I don't mean any disrespect to Teddy Bridgewater, but let's just call a spade a spade. He's not Drew Brees.
The man's overcome so
They
much.
are extremely limited.
Oh, yeah.
Extremely limited with Teddy Bridgewater. By the way, the game is about to kick back off. 9:28 to go in the first quarter. 3-0 as you see on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta, by the way, keep bringing all the questions that you have. We are happy to answer them, whether it be that you're watching on Facebook or Twitch or YouTube. So,
Philly will start their first drive just inside of inside their own 30, excuse me.
Yes. So here comes Carson Wentz, and he's the key. This sounds so obvious because every team, their quarterback's got to be healthy. We're just talking about Breeze.
Yeah.
But with Wentz, you really highlight it because he hasn't been able to stay healthy the last couple of years. And you look at them, and they're a team, if the backup's coming in, I'm sorry, Nate Sudfeld's not winning a lot of games.
No.
Okay, so you need to be able to keep him upright. And they have a good offensive line. I love their weapons. They got Jeffrey. I love Deshaun Jackson be back in that team.
Huge pickup for them.
Perfect.
Allows a vertical threat they've not really had. I mean, you have Jeffrey can stretch the field too.
You got Ertz underneath. It's ridiculous.
Ertz,
they have talent all over the field.
Oh, tremendous. And Ertz picks up a gain very close to a first down on their first offensive play.
So, listen, it's now a game where it's pitch and catch for Wentz. He's got so many weapons. They're going to spread you out. They're going to find ways to get the ball out there. By the way, Aiden, see your prediction, 34-14. Eagles, we shall see. I think it's a close game. I really do. I think this is going to be a very tight game throughout. I think Atlanta's going to hang right in there. And I think it certainly win. But again, Atlanta's got to be able to hold up on the line of scrimmage. That is the biggest question to me in this game. And they do a nice job on this play here. Miles Sanders tries to cut outside off the left edge, and Oliver comes up and smacks him down for a loss. Maybe they get him back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, good play for Oliver. He looked terrible against the Vikings last week, so maybe this will be like a good step there. I guess Aiden's saying, how do you envision the Falcons scoring more than 11 points? I think the fact that you have about a bunch of Pro Bowl talent at the skill position and you're playing at home, I mean, you've got 3 right there. Yep. You just need a touchdown and go for 2. I mean, that's clearly been the trend today.
This is a very interesting 3rd and 2 here. Falcons trying to get off the field on a 3 and out. The Eagles, 2-by-2 set with Sanders in the backfield. Play action. Wentz looks very uneasy in the pocket. Got hit in the legs as he threw that incomplete, not even near a receiver. It's 4th down, and the Eagles are forced to punt. So a really nice stand there by the Falcons. 3 and out.
3 and out.
And it was a little play action to Howard. And it was interesting because Howard, after he got the play fake, did a little cup block on McKinley.
Yeah, McKinley was just not stopping there. And,
he crawled at him.
It's a big year for him and a big year, or a very important year for Vic Beasley. If he does not perform, which it doesn't seem like he will, Atlanta will part ways with their former first-round pick out of Clemson.
I don't think there's any doubt. He's got to play better. And he had the year he led the league in sacks 2 years ago.
Yeah,
he looked like he's going to be the guy. And you're right, though. And now a defensive holding call on the Falcons. So a new set of downs, a very late flag. They didn't even see it on the telecast.
I guess I spoke too soon about Oliver.
And it was on Oliver, and now you got a penalty. The Eagles jump. So chaos here without even a play in the last 30 seconds. And the Eagles maintain possession, but it is 1st and 15. I am fascinated by the NFC in general because I feel like there's just so many good teams. Although right now, if Breeze is out and the Vikings look like with Cousins, but I think the NFC is more wide open than the AFC. So all these games, it feels like every game is just so important in the NFC because it could be tiebreakers, right? Like it might take 10 wins to get into the playoffs. Where in the AFC, it's New England, it's Kansas City, and it's a gulf, this big, and then it's whoever the hell you want to put in there, Los Angeles, Baltimore, so forth.
Yeah, at the start of the year, you could make the argument for about 10 or 11 teams that realistically, could be a top 6 team in the NFC. But yeah, if Breeze is out for a substantial time, that does limit what the Saints' ceiling is. I think Bridgewater will play well, but obviously being rushed in there against, the team that beat you last year, albeit with a egregious holding call,
right.
Or PI call, excuse me. Almost fumbled that one there. So
I thought the Falcons jumped. The Eagles definitely moved, and there's no flag. I don't know how there's no flag on that. Somebody moved because the whole entire left side of the line was moving around.
Yeah.
But in any event, by the way, I got to throw a stat out here. It's completely off the beaten path. But Brad Gagnon of Bleacher Report tweets out, the Dolphins are the first team in modern NFL history with 2 43-plus point losses in one season. Is week 2. Not great.
It's just a bad time for Florida or South Florida football.
Yeah, it's not great. 3rd and 7, by the way, for Philadelphia, and Wentz is going to throw, and it's incomplete. It was high to Aguilar.
Yeah, Trufant is all
over
over them.
No flag this time, so the Eagles will kick it away.
Dave Stevenson's got a question asking about the survivor pick for Week 3. He already got burned today by the Cowboys against the Redskins.
He burned them. He picked them. Okay,
he burned them. Yes, excuse me.
Who do you guys think would be a good survivor pick in Week 3? Well, Dave, I guess it depends who you use Week 1. I think that the Pats are a pretty good pick. They're going to kill the Jets. I also, if you're trying to save the Pats, I kind of like Tampa against the Giants.
Yeah, just looking at the schedule there.
Because Tampa Bay's at home in that game.
Yeah, I think Tampa's a good one. They played pretty well. They're going to have 10 days.
Minnesota against Oakland at home. Although I don't know. Right now, Minnesota kind of scares the hell out of me. I'll give you one. Green Bay with Denver. Green Bay is going to house Denver. Them.
A very emotional win for the actually, they lost. Excuse me. Yeah, they lost.
They lost. A very emotional loss for Denver. They won and then they lost.
Yeah, it was like
good time.
Yeah, so I think Green Bay would be a good pick there, and I definitely really like your thoughts about Tampa. Just give that a whirl. I don't really see the Giants winning more than like 3 games this year.
No, I mean Tampa's at home. You worry about Jameis just having one of these. He throws 5 picks. My pick, I'll tell you right now, will be Green Bay. Denver has no shot. Denver's not going in there beating the Packers. So I would take that game. I don't like the Thursday night game, Tennessee at Jacksonville. I don't trust either one of those two teams.
It's a rivalry game. That game's always weird. And then
I don't trust Monday night. The Bears are the Skins. Like the Bears should win, but Trubisky could throw for 80 yards. Which, by the way, just as a side, he's terrible.
I mean,
you've got to be better than he's been.
Here's one. Let's say Breeze doesn't play. You go on the road at Seattle for the late window. That could be interesting.
If Breeze doesn't play, give me Seattle all day long. Give me Seattle all day long.
So I guess just there's just so many opportunities here. I think there's about 4. You've got. I think Green Bay is pretty good, and I think if like I said, if Breeze isn't playing, I would go with Seattle.
Yeah, I think if Breeze doesn't play, that's a really nice pick. I think that's a good call. I wouldn't, some of these other powerhouse teams, like I wouldn't touch the Rams at Cleveland. That could be a weird game. I wouldn't touch the Chiefs. I think they win, but they're playing the Ravens, who are a good squad in their own right and a tough team. I wouldn't touch them. Plus, I would save those teams.
Oh yeah,
I would save those teams for when they're playing some tomato can. They're going to plow. I think you're probably better off. I like your call of Seattle if Breeze is unavailable. I would go again. I would go with either the Buccaneers or the Packers, I will go with the Packers. Another question, Cam Bill says, what are your thoughts on Minshew being the future for the Jags? Look, I think Minshew's played well the first couple of games. I got to see more. But 6th-round rookies look good.
Yeah,
he's played well, and I like his poise.
I like the confidence the guy plays with. This is a guy that did transfer from ECU to Washington State for his last year of eligibility. Thrived in Mike Leach's system. Almost brought Wazoo to a Pac-12 championship game. Obviously, they lost the Apple Cup to Washington.
Right.
But I think more importantly, they're going to build the offense, around what he can do. It seemed very limited, and Atlanta has just pinned really deep in their own territory.
But here's what I love about Atlanta. They're pinned at their own one, and Campbell's. I'll go right back to your question because I want to go deeper in that. I think it's a good question. So they're at the one, and they fall start. If you're Atlanta, you might as well try to fire off the line. Are you going to lose a foot? Right? Like, why not? And it was on the center. That's great.
It's on the guy that sets the protection, Alex Mack, one of the better centers in football.
Alex Mack, I'm pretty sure Ryan bumped him forward. But in any event, look.
Yeah, it does.
I think Minshew was really impressive. 22-25 week 1. He played well. And I thought against Houston, when he absolutely needed to get him down the field, he did it. I was impressed. I think Minshew's got a lot of game, a hell of a lot more than I ever thought coming out of college. So I liked what I saw. Look, he's going to have to keep doing it. The question becomes when he does this for 4, 5, 6 weeks and teams get tape, and Houston sees him for a second time, and Tennessee and Indianapolis, maybe see him for a first and second time, then what? That to me is the test. When you start seeing guys who are getting around for a season or seeing a team for a second time around, that's when it becomes hard. We saw Lamar Jackson last year.
Right.
Played well at times. Then he saw the Chargers. It was the first time he saw a team for the second time they played him in the playoffs. He got completely shut down. Now, he looks to have made adjustments to his game this offseason, but that is a very tough thing to do. And Ryan, geez, that was a dangerous throw to the outside, incomplete.
Trying to force that to Julio Jones probably shouldn't have gone in that direction to the left side. Brings up a 3rd and 5 for Atlanta deep in their own territory. Yeah, I think it's just important for Atlanta to start getting, Julio Jones more involved into the offense. I mean, they paid him so much money; they got to start using him.
Yeah,
he did score, a touchdown last week, which last season it was really difficult for him to find the end zone. He did make up for it, once his season was already lost. But there's a challenge. It looks
pass
like
interference challenge. It's got to be right. What else could it be?
Yeah, I mean we have seen Doug Peterson challenge a 2-yard completion before, so we never really know.
Yeah, sometimes you got to make it interesting on those 2-yard completions.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how this shakes out because these are brand new to the NFL, and I don't know. I have my issues with it, frankly, but I am interested to see how it pans out.
They might. His hands were all over Julio. They might be able to actually overturn that. From what I've seen, I don't know if you've seen this, but it seems like they're more likely to not change the calling on PIs here like 90% of the time.
It's got to be egregious. Campbell's another question. Want to answer it for you. Who are my favorites in the AFC and NFC? Actually, John, I'll let you lead off with this. Who do you like for a couple weeks in?
Favorite teams in the AFC, obviously New England has been an absolute buzzsaw. I mean, the poor Jets, they got to play tomorrow. Then they got to play the Patriots on a short week. I do wonder how the offensive line is going to hold up, with David Andrews with health issues. Obviously I liked what Kansas City did today. From there, there hasn't really been anybody else that's really stood out to me. It's like, wow, that is an incredible team out of the AFC, albeit it is early. And then out of the NFC, let's think about that for a second. Green Bay has been pretty good. I was just kind of wondering how the fit with Matt LaFleur was going to be. I've kind of wondered, is he just kind of a coordinator? But, they're off to a 2-0 start. So, right there in a very tough division. So I think, and then obviously the Los Angeles Rams are looking just as good as they were a year ago.
Yep. All right. So for me, in the NFC, I think it's wide open. I like Philadelphia right now. I do. The Wentz scares the hell out of me because you get hurt any second. But I I like Philly. I think they're the most talented team. I also think the Rams are right there. The Cowboys are right there. The Packers look like they could be right there. But I like Philly. If you had to make me pick right now, that's where I'm at. In the AFC, look, I think I'm like everybody else on the face of the earth. I think it's New England and Kansas City. And I don't know which one. I've got to see who's on New England at the end of the year. Is Josh Gordon there? Is Antonio Brown there? Right? Julian Edelman, is he still healthy in there? So I have a lot of questions there that I don't necessarily have to Chiefs. I mean, all those guys you'd expect to be there and be on the team. Those two teams play Week 14 at Foxborough. Whoever wins that game is probably hosting the AFC Championship game. So I would say one of those two teams. My prediction prior to the season beginning was Kansas City, Philadelphia. I'll stick with that.
Yeah, it looks like they did not overturn the challenge, so it is 3rd and 5 for the Falcons again. And Matt Ryan completes a very nice ball to the outside to Calvin Ridley for the first down.
Not bad. Not bad. Off and running and out of their own red zone. So the Falcons challenged and lost, but they still end up picking up the first down on 3rd. So a nice job there. And for Ridley, just a nice route. Really nice stem at the top, little out route, deep out, and really had plenty of room.
He's coming off a very fantastic rookie year, had 10 touchdowns for the Falcons. Albeit a bunch of them came in like 2 games, but for a rookie receiver out of Alabama, Ryan let that one sail a little bit, or got tipped a little bit. I don't know. That was going towards Russell Gage, who had been ruled out of last week's game with a concussion. So it's nice to see him back. Typically a special teams player out of LSU. Dan Quinn definitely does like to have guys that could do a lot of things on his team. So interesting to see him in the receiving corps. Freeman's not going anywhere on that.
No, he was not. He was swallowed up immediately.
Derek Barnett was right there. I liked him a lot coming out of Tennessee. I think I'm expecting kind of big things from him this year. I think particularly with I was wondering what your opinion of this is. The Eagles are going to be without Malik Jackson for the rest of the year. Huge loss for them on their defensive interior. Who do you think has got to step up for the Eagles in the trenches to offset that?
Well, Fletcher Cox, a beast. We saw him earlier. I think Brandon Graham's got to be that guy every game, right? He's so talented, and a nice little dump-off play, 3rd and 15, but that's not going anywhere. To me, that's what it's about. I think you need to see that Graham can give you a game in, game out performance like he's capable of. Derek Barnett's a guy, too, 1st-round pick, I believe, out of the former Volunteer. I don't think he wants to watch those games right now.
No.
But, no, I think, look, Graham and Barnett are the 2 guys for me that stand out because you know what you're getting out of Cox. Cox is going to be a great player. But if those other 2 guys can step up, then you still have that depth in the front, even with the loss of Malik Jackson.
Yeah. Another Tennessee. I think Jackson actually went to Tennessee, too. So, God, that program is just falling to pieces there.
That program is a disaster. That program should be taken off the board permanently. But it is what it is. Okay, so just keep you updated on the game here. 3:46 to go in the first, and it is a 3-0 Atlanta lead. Atlanta trying to get its first win, and it looked like
Bosher might have pulled his groin a little bit.
Yeah.
I was noticing that earlier, during the kickoffs. He usually does the kickoffs, and they had Matt Bryan out there, and it didn't make it to the end zone.
Yeah, that punt was atrocious. It's not good. I should say atrocious. It was lackluster, and he's clearly hurt.
Yeah. God, I remember last year Matt Bryan had to do punts, and it was just not good.
No, it was not. All right, so we go to commercial. Let's go for a broad view right now, and that would be, what was your biggest takeaway from today's action?
Biggest takeaway from today's action, I think there's 2 teams that we have thought are now they now start to look like contenders. I think in the AFC, Buffalo looked really good, beating the Giants by 2 touchdowns, and then the 49ers putting an absolute shellacking on the Bengals.
Yeah, that was impressive. That was impressive.
What about you?
I think Dallas really, with that offense kind of revitalizing it, I think they look like legitimate contenders. And I've never bought them with Dak. I've always thought he's good, but not really good enough. Like in the playoffs, could he make plays? They're pretty good to me right now. I like the way Dallas is playing.
Yeah, entering the season, I felt that both the Eagles and the Cowboys were playoff caliber teams, although I think I had the Eagles higher than the Cowboys, but that gap seems to be a little bit closer now
Yeah.
through about the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yep. It's interesting to see in the and we talked about it a little bit earlier, but the NFC is just so varied. Like Chicago gets a miracle win, so they're 1-1. Packers 2-0, Minnesota 1-1, Saints 1-1, Rams 2-0. Like, it's just there's nobody like in the AFC. Pittsburgh's 0-2 and already
Right.
in trouble. The Browns are 0-1. We played on Monday night. A lot of people thought the Jets would be good. Well, either they or the Browns. One of them's 0-2.
Probably going to be the Jets. Just Sam Darnold's got mono, and that's just going to knock him out of commission for about a month. If any team was going to have their quarterback succumb to mono, it was going to be the Jets. That's just kind of been their narrative.
It's just brutal. It's brutal if you're a Jets fan. I feel bad for them. They had all this excitement coming into the year, and you're looking at that schedule going, where are they going to win a game? You got the Pats, you got the Cowboys, you got the Eagles, you got the Pats again. It's just they look like they are staring 0-6 right in the face.
Yeah, this is a team that we kind of thought could go 10-6, 9-7. I mean, I'm not sure if I picked them to be the 6th seed in the AFC, but it's not looking like that. We do have another question on here. Who do you think are potential shock teams to make the playoffs? Do you think Cleveland will get their game together in order to make the playoffs?
I do. I don't think they're a shock team, though, for me. I think they're somewhat expected. Like, I think you start talking about – and then it's a good question because there's always teams like that. There's always a team or two. It reminds me of the Bills a couple of years ago when they got in, right? And everybody thought they were tanking. Could the Bills be that team again this year? Maybe. 2-0, and they've played 2 road games, so you like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you look around, to me, it's probably coming out of the AFC because the NFC is just so deep with contenders. So I would look at maybe like a Buffalo.
Right.
I think if you consider Cleveland, then Cleveland. I think in the AFC South, I don't know if this counts, but the Colts.
Yeah.
Because everybody thought they were a playoff team before Luck retired.
Right.
And,
everybody kind of felt that they were like in that same sort of tier, just after Kansas City and New England. But obviously with them having to move on to a different quarterback due to Andrew Luck's retirement, they do take a step back. So I think it's a little bit too early to remove all. I think anybody in the AFC South could be there, although I think Jacksonville does pull back, not having Foles there. But you never really know with the Gardner Minshew show. I actually picked the Jaguars to win the South, and then Foles breaks his clavicle, and that brings into that.
Yep.
Let's see. We got a couple minutes left in the first quarter. Philly is just on the Atlanta side of the 50-yard line.
2:35 to go and counting, a 1st and 10 from the Falcon 47. So, look, the Eagles still looking for their first points of the game. It's a little shotgun handoff and maybe a gain of 2. So, Philadelphia, driving towards field goal range. They're still a little bit outside. Look, so far the first quarter has kind of been a feeling out process for both teams. Neither team has really made a huge move by any stretch. Obviously, only 3-0. But really not even a lot of big plays. Just kind of conservative. What are you showing me? And I think both teams have to feel okay with where they are. The Falcons are winning, and the Eagles are right there. And you always want to kind of control the game and get your feet under you on the road. And that's what the Eagles have done.
Yeah, no explosive plays for either team thus far. It's very much a feeling out process.
Yeah, you see Wentz here tries to gun one into Ertz. Nice play by Keanu Neal. Breaks it up. It's 3rd and 8.
Yeah, great to have him back. Losing him along with Ricardo Allen and Deion Jones that early in the season last year was devastating. But yeah, it did seem that like Wentz is trying to force the ball there to his favorite target, Zach Ertz. And just kind of threw that one a little bit too low, had to put his hands down. If it was a little bit higher up, he would have completed that for a 1st down. So it's 3rd and 8 here, and Atlanta's going to call a timeout.
So, timeout Falcons. So, we have 1:44 to go in the first quarter, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. If you're watching on Twitch, on YouTube, or on Facebook, please ask questions. We'll do the best we possibly can to answer any and all of them. So, thank you so much for watching, for joining us. As always, we appreciate it and we enjoy your company. Let's get another question here from Campbell's. Let me read it out loud. Different question, but if you had Marquise Brown on your taxi squad, would you take him off this point or leave him on? Taxi Squad is for rookies, and once taken off, you can't put back on if anyone didn't know. Look, I'll be the first to admit, I am not a fantasy guru. That is not my forte, although I do have fantasy teams, so I have a little, some limited knowledge of it. I think it depends on your team, but I would, if it's a keeper league and that's an easy way to stash them, I'd probably keep them there. If it's a league where it's obviously just a one-year deal, then hey, bring him on and let it rip. But against the Chiefs, he's probably gonna have some yardage. Let's be real.
Yeah, put up a lot of yards on like 4 catches. Oh, Wentz escapes that one
Going
and
deep, and that's picked off.
picked off by Desmond Trufant.
Got to do better than that if you're Wentz. Wentz did a nice job to escape and bought himself time. Then, listen, maybe he figures it's 3rd and 8. It's like a punt anyway. So not the worst interception in the world as Wentz goes off, and we'll regroup here.
Let's watch that again, just see what's going on here.
Yeah, look, all it is really, the Falcons are showing pressure and they bring it. It's an all-out blitz.
Yeah, they bring Ricardo Allen in, or that might have been Kazee.
It was Allen, and they ran. They tried to run a deep 9 route to our Whiteside, and just undercut by Trufant. Ball just got a little bit too much air under it. Not on a line, kind of lofted it up, and now Wentz is
wincing a little bit.
Kind of wincing right, almost
ribs.
holding onto his rib.
He's kind of leaning back a little bit,
It's
trying
not
to get
great.
stretched out.
I mean, it doesn't mean it's anything horrible. We'll kind of just wait and see. I don't want to pretend to play doctor, but it is interesting to see. Again, we talked about it a few times in the first quarter. He has to be healthy. They're not winning anything with him not healthy. So,
are we at that point with him where like he's now injury prone, or are we like one injury away? I know he tore his ACL at North Dakota State. We all expect Philly to make the playoffs, probably, win the division. If not, they'll finish as like one of the wild card teams. But like he's got to play in January this year without question.
Yeah, listen, he's worthless to them on the bench. I mean, at some point, durability is your best talent, right? Like you need to be out there and be on the field. So if Wentz can't go, then that's a problem. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case tonight. It might be totally fine. He was in a little bit of pain coming off the field. As Ryan hit as he threw, and lucky it wasn't picked off as we have 3rd and 10.
Yeah, trying to get Julio Jones involved again. He didn't really feel the pressure there, and that could have been pretty ugly if he didn't get the ball out any quicker. Philly is doing a good job of containing Julio thus far. He usually is the guy that Ryan will find for a slant, near the hash mark to convert on, for first downs. I guess he did get a little bit of hands on the ball there.
So now you got 3rd and 10 from the 9. If you're the Falcons, nothing else in this drive. You just want to get out of the shadow of your own end zone. You don't want to be punting, especially now with Bosher.
Right.
Might be out. So, let's see. Ryan's going to take a deep drop, go down the middle of the field, and almost a great catch by Julio. Could not quite hold on. And so 3 and out deep in Atlanta territory.
Yeah, we're going to see Atlanta punt right now, and I would not be shocked if Matt Bryant does come in and punts at some point. I don't really even know where you would go from there, but because Bosher looks like he hurt his groin pretty bad.
It didn't look like it was just a little thing. And he's out there. He's out there. Let's see what he's got. Can he got the punt off? And it's a decent kick to about midfield. The Falcons tackled themselves, but still sprawls down at the Falcon 43-yard line.
Yeah, Duke Riley and his crazy blonde hair with a stop there. So Philly's got about 30 seconds in the first quarter, and we'll see if Carson Wentz can redeem himself after that poor pick.
Well, he's going to have an opportunity. 30 seconds to go in the first quarter, and so far, a game that has been one giant filling out process. 3-0 Atlanta. Obviously, the Falcons, again, if you're just tuning in, you haven't caught up on what's happened throughout the season. Atlanta 0-1, Philadelphia 1-0, and the home opener for the Dirty Birds. So, let's see. This might be the last play of the first quarter. With Wentz in the shotgun, they've got 4 wide. Ertz kind of in an H-back position. And it is going to just be a quick handoff to Miles Sanders. He picks up about 5, and that probably will take us to the end of the first quarter. Well, so far, your thoughts on the game?
It could be a lot worse. I do think that the Falcons are holding their own right now. We're going to bring Mr. Josh Hill back in here for a second, and he's going to give us some of his thoughts about what went on with the first quarter. Let's see. Yep, that is the end of the first quarter.
Okay, so Josh Hill comes in. John Bueller heads out. And you guys will both be handling the halftime duties. But for now, it is myself and it is Mr. Hill. Hill, you're going to give us like the Collinsworth slide here?
I could. Wait, here it comes.
There you go. Nice.
Hey, Verderam, how's it going?
What's going on? What's going on?
I was not impressed with that first half. Or the first quarter for the
I was going to say, you
for the
already got
Falcons.
that?
I'm living in the future, man.
All right, so look, while we're waiting for this game to come back, let's talk a little bit about the league. Here's an interesting quote per Mike Kliss, a longtime Denver media personality, and he works for the NBC News out there. Chris Harris Jr. was asked about fans leaving after Joe Flacco threw an interception with 4:45 to go. Quote, "I didn't see that, but it can be a frustrating game. We don't score a lot of points. We're not entertaining, so I can understand."
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
Very not wrong.
That is a blunt, he's not wrong at all, but that is a blunt comment for 0-2 at this juncture in the season.
What fascinates me about that is the quarterback matchup in that game left a lot to be desired. And the score was 6-3 for a very long time, and I feel like that reflected exactly what we were dealing with. It was Flacco versus Trubisky. And even when Trubisky led the game-winning drive, he got bailed out by the personal foul, which can we talk about that for a second? The officiating in that game, and I hate to be the refs screwed it up kind of guy, but we both watched that game on what was probably like a 75-inch high-definition television.
Yes.
We could have watched that on like a 1980s box with the rabbit ear antennas, and it's staticky. We're watching it in like Siberia, and we still would have seen that was not roughing the passer.
It's a horrible
what the
call.
heck?
It's a horrible call.
Like, I was trying to figure it out if it was like he drove him into the ground or something like that.
I think that's what it was called, but that's hideous.
It was. It changed the game. The Bears win because of that.
Yeah, the Bears would have lost.
That's incredible.
Otherwise, no, there's no two ways. And you know what? It's gotten to the I can't speak. It's gotten. I've been talking for an hour straight.
We've been doing this for what, like 11 hours at this point?
Pretty much, man. I've been on here a while. All right, so look, the bottom line is that call probably changes the game. It changes 2 seasons.
Oh
and
yeah.
You know what? I'll say this too. The NFL's got to, at some juncture, just swallow the whistle a little bit. Now, I get it. It's all about health, and that's fine. Nobody's sitting here saying that you don't want, everybody to be healthy. But I know this is an unpopular opinion. It's football. Guys get hit. Guys are going to get hurt. This idea that you can constantly legislate violence out of the game. Now, look, I'm not saying go back to the days you're going to head slap some guy and put him in a necktie. But at some point, you have to accept that if you play football, you're going to get busted up. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get injured. These things are going to happen. Hopefully not horribly, but you're going to get hurt. And if you play quarterback, every once in a while, you're going to get popped like a paper bag. That is the way it is. And this idea that, if we call Bradley Chubb for this, he's not going to do it again. What is he not going to do? Sack the quarterback again? He's going to be out of a job. I just don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. I think the NFL, they don't have to come out and say that they're going to reduce these calls, but you got to stop looking for opportunities to throw the flag. It's way too many plays.
Yeah, now that we can review pass interference, which it's only been 2 weeks, and I feel like we've had years of this, the number of times that it's reviewed. Even on Thursday night when I was watching the Bucs.
And it's just pointless.
We got Arians' challenge. In the first week, we saw a bunch of different people do it. It's frustrating to have the game slowed down. And then it's also frustrating to have games changed because we don't have an understanding of the rules. Because it's like, to a lesser degree, the catch rule, where we don't know what a catch is. Well, what's pass interference? Right. Well, what's roughing the passer? Like, we don't know. I don't know. It's frustrating. Legislation in football. It's not a good mix.
Well, we got the Eagles here, 2nd down and 10 at the Atlanta 33. And they will come very close picking up the first down. A 9-yard reception by Ertz, so it's going to be 3rd and 3 feet, also known as a yard. So, 13.5 to go in the second quarter, and the 3-0 lead for the Falcons still standing as we go on here. So Jesse Porter says, can we talk about the Cowboys and how they'll win the next 3 Super Bowls? We can talk about the Cowboys, but we don't do fiction. So, hey, listen, the next 3 Super Bowls.
It's true.
An aggressive stance, Jesse. I appreciate it, but aggressive. That said, if you've been listening to the stream at all, I have said, look, I think the Cowboys are really good, and I think they're a contender in the NFC. And I needed to see Dak make that jump. I still want to see it. He's done it against the Redskins, and he's done it against the Giants, who are awful. But I really like the way he's played in Kellen Moore's offense. I do think that they are going to be a team that is there deep in January. So I think, all kidding aside, your Cowboys, Jesse, they're very good. The defense is terrific. The offense seems to kind of be catching up.
How deep do you think that the Cowboys are? Because we're watching the Eagles right now, and one of the reasons that we're so hyped up about the Eagles, or they're such a big talking point, is because 2 years ago, Carson Wentz, who we're all seeing whether or not he can actually be the leader of this team, goes down in the middle of an MVP season. We're like, man, this really sucks. The Eagles are going to be awesome. They're going to be great. Who knows what they would have done in the playoffs? And then Nick Foles not only wins the Super Bowl, but he's a Super Bowl MVP. So unexpected things can happen.
He almost just got picked right there.
Talk about unexpected things.
No, I
mean, weirder things would have happened than Dak Prescott going to the Super Bowl this year.
And listen, and by the way, Jesse, I see your comment. Fiction. The Cowboys are stacked, bro. Yeah, listen, that's fine. They're stacked. So's Kansas City. So's New Orleans. So's Los Angeles. So's New England. So's Philadelphia, and they're in your own division. So's Green Bay. Like, I'm not knocking Dallas, but come on. I mean, they win 3 Super Bowls in a row. I mean, the last team that won 3 Super Bowls in a row? Nobody. So
the Cowboys of the 90s didn't even do that.
No. So they don't win 3 Super Bowls in a row, but they're very good. I think I see them as very similar to Philadelphia. If Wentz stays healthy all 16 games, I think Philadelphia is a smidge better. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if Dallas ended up proving themselves the better team, or if both teams ended up winning 12 games. I think it's that kind of. I think you're splitting hairs. I really do. The Cowboys are really, really good, and you should be really excited about them.
I'm putting together my winners and losers post for FanSided.com for tomorrow.
Sure.
And Dak Prescott is not on my winners list, even though he was a winner. But Kellen Moore is on my winners list because this is a guy who, I mean, we're talking, he's the Statue of Liberty play guy, right?
Kellen
Boise
Moore?
State?
No, that was a different quarterback.
I was thinking of somebody else.
Zabransky. That was Jared Zabransky.
Jared Zabransky. Well, there you go. Crediting him with something he didn't do. But something he is doing is getting Dak Prescott paid. And that's why.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something that with these Cowboys offense, it's always been, and the Cowboys in general have been Jason Garrett. I haven't thought of Jason Garrett once this entire season. Like, by this point, we're like, oh, man, he screwed it up. Of course, here's another 8-8 season for the Cowboys. Jason Garrett's holding them back. Kellen Moore is the greatest shield that Jason Garrett has ever had on his sideline. This is incredible. Now, I think I wonder if we get to a point where he does so good and we are in a league that is so obsessed with offensive genius,
right,
that old Jerry Jones pulls the rug out, the loyalty rug, and he's like, oh, Kellen Moore, head coach, baby, let's go. Jason Garrett steps aside, maybe he's a specialist or something like that. At what point are we thinking? Because if Kellen Moore is able to get Dak Prescott paid, like Carson Wentz and all these other guys, he's going to get a head coaching job, or at least he's going to get head coaching consideration. Zach Taylor's a head coach right now. Kellen Moore, I don't think it's necessarily crazy to think that he would be a head coaching candidate at some point. If you're the Cowboys, why don't you just, for a lack of a better comparison, do the Dirk Cutter thing where you're like, all right, fine, let's promote him. Let's move him on up the chain. He works great with Dak. Dak's the future. If we're going to give Dak $35, $40 million a season, whatever they're going to give him, why would you not want the guy who's unlocked this within him to be the head coach?
No, I think, look, you have to feel right now that the Cowboys offense is playing better. By the way, the Eagles just tied the game on a field goal, 3-3, 10:49 to go. No, I think right now, Kellen Moore, 2 weeks in, he looks great. Now, don't forget that this time last year, everybody was like, who's going to be the next great head coach? Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
So these things happen. But that being said, yeah, sure, absolutely. Kellen Moore right now looks like a guy who could certainly be a candidate for jobs. He's done a really nice job. I'm looking at some of the stuff on the chat feed.
Cowboys are choke artists.
Cowboys are choke artists. That's aggressive. They weren't today. Ali, hello from Iraq. Go Cowboys. Well, hello, how are you doing? Hope everything's good. Tylon says, who do you guys think are the teams going to the Super Bowl? Hill?
I still have the Packers and the Patriots.
I still have the Chiefs and the Eagles.
I've never really wavered on the Patriots in the first 2 weeks of the season because, come on, it's the Patriots. But I feel better about my Packers pick now that I saw what that offense did in the first half against the Vikings. I'm still a little shaky on whether or not they're going to be able to sustain this for the entire season because they did seemingly phone it in the rest of that game. Like, they should have significantly beaten the Vikings.
Sure.
The way that offense for Matt LaFleur was flowing in the first couple of drives of the game. They were up 14-0 before you could even settle in and, crack open a beer. Like, they were winning that game. And then all of a sudden it's 21-16. Maybe they're not going to win. What's going to go on here? It's like, I don't understand how you can have two different versions of the same team in the same game. And my question with that then goes back to Aaron Rodgers. What's the deal with Aaron Rodgers? Is he going to be the type of guy who allows this success to happen? He allows Matt LaFleur's offense to flourish? Or is he going to be the guy who's going to get his right away and then say, hey, man, you're the head coach. You take it the rest of the way. I got you 14 points. You want to be big man on campus? You want to play ball with me? Be the coach. And I fear that we're going to have that kind of power struggle. Right. And I don't know if Matt LaFleur is experienced enough to handle it.
Hey, look, man, you know what? Right now, everything's hunky-dory because they're 2-0.
Yeah.
I don't know. Rodgers has gone through some crappy years with Mike McCarthy. If they're good, I think they'll figure it out. Winning tends to kind of cure a lot of this stuff. Now, Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson might say something different, but on the whole, I think it cures a lot of ills. Yeah. This is going to be a work in progress. I think both guys understand that. But so far, so good. They're 2-0. They've played well. And if the defense keeps giving up 10 points or so a game, then all of a sudden you don't have to worry about it as much, right? Like the offense can kind of take its time getting up to speed. So I think so far, so good. If you are the Packers, who are 2-0 in a division where the Lions have struggled, even though they're 1-0-1. The Vikings, Cousins can't throw more than 10 passes in a game without giving it up. And Trubisky looks like me behind center. So it's not been great. Packers in the Super Bowl, come on, fam. He says you're a joke.
We'll see how that plays out at the end of the season. And I'm not happy about it either. Like, picking a Packers-Patriots Super Bowl, like, that's not necessarily something everybody wants to see. But
Lamont says Falcons over Pats.
Falcons over Pats. 28-3 says hello.
Oh, wow.
Like, we already saw that Super Bowl, and we know how it went.
Vincent saying, hey, the Ravens will win the North.
That's good.
Look, I picked the Steelers for the season, but I got to tell you, looking like it currently, the Steelers are a mess.
Yeah.
And the Ravens, I'm really impressed by Lamar Jackson. He's better than I thought he would be.
We were a year early on the Ravens.
We picked them last year. And we were right. But I think, I think, look, ultimately, Baltimore looks like the most complete team. If Lamar Jackson plays even close to this level, they'll win the division.
Yeah, easily. Drew Brees' injury concerns me the more that I think about it.
It's not good. I don't even need to think about that. If he's hurt at all,
he says he's significantly hurt. So,
by the way, I want to commend our Raiders expert who runs Just Blog Baby, Brad Weiss.
Brad Weiss
just tweeted out, bought a cigar in case the Raiders won. Going to smoke it anyway. On to Miss Brad. That's exactly what you should do.
Brad.
You smoked that stogie. Listen, you know what? You guys played okay. You lost, sure. And at the end of the day, the second quarter for the Raiders was not a highlight reel. But you were up 10-0. I mean, Frank, I'm going to be honest. I don't mean this as an insult at all. That's more than I thought the Raiders were going to do. I didn't think the Raiders were getting up 10-0.
Yeah.
They put a real scare into Kansas City for about a quarter. It was like, wow, what's going on? And then things kind of went south from there. But hey, smoke it. And if you're a Raiders fan, seriously, go to Just Blog Baby. Brad does an unbelievable job. The Falcons 2nd and 1 from about the 34.5 as they try to pick up a first down. They get a little wide receiver swing pass with the Julio Jones. He gets the first, barely. Picked about 2 yards. So we'll see how Atlanta gets rolling. Jason Kelce.
Oh, here we go. You've been queued up. Who is this? Cam Bills?
Yes.
Says, how do you feel about Houston?
Oh, my God.
What's that gift? It's like, everybody back. Like, here we go.
Listen, Cam Bills, if you listen to Stacking the Box with Hill and I, which, by the way, let me throw it out there before I even answer this question. If you like podcasts, if you like the NFL, as you do, because you're on this stream, right? Go to iTunes, download Stacking the Box. It is a podcast that Josh and I do, and starting last week, we are now joined by Jeff Schwartz, former NFL offensive lineman, played in Minnesota, Carolina, New York, Kansas City. He's with us for the entirety of the show every week. It's an hour-long show once a week, and then we're also going to have some bonus episodes where we get interviews from people in and around the league. So please join by subscribing, leave a comment, leave a rating. We'd really love to have you. We think the show's better than ever, and we're really excited about it. So now, back to, and the link is right there in the chat. So please get to that bad boy and click the subscribe button. I promise you'll enjoy it. We have a lot of fun with it. It's insightful, but it's also funny. Okay, so back to it. Cam Bills, how do you feel about Houston? Well, here's how I feel about Houston. Bill O'Brien is not a good head coach. He's a terrible head coach. They invested 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick in Laramie Tunsil. They invested a first-round pick in Titus Howard, a second-round pick in Max Sharping, and they can't block anybody. They've given up 10 sacks in the first 2 games. They gave up 62 last year. They're now on pace for 80. Not great. I love Deshaun Watson. I think he's great. I think DeAndre Hopkins is the best receiver in football. Okay? But their line is a mess. Their line is an absolute disaster. And that, by the way, Julio Jones, I don't know if this is in bounds. I'm ruling it a catch. What a catch on the sideline.
Wow.
Just went up and skied for a ball deep down the sideline into Philadelphia territory. But with Houston, I think they're talented enough that they'll probably make it into the play. And that is a catch. He got his feet down. Unbelievable. And they're the Philadelphia 33 and moving. Well, Ridley just went backwards again. But I think Houston's limited because of the coach. And their defense worries me. Look, Watt's a great player, so is Merciless. McKinney's a good, solid player, but that back end scares the hell out of me. So I'll leave it at that with Houston. But Bill O, oh my God. Let's be real. They should all. I shouldn't say. They could have very well lost at home to Gardner Minshew.
They really should have.
Okay.
They should all say it. They should have lost. Well, yeah, because Cam Bills had another part. How worried should Panther fans be?
Oh, yes.
He's never been a huge fan of Cam Newton. Neither are you.
Yeah. Listen, he scares me because he's hurt. He's clearly hurt. He's having a very hard time coming back from his injury, shoulder surgery, foot injury in preseason. Yeah. I think I'm pretty worried about Carolina, and I think that's a very tough conference. In the AFC, I'd be less worried. In the NFC, I'm worried. 0-2 is going to be a tough hill to climb out of, and those losses are both at home.
Yep.
That hurts.
One of them's in the division, too.
By the way, Vincent, see that you subscribe. Hey, thanks a lot, man.
Yeah,
really
thanks,
appreciate
Vincent.
it. Yeah. Always follow us on Twitter at Stack in the Box. Shoot us questions. If you want to follow Hill and I. You shoot us a question. We'll always try to answer it on the podcast. So thank you so much. Really do appreciate it.
Yeah, Cam Newton, because I've liked Cam Newton more than most people do. I'm aware that he's an inaccurate quarterback, but he's always been a 2-dimensional quarterback. That's what's been so good about him is he's this big-bodied, physical quarterback who can run and he can beat you with his legs. I mean, you take that away from him. We saw what we saw on Thursday night, where it's like it's 4th and inches, the game is literally on the line.
Right.
He needs to fall forward, and you either get a first down or a touchdown because they're right there.
Yep.
And you don't do it. You run a swing play. Like, why? To me, that's like, I know that Cam Newton's not healthy, and he probably hasn't been healthy for the last couple of years. But that concerns me to just how unhealthy is he? That they're like, we can't put him out there week 2 to win this game that we need to try and avoid going 0-2.
Right.
Let's just kind of kick it out. We'll see how this goes. Like, that's
I got
scary
concerns about
to me.
him. By the way, I wanted to answer a question earlier in the chat about would you trade Aaron Donald if you're the Rams for a bevy of picks?
Hell no.
No, I would not. Look, I understand the theory that if you do that, then you have all this big bounty of picks that you can use to fill up other spots on the roster. Here's the problem with that theory. There are no guarantees that those picks are going to be good players. And there's a pretty damn good guarantee that those players are not going to be Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is a generational talent on defense. Yep. You don't trade that guy. It's like saying, hey, if you're the Chiefs, should you trade Mahomes for 4 first-round picks? Nope, because you're never getting that guy again. I don't care. You could say, well, you could use 3 of those picks on defense and get a quarterback. I don't care. By the way, Caleb McGarry, rookie offensive lineman for the Falcons, is
back-to-back weeks with
carried
offensive
off.
linemen.
And the other one is their other first-round pick, Chris Lindstrom, the rookie, who is out for 8 weeks at least. So
That's what sunk Atlanta
Brutal
last year,
blow.
too.
The Falcons just injuries up
Injuries.
front. Now 2nd and 9. Ryan's going to escape. He's going to go deep
Justice.
for the end zone.
Oh!
Just out of Ridley's reach. He almost was able to come down with it. That ball, it was right there. And Darby was trailing in coverage, but he had Darby beat. And Darby was able to escape the goat horns there as the ball just too far in the end zone.
I think the answer to the Aaron Donald trade question is Khalil Mack and the Raiders. Because
Yeah,
they're very, very close
That's a good-
as far
that's a
as
good
being
point.
generational talents.
and what is it doing for the Raiders? Nothing.
Josh Jacobs is all right, but would you ever trade Josh Jacobs for, like, if that was the trade and the Bears were like, we'll trade you Josh Jacobs and like some trash
Hell no.
for
Never done it
Khalil
in
Mack?
years. He's going
No.
for it all again, and he missed them again.
Almost got it.
Oh, my goodness. That's got to kill you. Hardy was wide open in the end zone, and Ryan had all day. It was under the pressure. Overthrew him. So,
Yeesh.
look, let's answer some more questions. Vincent Coleman says Cam is mentally drained as a football player. Well, listen, I think he's mentally drained right now. Just they're not playing well. They don't have a ton of weapons, and he's hurt. I believe he's hurt. And Tylen says, if you're Atlanta, what on defense do you work on? Well, look, there's a handful of different things right now. But let's see, a 50-yard field goal attempt here from Matt Bryant with 7:47 to go in the half.
Oh,
and
blocked it.
blocked. It ended up having, I think, enough distance, but it looked like it was deflected at the line of scrimmage. And it was well wide left before really it even had a chance. I just want to see the replay on that. And then, Tylen, I will answer your question. I haven't forgotten about you, buddy. Let me just see. Okay, so showing the replay now. Bryant's going to get a good foot on it. No, missed. Just pushed it. Just brutally pushed it.
That wasn't blocked? Like, it's like a
it was-
knuckleball.
It was not blocked. I was with you. I thought he blocked it. He did not
Just
block
the,
it.
Weird
Didn't
trajectory.
block it. Hit it. Must have hit it fat. Okay, so and McGarry's getting carted off the field, so that's never a good sign. All right, Atlanta's defense. What would I work on? It's hard to say this considering the way they've drafted. I'd get a better pass rush if I could. Tack McKinley's been okay. He's not been great. Vic Beasley Jr. led the league in sacks one year and then kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. Horrible
interception.
pick.
What was
Trufant's
that?
second of the game on Wentz, and Trufant's going to get close to midfield to the 45-yard
flags all
line.
over
Flag
the
comes
place.
in late, but the pick's going
The
to
interception's
stand.
good.
He caught it on his keister. He was sitting down, and Wentz just threw the ball right to him. It was almost like he was aiming for him. So that's going to be a second interception for Wentz, who's not played well in this game at all.
Solid Keister reference there.
Yeah, do it
That's
again. But listen, Tylen, I think they got to get better up front. They got to get better up front. Right now, the only guy who scares you is Grady Jarrett. And it is a holding penalty on the return on Atlanta. So it'll be backed up. They do the ball 3-3 in what can only be described as a full-on barn burner at this point.
Do you guys have a favorite team? I believe we're wearing our favorite teams.
Yeah, you got the Bucs,
Today.
and I've got my fan-sided
That's right, Buccaneers.
Showtime ketchup. You can't really see it here, so I'll here you go. Showtime ketchup, right? And you can all, I'm sure, figure out that's a little
Swag
bit.
shop. You can buy that at the swag shop.
You can.
I bought it at the swag shop.
Yep.
I'm not even a Chiefs fan.
That's right. It's a great shirt.
It's a good shirt. Wear it to the gym.
Yep, that's right. And where can you find the swag?
FanSided swag.
That's
Swag.fansided.com.
That's right. Swag.fansided.com. Go out and get your
Search
shirts.
Stacking the Box. You
But,
can get some Stacking the Box stuff. Search your favorite team, your favorite site. Just Blog Baby's got a lot of stuff.
Hill and I are weird because Hill grew up in Minnesota, but
yeah.
is a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. I grew up in New York, but I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. And by the way, no, not because of Patrick Mahomes. Okay? Steve Bono says hello from my childhood.
Oh, man. You've
So
gone
don't-
through the list for me.
Because there's going to be so many people now for the next 15 years. Oh, you're a Chief fan? Oh, yeah, sure. No, man. I went through Tyler Palco, okay? Like, I deserve Patrick Mahomes after all the years of crap that I had to deal
Tyler
with in Kansas
Palco.
City. So, but I am a Chiefs fan, and Hill here is a Buccaneers fan.
Right. From the old NFC Central days.
Yeah.
Before realignment. The pre-realignment
I remember as a
Buccaneers.
kid when the Chiefs were battling it out with Warren Moon in the AFC West when he played on the Seahawks. I remember those trips to the
Ooh,
Kingdome.
yeah.
Then they imploded the Kingdome. They moved the Seahawks to the NFC, and here we are.
Oh, speaking of Seattle, Tylon says, do you think Seattle has a good chance against any good teams? I mean, they kind of struggled. And they did. They kind of struggled at home.
I do because of the quarterback and the coach.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh's a good team. I know Pittsburgh's 0-2. I know they're kind of a mess right now. And you could say, well, Roethlisberger got hurt. And that's fair. That's fair. But Yeah, I do. I think Seattle's going to beat their fair share of good teams. I do think Seattle's limited, though, because of the way they play offense. Look, Schottenheimer's just terrified to make any kind of forcible move down the field, which kills me because they have Russell Wilson. But that's the way they play. By the way, I want to say one thing real quick. Matt Ryan's thrown the ball 21 times already, 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Why? It's a 3-3 game. They should be trying to run the ball a little bit more, control the sticks, wear out that Eagles pass rush. Not doing it. They did the first drive, and have not done it since. And I don't get why. I do not get why at all. And the Eagles' defensive front is starting to tee off. McGarry's now out. Lindstrom's out. So both those reinforcements, his first-round picks, are both hurt. And Tylon, I see what you're saying about the O-line for Seattle. It's a concern. But Wilson erases a lot of those concerns because of how great he is in moving around behind the line of scrimmage. So, their offensive line was not great last year. It was better, but not great by any stretch. And they won 10 games. They made the playoffs. They gave Dallas all they could handle. So I think you're going to be okay in Seattle. I really do. 2-0 is a nice start, and I know they're both out of conference wins, but they're still wins, and 2-0 is a nice job. Yeah, great Bruce Matthews at the game in Atlanta, supporting his son Jake. That's cool. I also another comment off the chat from my father, who is chiming in about when I was talking about how I lived through Steve Bono.
Oh boy.
My father says at least you didn't have to live through Paul Wiggin. Which, if you don't know who Paul Wiggin is, Google it. Unless you're a Chief fan, then don't Google it ever. A ill-fated head coach who replaced Tank Stram. Let's put it that way. Okay? Third down coming up for Atlanta. 5:20 and ticking here in the second quarter. 3-3 in an offensive festival here tonight.
It has not been what you're looking for if you're a fantasy football player.
It's not been what you're looking for if you follow just football in general. Two good teams, but it has been a little bit of a slog here. And Ryan's going for it all, and he's got it open,
touchdown.
And it is a touchdown.
Calvin Ridley.
Finally hit him on the deep ball. A deep post down the middle. Calvin Ridley, and pending the extra point, it is 9-3 with 4:56 to go. So as we talk about it being a slog, the Falcons go up top. And they take the biggest lead of the game so far, 6 points, and potentially here 7.
The way this game's been going, how insurmountable is this?
Oh, not insurmountable at all.
I don't know. Carson Wentz has not looked good.
Quarters coverage, and they hit the post, and Sendejo just did not get back. And what you like the post against quarters. It's hard to defend. And Darby thinks he's got help to the inside, and he should in Sendejo, but he's late coming over. And so... You see how it shakes there. Ryan finds Ridley, and now Brian coming in to kick. Tylon, do you think the Browns were nothing but a hype, or do they have a future? I think they have a future. Look, they played terrible week 1, but if you go and watch the film of that game, it's a lot of 18 penalties and 3 picks and all these self-inflicted mistakes. I think the Browns are good. I don't think they're Super Bowl good. I never thought they were. But I do think they're a hell of a lot better than they looked week 1. So I guess that would be my answer. I don't think it's time to be throwing dirt on the Browns just yet.
No, and I guess this all really kind of comes down to Freddie Kitchens. What happens at the end of the year with him? If they have a rough go of things, is Freddie Kitchens the guy who ends up being the scapegoat?
We've seen.
We've talked about that.
And we've seen in Cleveland, one and done.
Mm-hmm. Mike Patton says hello.
Yeah, he does. So
Rob Chudzinski says hello.
Yeah, he does. Poor Rob Chudzinski.
Rob Chudzinski.
That man.
He didn't ask for anything.
That man was blindsided. He never had a chance.
None of that. Maybe a division winner close. Wild card. I had him in the wild card.
So do I. And so did I going into the season. So I'm still in that same spot.
But what a wild twist it would be in the AFC North, where we've had all these years of the Steelers dominating, and of course the Bengals being participants in the playoffs.
Yep.
And then we have a total seismic shift of the Ravens win this out, or the North, and then the Browns make it in as a wild card. So those are your two AFC North teams. That's very believable too, the way things are shaking out.
Could be.
But
I think the AFC right now is wide open in terms of who's going to get in the playoffs. I don't think it's wide open in the sense of the AFC right now reminds me of what it was like in the 90s with the Cowboys and the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those two teams we're both champions, and so obviously the AFC is a little different in that regard. But it just reminds me of it in the sense that when you look at that conference, those two teams are so much better than anybody else, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just going to take a monumental upset to knock them off, and that's how you always felt about the Cowboys and the 49ers in the mid-'90s, early 90s. Thailand, do I think the Falcons make the playoffs? I picked them before the season to do so I'm going to stick with them. Yeah, I do. But I will say this, the offensive injuries on the line scare the hell out of me. Mm-hmm. If they can't block, they're not going to the playoffs. But if Breeze is out for 2 months with this hand thing, then they're probably winning the division.
Yeah.
So it's just so hard to say. We're a game and a half into the season.
Cam Bills is back. He says, after seeing Antonio Brown today, although it was against a horrible team, how scary are the Patriots offensively? And I raised this question to you earlier. We didn't really get into it. Not complete teams, but just offensively as far as potential and what they could end up being. The 2007 Patriots offense or what this 2019 Patriots offense can be. Which one? Because the 2007 Patriots, it was Moss, and that's what it's remembered for, Moss and Brady. But he had a bunch of guys around him. Like Antonio Brown, if he stays on the field, you got Gordon, you've got Edelman, you've got all these guys, James White in the backfield.
The 07 team. The 07 team.
Offense, the 07 offense, not the complete team.
In both cases. You know what? We live in this hot take era where everybody just has to scream at the top of their lungs to get attention. I'm not going to do that. I just don't believe it. I think the Pats are great. That's obvious. They've been great for a long time. But to me, Dave Brown and Gordon and Edelman, and they're terrific, but none of them are Randy Moss. Mm-hmm. And I got news for you. Edelman's not Wes Welker in his prime. Okay? Wes Welker's the best slot receiver I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Edelman's not Wes Welker, and he's never been Wes Welker. Brady in 2007 was also better than the current version.
Oh, yeah.
That version of Brady was ridiculous, okay? And Brady's still a great player, don't get me wrong, but there's still, Wentz almost just threw another pick, and that would have been a pick six. He's looked awful in this game. But Brady now, it's more about kind of managing the game, kind of like he did in the very beginning of his career. Mm-hmm. Brady in 07 was out of his mind. They had a great offensive line. Their running backs weren't anything great. I believe it was Lawrence Maroney that year, but I
think so.
They did fine. That team was one of the great offensive teams of all time. I look at New England, and I know people can go, what about this game? What about they just beat Miami? I don't care what they did against Miami. Miami sucks, okay? If we're just going to get right down to brass tacks, Miami sucks. That team is going to be giving up 40 points on the regular. They're not beating anybody, okay? And I would be venturing to guess 43 now. I believe, how many of that was defensive? I know one of them were.
2 defensive touchdowns, I believe.
Okay. So
they
scored 29 points. Mm-hmm. Who cares? The Chiefs scored 28 points in a quarter in Oakland. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say, look, I'm not knocking New England. I'm just saying, when you look at that offense in 07, that team went undefeated.
Yeah.
That was a great team. I mean, that was an all-time great team. This team is very good, but I don't even know if they're the best team in their own conference yet. I think they're certainly right there, 1A, 1B, one way or the other. I think New England's terrific. I think AB adds something to them, of course. But I got to see it. Isaiah Wynn left hurt. How hurt is he? Because they're already missing their right tackle, Marcus Cannon, and David Andrews, the center's out for the year.
Yeah.
Those are big injuries. I know Skarnecki's a hell of an all-line coach, but those are big, big injuries.
The Patriots running backs that year in 2007, Lawrence Maroney was one of them. Can you name the other 2?
Probably not. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis?
No.
Oh, no.
But nice deep cut.
Hilarious name.
Nice deep cut. Kevin Falk.
Yep,
was
Kevin
one.
Falk. And hold on. And, oh, God, I can, see him. I think I can see the guy. Kevin Falk and, oh, hell, I don't know. Who is it?
Sammy Morris.
That was who I was thinking of. Okay.
Who are you thinking of?
I don't know. I would have said it otherwise. I'm, picturing, his, running style, but I can't.
Oh. Bring back Corey Dillon. That's what we need.
Corey Dillon was a hell of a player.
Yeah, the other receiver.
By the way, just as a quick aside, Ian Rappaport tweets out there's obvious concern for Ben Roethlisberger, who left today's game with an elbow injury. He'll have an MRI on Monday to determine the extent of the damage.
The other wide receivers around Randy Moss that year, Wes Welker, who you mentioned, and then he had Dante Stallworth and Jabbar Gaffney. Jabbar Gaffney was still on the team in 2007.
That was correct.
So, yeah, so we lose Breeze and Roethlisberger in the same week. Roethlisberger, we were talking about this when it happened. Like, this always happens with him. Like, he's probably not going to practice at all this week, and then he'll, like, lumber out there and end up playing on Sunday. But Breeze, I feel like, is a little more significantly injured, and that also concerns me a lot more because so much depends on him.
Yeah, look, first of all, I think the Saints have real Super Bowl aspirations. I don't know if the Steelers do. So the injury to Breeze would be a bigger blow, I think, in terms of the Super Bowl picture. For the Steelers, look, if for both of these teams, let's be real. If these guys are out, they're not going anywhere.
No.
Period. I mean, they're not going to the playoffs. So, Roethlisberger's tough because Roethlisberger so many different times. It looks like his arm falls off or his leg falls off, and then he ambles out 3 plays later. Now, he didn't come back in the second half at all, but we'll see how hurt he is. Mm-hmm. If he's out for a significant period of time, they're in rough shape. 3 of their next 4 games are at San Francisco. Then they have a game against Cincinnati on Monday Night Football. Should win that. But then Baltimore and the Chargers. Oof. So if he's out like a month or something like that, good night.
Philly Flies High says, what do you think about Jacksonville's defense without having Nick Foles to control the offense and keep the defense off the field? And how do you think D.D. Westbrook will do in this new system with the God, Gardner Minshew II?
Okay, so D.D. Westbrook, I think, will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a great player. I think he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be what Marquise Lee was a couple of years ago.
Okay, that's
not bad. Not all pro. I think he's fine. I think he's a good player. I don't know. I mean, I think Jacksonville's just a very limited team.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's fine.
What about the defense?
I think Jacksonville's defense is terrific. Look, they give up 40 to the Chiefs, but there's going to be teams that give up 40 to the Chiefs all the time. I thought they played really well against Houston. Deshaun Watson, 4 sacks, 159 yards, no touchdown. He didn't play great. They scored 12 points. You're not going to win a lot of games scoring 12 points. So I love the defense in Jacksonville. I think they're one of the more talented units, but you need points.
Yeah.
And they're just so limited offensively.
Yeah, I think that's where losing Nick Foles really kills them. Not that I don't think Nick Foles would have taken them very far, but at the same time, it's like it's not what you paid for.
No. And you know what? Without Foles, they're obviously going to be even more limited than they were going to be with him. But listen, you're looking around the league. There's limited quarterbacks all over the place. Marcus Mariota says hello. Jacoby Brissett says hello.
Oof.
Derek Carr says hello. Whatever the hell the Dolphins are trotting out says hello. Josh Allen. You could throw him in there. Mitchell Trubisky. Kirk Cousins to an extent. There's usually half the damn league teams that are limited at quarterback.
Yeah.
And those teams have no shot at winning the Super Bowl, but some of them might make the playoffs. And I think for Jacksonville, you were hoping to be in that playoff grouping, but with Foles out, it's tough.
Lamont Lovett wants Trufant to get one more interception. Just one more?
You go for the hat trick. Go for the hat trick.
I'd be like, let's get a couple more. The way that Carson Wentz is just handing them out up there.
He's not doing great. He's not doing great. Carson Wentz has played awful so far in this game, quite honestly. Really bad.
What happens if he looks like this on more than one occasion?
They lose.
Like
a lot of games, more than we all thought.
But does that become a quarterback liability thing like we're talking about? Because Philly, I feel, is built differently. They're a deeper team. Although with all of these injuries, we're getting the depth tested here in a pretty big way. And it doesn't help that Carson Wentz has forgotten how to play football. So, I don't know. Because Philly was a hot pick for a lot of people. I know you picked them to go far. A lot of other people picked them to maybe win the Super Bowl again this year, the way that roster is constructed. Wentz just scares me, the way that he's playing right now. But again, it's week 2, so who knows?
There's no doubt. I think you've got to look. If Wentz doesn't play well, as good as the Eagles are, they'll join that whole limited group. You have to in the NFL in this day and age. You've got to be able to sling it. I don't care who you are, what talent's around the guy. And I know you'll get these people who'll say, well, what about Flacco in 2012? And well, he was great in the playoffs.
Yeah, he had a good year.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
People say, what about Manning in Denver? Okay, look, his numbers stunk, but he was Peyton Manning, and he got him in a good play every single time they were at the line of scrimmage. All right? And in the playoffs, by the way, he didn't turn the ball over once. These other guys, they're just not – you're not going to win consistently. Foles was out of his mind in that playoffs.
Yep.
You're not going to win when you can't do anything at the quarterback position. Now, look, Wentz has done it in the past. He's just having a rough night. But so far, they've stunk offensively. They've done nothing. He's thrown 2 picks. It's 1st and 10 here coming out of the 2-minute one. He just threw another one, no drop.
Oh, God, that was so close.
He should have. That should have been. He has thrown 2 picks and about 2 or 3 other passes that were just right there. By the way, I want to shout out. I got a question this afternoon by our old friend Jake Walarius, who says, "quote What in the hell is wrong with Kirk Cousins?" I told him to take a walk. He left us to go back to his graduate program in Indiana, but
nerd.
Yeah, nerd. But Kirk Cousins, seriously, what the hell is wrong with Kirk Cousins? I don't know.
Oh man, the Vikings. That's the $83 million question.
84.
84. How much money they're going to ask back whenever he ends his tenure there?
It's not been good.
Which isn't going to be soon enough for Vikings fans.
Wentz is just hideous. I mean,
I don't know what he's doing. What the hell's going on?
White's just wide. He was open and he just wailed it out of bounds right past him.
I don't know.
I mean, right now, I don't know. They haven't shown the stats, so I'm going to look it up. My God, this
not good.
It can't be pretty. Seriously.
Wentz?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I got it. 6 of 14, 47 yards, 3.4 yards an attempt, 2 picks.
What's the grimace face emoji? Hey, no, that's not what you're looking for.
I mean, that is just... And he's not even been under pressure. I mean, he's been in a lawn chair throwing the ball tonight. It just doesn't matter. He's been hideous. He has been
47
truly
yards.
hideous.
Oh.
And he's going to drop back again. And he's got some
he's going
time.
for it all.
Kind of as he threw over wide right out.
These aren't even close.
No, it was about 10 yards out of bounds. So 6 of 15 for 47 yards. And they will punt it away again. Atlanta 10-3, 146 to go in the second quarter.
If Carson Wentz gets hurt, do you think they will look elsewhere for a quarterback? Or is it the Nate Sudfeld show?
They like Sudfeld. I actually think they might go with Sudfeld.
These NFL teams, they like their guys. They like system guys.
Because they believe the guy's been around. They trust him.
Knows the playbook, all that kind of stuff.
So you got a punt here that is fielded at the 11. There's a flag down. And Atlanta's going to get the ball at about the 21, pending what the penalty is.
Awesome. Austin says he's a Cowboys fan.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Cowboys fan. Well, you should be pretty happy because you're 2-0, 2 division wins, and you're going to play the Dolphins. So you're 3-0.
Every team should be so lucky to play the Dolphins. It's like the free space when you play bingo.
It's
just
unbelievable.
fill it right in.
It really is just incredible. They just play nobody. I mean, the Dolphins are pathetic.
What are the chances they don't win a single game?
Because
it's laughable at this point because it's like, come on. We're getting later in the year, and some of these teams are also checked out.
No, look, man, they suck.
Miami,
they really suck. Like, I think they'll win a game because the odds are just they'll win a game. But man, are they bad. What is their over-under right now? Like, if you were to run to the window in Vegas and bet the over-under, I mean, just go. What is it 2.5?
It can't be that high.
I mean, I think I'd bet the under all day long. Like, I wouldn't even think twice. Today's game, they lose 43-0. Yardage 381 to 184. The Dolphins turned it over 4 times. Only the ball for 23.5 minutes.
So here you go. If you bet before the season on the Dolphins over-under and you took under 4.5,
you won.
You're looking pretty good right now.
You're feeling good.
If you bet the over, you might want to start making some phone calls.
You might want to get a second job. You're gonna need it.
Okay, let's buzz through this quick.
Yeah.
The Dolphins schedule. Because
Okay.
I'm struggling to find a win. Jeff Schwartz on the podcast last week said, keep an eye on the second to last game of the season, which is the Bengals.
Desperation.
At home in Miami.
Right.
It's a December 22nd game, so who knows A, where the Bengals are, and B, again, one of those weird late season games.
Right.
But as you mentioned, at the Cowboys next week,
No shot.
that's a loss. Home against the Chargers.
No shot.
Home against the Redskins.
Maybe.
In Buffalo.
No shot.
In Pittsburgh.
No shot.
On Monday Night Football. That is a
Oh
Monday
my
Night
God.
Football game.
Why would you do that? Oh,
Holy cow.
God almighty.
They go home against the Jets the next week.
Maybe.
Let's
if
put that one
Darnold's
in
not there.
orange.
Yeah, maybe.
That's an orange highlight. We're not going one way or the other. At Indianapolis.
No shot.
Home against the Bills.
Maybe.
At Cleveland.
No shot.
Home against the Eagles.
No shot.
In the New York against the Jets.
Probably
then they
not.
stay there to play the Giants.
Maybe they're horrible.
Home against the Bengals. And then Week 17 is the revenge game in Foxborough.
I mean, that Bengals game's their best bet.
Yeah. I would say the best bet would
And
maybe...
Ryan just threw a mind-numbing pick. You're up 10-3 with
He'll do
41
that.
seconds to go. In your own end, you've dominated the half, and Ryan just throws a bad pass behind Sanu. Sanu tips it up, but he tips it right to Philadelphia. You just can't. You just can't throw that ball. It was a horrible throw. And I believe it was Sidney Jones came down with that pick. Couldn't see. Let's see here. I want to get that right. Yes, Sidney Jones. And Josh McCown is in the game.
Oh, wow. They benched Wentz.
No, he's got to be hurt, man. He's in the
Wow.
tent. He's in the medical tent.
I know, but, like, come on. What's going on with him here? That explains why he's overthrowing these balls.
Well, he was grabbing at
something
his
wrong there?
ribs earlier.
If he's trying to put too much, because we saw that with Manning in his last year where he was just heaving the ball way too far. It's like, man, look at that arm strength. It's like, no, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Now the question is, how hurt is he? Is he hurt like he needs a series, or is he hurt like he's significantly hurt?
The problem with that is it wasn't like there was one play where you're like, okay, he's got to go into the medical tent for this. He was sitting on the sideline, and he's like, oh, man, we got to get in the medical tent. Or somebody was like, we got to get in the medical tent for this one. See if there's any updates. People are hyped for Josh McCown, though. He does this, though. Josh McCown will come in, not quite to a Fitzpatrick level last year, but like McCown will come in and look good instead of a starter. They're showing the play here where they think that Wentz got banged up. Yeah, this was his interception where he takes a shot when he's in midair. That's the one where I was like, oof. I don't know if we're getting up from this one.
It's not great. Well, McCown's trying to drive him. They're in field goal range, and McCown throws a ball that hit off of Ertz's hands, hit off Keanu Neal's hands, and falls to the turf. So 2nd down and 10.
Adam Schefter says that the Saints are leaving Drew Brees behind when they're flying to Seattle.
he's
We
seen
knew
hand
that because he's
specialist.
going to see the hand special in Los Angeles, but just the word being out there, Drew Brees not traveling with the team, unsettling. And we could be going for a quarterback trifecta here, losing Roethlisberger, Brees, and then Wentz.
Be incredible. And it'd be a bad bit of news. Bad bit of news is the draw play here for the Eagles nets them 4 yards or so. Eagles are in field goal range at the 26-yard line. And the Eagles take their first time out of the half. And Wentz now out of the medical tent, but he is on the sideline. We don't know what that means. I don't want to speculate. Just giving you the update. So, for now, McCown stays in.
Also, Philly's not playing with their top 2 receivers. Like, there's lots going on here.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, Jeffrey got hurt earlier. Wentz is in a ball cap in the sideline.
He doesn't look happy either.
No, he doesn't. So we'll see what 3rd and 6 here. McCown goes big boy and goes up top, or if he just checks it down. They have 2 timeouts, so the Eagles theoretically, can really do whatever they want here. From the 26-yard line, 22 seconds to go in the first half. And it's a little play action. McCown's going across the field.
There we
Nice
go.
crossing route by Ertz. And he's got it to 13. The Eagles call timeout. This pick by Ryan is just going to kill him. The dumb pick. It was a ridiculous play by a guy who ought to know better. And it's going to cost them at least 3, and it may well cost them 7. And here comes Wentz.
All right.
So Wentz is back out. So McCown moved the Eagles better than Wentz had all night long. But he goes back. No, excuse me.
Nope,
I'm sorry.
McCown's still out there.
It was just tweeted out by a beat writer. I won't say who it was. That Carson Wentz was coming back out. Well, apparently not.
Maybe he meant from the medical tent.
Maybe.
Well,
yeah.
he's putting his helmet back on, so maybe he's not quite
A little
out
bit of
yet.
confusion. Anyway, McCown stays in. He's doing a completion. 13 seconds to go. So false.
I feel like this is a good Wentz is coming back after halftime thing. If he's going to go. Oh, now he comes back in.
Now
So
here comes Carson Wentz.
So, what do you do now if Wentz comes in and he throws an interception? Third pick of the
You
night.
stick with him. Unless he's hurt. If he's hurt, you yank him. But if he's hurt, he shouldn't be in there right now anyway. He's your guy, man. He's it. He's the franchise. So, I mean, I think Josh McCown is a great teammate and a really good quality person, a good backup. But he's not your franchise.
No.
So you play him. Now, again, if Wentz even has any kind of
Oh!
minor injury, I get it.
Touchdown.
And he got Aguilar killed in the back of the end zone. High, very high. Aguilar exposed his
bad
ribs,
pass.
and he got rocked. He was wide open, and Wentz just lost the touch on that ball.
All they're going to do is get a field goal out of this. Wow.
Yeah, it looks like it. 8 seconds to go.
I mean, points are points, but that's kind of a momentum killer. Like, the way things have been going, you're this close. Oof, that Aguilar hit. Good Lord. Yeah, he's coming off. He's coming out of the game, too.
He's feeling that one. He
Yeesh.
got a shot by Ricardo Allen. So now he's on the sideline. Deshaun Jackson's on the sideline. Alshon Jeffrey's on the sideline. The Eagles are having a rough night here in
Zach
hot
Ertz
Atlanta.
and the two of us, basically.
Pretty much.
Oofda.
They've lost a lot of guys. And Hollins is in there. Sproles is in there. RKO Whiteside's in there.
Matt Ryan's praying right now. He gets
Matt
bailed
Ryan's
out
like,
here.
I know what I did. I threw a horrible pass. And Aguilar went right to the medical tent, by the way. And now it's a timeout Atlanta. 3rd and 10 at the 13, 8 seconds to go. The Eagles can use the whole field as they have a timeout. This has been an interesting game, really, from the standpoint of the injuries, because the rest of the game has not been interesting.
No. Our guy Tylen says, do you see Phillip Rivers in the playoffs? If so, do you see the Chargers out early or making a Super Bowl run? Last year was their Super Bowl run year for me. I think
Yeah,
this
look,
year's a little
I got to tell you,
dicey.
I don't want to react too much to week 1 or week 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's September, man. Things change.
Yeah.
That game with the Chargers was hideous today. I watched that whole game live. They were awful.
Mm-hmm.
They were awful. I do think they're a playoff team. I think they'll get in. I think they'll be the 5 seed, and
Yeah.
I think they could win a playoff game. I do not think they're going to the AFC title game. I don't think they're anywhere near as good as Kansas City, New England. They got a lot of injuries too already. Now they should get healthy as the year goes on. But that goes. Guys get hurt. Guys come back. But and the Eagles, by the way, Wentz is stepping up here as he gets hit again and throws and completes. There's a flag down. I don't know who it's on. Couldn't see where. It came in the backfield, the offensive backfield. Typically, that means holding. But we'll see. I think Chargers make the playoffs. I don't think they go past the divisional round. It's just where they bowed out last year. They just aren't. To me, they're very good, but they're not on the level of Kansas City and New England. And a loss like today shows why.
Mm-hmm.
And you could say, well, New England lost there last year. And, yeah, but New England has a track record of showing you that, look, when the games matter, they'll handle business. The Chargers don't have that track record. I would defy anybody to look me straight in the face and tell me they think the Chiefs would blow a game like that to Detroit, right?
Yeah.
And for an example, Kansas City goes to Oakland today. They're down 10-0 early in the game, right? Things are going sideways. Kansas City then basically reset themselves and went on a barrage of all-time proportions in the second quarter, and that game was just over. Mm-hmm. That game was over from jump. right? Like this, you went from being down 10-0 at the end of the first quarter and go, wow, Oakland might pull the upset. At the 2-minute warning, just going, this game's over. I mean, this game's just done. I mean, Kansas City put it in cruise control the rest of the way. So, listen, I think San Diego or Los Angeles does make the playoffs. I don't think they go far unless they all get healthy and, the Chiefs and the Pats maybe incur some key injuries.
Yeah. Also, before you go,
Yes.
Richard Durante has some spicy content for us to react to as
I never trust him.
we have a 10-6 game at
10-6 at
halftime. So, Richard, as Verderame is leaving, what do we have as spicy content? Oh, boy. This ought to be good.
We got a photo coming in from our video team and our social media director, Ashley Young. This should be something really special. So we're going to hang tight here.
A halftime special.
So, screen to our right. That's hilarious.
Yes.
Scott, we are not. Okay? And my wife, she would not be thrilled about that. That being said, we do make a classy couple in that shot. All right? That's a beautiful photograph.
I will say my Twitter profile picture is of me reacting to you. We're doing a video 3 years ago. We're both making the same faces. So this is not the first time this has happened. So we do make a beautiful podcast couple.
That's
which you
right.
should subscribe to.
Subscribe
and
to
listen to
Stack
every
in the
week.
Box. What is wrong with you people? Okay, in Thailand, I'll head out here as John Bill's coming in. But can I see the Chiefs winning over the Pats this season? Yes. I think they're the only team in the AFC that could beat them in a playoff game. Simply because I think the Chiefs, against anybody, could score 45 points, and you get a break here, break there, they could win. Yes, I think the Pats right now are the favorite until they're knocked off. But Kansas City, when you have Mahomes and you have Reed and all those weapons, yeah. I mean, they were an offsides penalty from doing it last year. So, yes, I think they can. All right, John Bueller coming in.
Bueller's
I
coming
will
on
be back
in.
for the fourth quarter. It is John Bueller and Josh Hill. Until then, okay. Mr. Bueller.
John Bueller, the Falcons fan, and I am the Buccaneers fan. So, which is a weird pairing, too, when you think about the NFC South isn't necessarily known as this juggernaut division where you have a lot of rivalries because they're like, oh, who's the Bucs rival? It's like sometimes it's the Falcons, sometimes it's the Panthers, sometimes it's the Saints. It's like I don't really care. Maybe it's because I don't live in Tampa, but
I think there's also the factor that you were in the NFC Central prior to realignment, and I mean you were rivals with the Lions, the Packers, the Vikings, and the Bears and stuff. But it's really made an interesting dynamic since we've switched offices. I mean, we're in the corner with our NBA editorial director Josh Wilson, who is a Saints fan. So there's a lot of NFC South banter. A lot a little bit too much than what you'd probably expect, in Chicago, Illinois, of all places.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. And it's true because a lot of those old Buccaneers rivalries were with Brett Favre and Warren Sapp and all these kind of things. So. All right, Bueller, let's we're at halftime of the Falcons game. Before we run down some of the games that we saw today, what are your first half thoughts of Matty Ice Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons?
It does seem that Atlanta has outplayed Philadelphia throughout the entire game. They're only up by 4, but obviously Matt Ryan has outplayed Carson Wentz, who looks like he is dealing with a rib injury. I'm looking at the stats. He completed 6 of 16 for 47 yards, 2 picks, 6.3 quarterback rating, and 2.9 yards per attempt. You can't really win that way.
That, as they say, is not what you're looking for.
No.
So.
But I think seeing Caleb McGarry go off with
that's tough. Two offensive line injuries in the first 2 weeks of the season, that's
these are both first round picks that Thomas Dimitroff drafted to bolster this offensive line that had fallen apart since Shanahan went to the Bay Area. And then obviously Lidstrom's on IR now with a broken foot, and then McGarry. I don't know what the update is with him, but I thought it was a cramp, but he got carted off, so I don't know.
No, I don't think they caught you out for cramps, but we got Ron Burt. He's in the chat. Falcons fan, I would assume.
Rise up.
Lamont Lovett, Falcons Nation, baby. So you're not alone, Bueller, in being a Falcons fan.
Just
perhaps even a transplant.
I was talking to Verderame earlier. obviously with the injury to Drew Brees, like he can't pick up a football. It makes our division just so much more compelling.
It does. I mean, it makes it compelling for the Falcons, I think. The Panthers seem like, unless Cam Newton's healthy, I really don't know what they are. And even when he is healthy, unless he can move, he's just an inaccurate quarterback. Like that, you're taking away an entire dimension of his game. And I mean, what do you expect from him at that point?
Yeah, I thought your Bucs have been pretty feisty these first 2 weeks.
That's true, but it all depends on what Jameis Winston does. And so you've got 3 quarterbacks in the NFC South that have been really kind of wishy-washy these last couple of years, and then
Right.
Drew Brees. Because even though Matt Ryan, he's the MVP, like 3 years ago
Yeah.
when Shanahan was there, and my boy Matt LaFleur. Now you've got Matt Ryan for the last couple of years. It's like, oh, what is he doing? Like, he gets the extension, but, like, I mean, you haven't been to the playoffs, and when you did go to the playoffs, you had the whole thing in Philly where it was like, you get the goal line situation, and Sarkisian doesn't know what he's doing. So, and then Jameis Winston is what he is, and Cam Newton is good when he's healthy, but he hasn't been that way for a while. So, Drew Brees going down really changes a lot of things in the NFC South,
Just
I think.
the way he was talking at his post-game presser, it did seem it seemed bleak. And
Yeah, he knows something's up.
I mean, obviously, I do not care for the Saints for obvious reasons, but like this guy's a class act, a great player, and one of the 10 best quarterbacks of all time, pushing towards that top 5 status there. If he gets that second Super Bowl, then he's undoubtedly there. But
Oh, yeah.
if you're hurt, like that just completely takes the wind out of the sails for the Saints this year. I mean, I think we both think highly of Teddy Bridgewater, but he's not Drew Brees.
No, he's not Drew Brees. And the Saints, if they're cooked if they don't have Drew Brees. Like, let's be real. That's not going to be something that you're looking forward to if you're a Saints fan. Let's run through some of these games, Bueller. The action that we saw today. The 49ers and the Bengals. This was an interesting one because last week the 49ers go into Tampa and they beat the Bucs, and we're like, okay, maybe you're real, but then again, you played Jameis Winston.
Right.
This week they go in to Cincinnati. They get their second East Coast time zone victory since 2014, I think, when they beat the Giants, the Jim Harbaugh era.
Right.
So they're 2-12 now on the East Coast, but 2-0 this season. Are the 49ers legit to you, or do you think that maybe the other shoe's going to drop at some point here?
Right now, I think they do look legit. I do think that the NFC West is a little bit better than I thought. I really thought the Rams were going to run away with it. Right now, that looks to be the best team in the
I would
NFC.
say so, yeah.
Seattle is 2-0, but it's been by a combined less than a touchdown. I mean, they just got by the Steelers today.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Arizona was going to be one of the 3 worst teams in the league, and they still might be. But they went on the road, they covered the spread, they only lost by 6 to what looks to be a pretty good Baltimore Ravens team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the 49ers are right there. The big question really comes down to: is Shanahan going to be able to prove that he's like an elite head coach or a good head coach, or if he's just an elite coordinator? Similar with John Lynch, is he just a really good,
The GM, yeah.
Yeah, because I was talking to Hunter Armour about this earlier, and he's a 49ers diehard.
He is.
He's been very excited about this team the last 2 weeks, and he really likes what they're doing in the front 7. They've drafted very well there, but the question is, can you really contain anybody in the secondary? Richard Sherman's good, but he's clearly past his prime.
Yeah.
I think they'll push for it. They got to stay
see.
healthy, but
It's an interesting thing to try and figure out with the 49ers, but it is only week 2.
What are you feeling about them?
I feel undecided. I have no idea. It's week 2. We'll see. I mean, Jimmy G, if he can stay healthy, like maybe we're going to see what we wanted to see last year, but we didn't end up seeing when he's lost. I think it was week 2. He goes out. The ACL injury that he suffers against the Chiefs. Fonzo Games wants to know, well, he says, I like your jersey, my dude. And I was going to say, let's show it off. We've got, what do you got here, Bueller? This is throwback.
The throwback, Deion Sanders prime time.
This is your fashion show, halftime show.
Yeah.
Easy
and
there.
And then obviously with the retro hat.
The retro hat. That is a sick retro logo. I do like when the Falcons come out with the old red helmet and that old logo. That's always a good look.
You're looking kind of like
that.
the pre-91 years. Like you're thinking like Bartkowski, like Gerald Riggs sort of era Falcons. Personally, I am of the belief that when Atlanta plays Tampa, at least once a year, the Falcons should wear the black and the Bucs should wear the creamsicle.
The creamsicles are
like
very legendary.
It was just... I don't know how you feel about the new Bucs logo, but I like the old Falcons logo more than what we have currently.
Yeah, I mean, the new Bucs logo is what it is. The alarm clock jerseys they're fascinating.
It's a crashing sense of urgency on your jersey.
Yeah.
What time is it now?
It's lovely. We do have a fight happening here in the chat between. This is a surprisingly chirpy NFC South crowd here. With the belief is that Drew Brees being out doesn't really affect what the Falcons, the Bucs, and the Panthers are going to do, because the Saints, at the end of the day, are the most complete team, and I think that's a fair assessment.
I think they are the most complete team, but I do think that it is. I mean, you'd be foolish to not think it's going to have an impact on the franchise. Like, he is the cornerstone. He is the greatest Saint ever. And even though you do have an elite offensive coach in Sean Payton, he just does not have that built up equity with Teddy Bridgewater or even Taysom Hill.
No, I don't think that either of those guys are going to step in and they're going to beat Drew Brees. But I would say that Sean Payton is the type of head coach, because the Saints, the past 2 seasons, they've lost week 1 and they've gone on to be Super Bowl favorites at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's a team in the NFL, or there is a small, very, very, very small pool of teams in the NFL that are capable of adjusting on the fly week to week that the Saints have proven that they're able to do. We saw that when they started out 0-2 2 years ago. They lose the first game last year. And they're able to say, this is what's going wrong, we're identifying what we need to fix, and then they move on and fix that. And there's nothing more valuable than having that in the playoffs, where you're literally playing week to week. And these past 2 seasons, it's taken literal acts of the football gods to keep them out of the Super Bowl. I mean, they didn't get to the NFC Championship game 2 years ago because the Minneapolis Miracle, one of the most miraculous, cathartic things that I've ever seen for Minnesota sports.
I love
that happens.
I love your story about that, because obviously you are from Minnesota, and your dad and brother cheer for them.
Everybody I know in my life cheers for the Vikings. Let me tell you, nothing happy ever happens to those people. So the Minneapolis Miracle happens, and it's incredible. But it happens to the Saints. And then this last year, we get the NFC Championship game with the pass interference call, and it's 2 years in a row. This is the most complete team that is built to go to the Super Bowl, and they don't get there because of these acts of God, essentially. It's incredible. So I don't think that the Saints having Brees out of action for a while is necessarily going to tank their season. If he doesn't come back and he somehow misses the rest of the season, obviously, you put him in the playoffs with Teddy Bridgewater, it's a different story. But if you can kind of tread water for a little bit, and then you get Brees back in a couple of weeks, maybe in a month or so, and then he's ready for that home stretch down the rest of the year into the playoffs, now we're having a different conversation. And I don't think we should sleep on the idea that the Saints are going to be fine. It's going to be panic and gloom and doom, because when you lose Brees, it changes a lot of dynamics. But really, I don't think, at the end of the day, this is going to be something that the Saints see as a fatal flaw. Otherwise, they're frauds and they're not as complete as everybody thinks they are.
No, I think if there's any team that is equipped to handle losing their starting quarterback for a month at a time, it's them. I mean, you're going to be able to win games with Bridgewater. And you can even throw Hill in there for something interesting on occasion. But at the beginning of the year, did you pick the Saints as a playoff team? What was your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, the Saints are, for the 3rd year in a row, a Super Bowl favorite for me.
Yeah, I had them as a wild card, but I definitely think I had them the 5 seed. So it was with them in Atlanta, I'm it's just neck and neck.
That's the thing. If the Saints get into the playoffs, if they don't have home field advantage, it changes everything. Because even with Brees, if they don't have home field advantage, we've seen in the past that doesn't necessarily end well. Okay, that Marshawn Lynch games, how many ever years ago? That's an example of that. They're capable of losing with Drew Brees. But when you have a perfect scenario like the last couple of years, where the road to the Super Bowl goes through New Orleans, then we have a completely different outlook on how the season's going to end.
I mean, that's got to be one of the 3 hardest places to play when the team's rocking in the entire NFL. Probably right up there with Foxborough, and then probably Lambeau. It's just it's just so loud. I mean, maybe even you want to throw the link up there with the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's a good one. Arrowhead's at there.
Arrowhead, though the Chiefs have not really had the playoff success until of late to really merit that. But we know that Arrowhead's a very tough place to play.
It's a tough place to play.
And
we're getting ready to come back here from the halftime break. The Falcons and the Eagles, we have ourselves a 10-6 game. Bueller, how confident are you that your Falcons are going to come out of this with a win?
We blow leads, man. Not really.
You do?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That's our thing. Oh, wow.
Oh, we got
wow.
a fumble.
Fumble.
We have a fumble in the Falcons here. Just as you're about to say, you're basically burning your jersey as you have it on your body still, saying, "Oh, we blow leads." And the Falcons, they come up with a huge turnover to start the second half.
Yeah, it looks like
Wow.
Neesman recovered that. I don't know if you saw that, but it does look like Matt Bryant was doing the kickoff because Bosher's been dealing a little bit with a groin
He
thing.
looked like he was banged up a little earlier in the game.
So you typically on kickoffs you're going to use your punter more likely than not.
That was that Sheffield knocked that out?
Olakun, it might have been Sheffield. Neesman got the recovery. Yeah, it looks like Sheffield.
Wow. There we go. So if you're an Eagles fan, this is absolutely not what you wanted to see to start the half. As Matt Ryan dumps it off here to Freeman, and Freeman is on the loose. He's on the move, and there he goes. And we are down inside of the 5 already. 20 seconds have come off the clock in the second half. The Falcons were kicking off, and now they have the ball inside of the Eagles' 5.
That was a really good shovel pass. Ryan will typically do that. That was something you would see more out of the Kyle Shanahan offense. But obviously with this year's team, you are using a different offensive coordinator. It is Dirk Cutter, who you know very well.
Unfortunately.
Good offensive coordinator, head coach not so much.
No. Ron, Bird, and Lamont Lovett, and you, the trifecta of Falcons fans, who I am pulling for against my better judgment as a Bucs fan.
But there's also some interesting concepts with this offense. You do have Mike Mularkey as the run game coordinator and tight ends coach, so you're kind of incorporating everything that Ryan has learned up to this point. Probably some Sark, probably some Shanahan concepts, because it's like you've got a Pro Bowl of a quarterback out there, and you just the coaching instability on the offensive side of the ball is just most really good quarterbacks just have like one coach, and it's tough to kind of overcome that. We got second and goal on the 4.
What do we here? We're going to see the Falcons' red zone offenses. Oh, Matt Ryan's going to take it in himself. Nope, the option. What is he going to do? His option is to throw a touchdown to Julio Jones. There we go. 17-6, assuming that Matt Bryant does not screw up the extra point.
That was pretty good awareness there by Matty Ice.
That's not what I'm used to seeing from the Falcons in the red zone.
No. I'm just kind of expecting, like, as the field shrinks, I'm like, we're just looking more at field goals here. But looks like you got Jones in isolation on the outside, and obviously Ryan's threat to run potentially opens up a little bit of space for Jones to work with.
Just a little bit of space. We get some pushing and shoving in the end zone, but it was going both ways. So, just like that, we come out of halftime. There's 13:23 left to go in this third quarter, and the Falcons already have a touchdown. So there we go. See if he gets the extra point here. Of course,
he
Matt
does.
Bryant.
I was thinking, like, with Atlanta United losing at home last night to Columbus Crew, like blowing a 1-0 lead to lose 3-1. They still clinched a playoff spot.
Atlanta team's blowing leads in that dome.
I was just thinking, like, maybe there's a little bit of extra winning there for the Falcons tonight.
Oof, that's a tough one. It's the wrong kind of football, Bueller.
I don't know. Atlanta has a really rabid soccer fan base.
They do. The Atlanta United following is very impressive.
It's been fun to watch, and I've been to the stadium once since it opened. Unbelievable.
All right. So we've got injury updates here for the Falcons because people have been asking in the chat. Alshon Jeffrey has a calf injury. He's questionable, and it was concussion protocol that Carson Wentz went into the medical tent for. So he's been cleared. He's going to be playing. We'll see if he's going to play better than he did in the first half. As a Falcons fan, how confident are you that Carson Wentz is going to screw this up? Because right now, as a fan of neither of these teams, I would not be placing bets on Carson Wentz to mount the comeback.
He has not looked comfortable the entire game. It does seem that Atlanta has been able to get pressure on him with the likes of Tack McKinley, Adrian Claiborne, Grady Jarrett, maybe a little bit of Vic Beasley on occasion sprinkled in there.
Yeah, as the Eagles bring the kickoff out of the end zone, we've got spinning, we've got juking, we got diving, we had definitely attempts to rip that football out.
But we have an Eagles possession, so they're going to start there
for now. We'll see. Ron Burt says, why did you have to bring up the Atlanta United loss? You broke Ron Burt's heart, man.
I'm really sorry, Ron Burt. It's just...
Bueller's an Atlanta United fan, though, so he's not saying this from a malicious place.
No,
he's trying to work through this kind of rage that you have for Atlanta United disappointing you.
I mean, it's all the Atlanta teams. It's all encapsulated into one just strange existence. I chose this. the son of transplants. I could have been a Giants fan. I could have been a Bengals fan. I don't know why I would do that.
Those are dark roads that you did not go down.
Yeah.
So you really didn't have a lot of good options.
I mean,
It's a tough break.
Yeah.
All right, 1st and 10 for the Eagles, and they bring the ball nowhere.
And
It's Jordan Howard.
not really going anywhere.
2nd down, we're going to see if we can get some more inventiveness out of this offense from the Eagles. Again, they have left a lot to be desired. Carson Wentz. How disappointed are you from what you've seen out of Carson Wentz so far? Because there's a lot of expectation on him that he's got to be this guy to come in after these last couple of years where the Eagles have had success, but they've had their most success without him.
Well, he was my pick to win MVP this year.
That's not aging well.
No,
It's week 2. But
I mean, I had the Eagles going to the Super Bowl and losing to New England. And right now, I mean, like I said, at halftime, he was averaging under 3 yards per attempt. I don't really know what the cutoff point is for you with, good or bad. But I usually want to see your quarterback somewhere in that 7 to 8 range.
Yeah.
Because that means you're attempting to throw the ball downfield. And I want to see this guy succeed. He's a tremendous talent, but obviously we want to see him be more like he was for the first 12 games of 2017.
His potential MVP season, that was cut short. And then Nick Foles swoops in and steals all of his thunder and then some. All right, 3rd and 1 for the Eagles here. See if they can convert. And they do.
They do, yeah.
By a nice little margin. So they're going to keep this drive going. And that's just kind of what you got to do if you're Carson Wentz, I think. It's just kind of chip away, get that confidence back. Don't try to do too much. It's only 17-6. This is not an insurmountable lead at this point.
Yeah,
so.
you're not. It's not a tremendous deficit. You do have a capable running back stable. So I think maybe use the run to open up the pass a little bit, just to to give yourself a little more time with like your ribs and like clear concussion
that
protocol.
appears to be what they're doing as we run it on 1st down, but there's a flag on the field. So we'll see which way this is going. Looks like it's going against the Eagles.
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions about this game, about anything that you saw in week 2, or you want to know more about in football in general, feel free to drop it in the chat. Bueller and I will be answering those questions. Verderam is going to be coming back for the 4th quarter. So if we don't get to it or we don't know, because we're not the savant that Verderam is, he will be able to circle back to your question and answer it in the chat. So here we go with the Falcons and the Eagles. Man, like, just some of these passes Carson Wentz has had, there's something up. And I just don't know how to feel about it.
Besides the health issues, the biggest criticism I've had of Carson Wentz.
And Carson Wentz here takes a shot.
Yeah, Takk McKinley was all over him, hit his lineman right in the back of the ankles. 2nd and long.
This will fire up that crowd in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which there's also a conversation in the chat going on about the Mercedes-Benz naming rights, because we're like, hold on, what about New Orleans? So, I don't know, the Superdome. I've always called that the Superdome.
Yeah,
New Orleans.
I think they got the advertising rights there. Certainly
they
after,
do. They
after
absolutely have
Hurricane
advertising
Katrina. But
this Carson Wentz, God, he can't keep taking shots like this. And you got to be careful when you're shoveling it out like that.
Yeah,
You're dangerously close to that being considered a fumble. If you throw that
or like even maybe like intentional grounding or something like that.
All right, 2nd and 20, a little nice dunk pass out. That's Aguilar, and he
Aguilar,
stays up.
Yeah,
Aguilar, who was a human sacrifice at the end of the 1st half because Carson
he was
Wentz
the guy.
airmailed the
He was
ball
the
to
guy
him.
that got lit up by Ricardo Allen towards the end there, and he cleared the concussion protocol. Let's see.
Mercedes-Benz. See, because I called this the Georgia Dome earlier. It's like you kind of hang on to those old names that you have. So I don't know, the Superdome. Nobody's calling it like the Benz. Like, I don't think that's a thing. Maybe they do.
No, they call it like the Superdome. I just refer to this as like the Benz or Uncle Arthur's spaceship.
All right. Ron Burt says Dallas might have an easy pass for the NFC East crown. What do you think about that?
It is looking a little bit easier as Wentz just escapes his sack.
Oh, that's not going to get it done.
And looks like Deion Jones had really good coverage out there. I guess no flag, so it'll be fourth and 11 for the Eagles. Dallas might have an easy path to the NFC crown. Clearly the Giants aren't going to be any threat this year. I have liked a little bit what I've seen out of the Redskins. They haven't really been able to play a complete game. But I think they're playing pretty hard for Jay Gruden.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that they're a threat in the NFC East, though, as the Eagles punt this one away.
But
Falcons get the ball back. I don't think that the Redskins are much of a threat. Lord knows that the Giants aren't a threat.
I think it's too early to really tell between the Eagles and the Cowboys. But like those are the two teams at the beginning of the year. I'm like they're gonna contend for it. But
yeah, I don't know what to think about the Eagles because we got 6 points on the board. We're in the third quarter. Carson Wentz has not looked good. And in contrast to that, the Dallas Cowboys offense has scored 66 points in the first 2 weeks of the season. Their defense looks really, really good. Nobody's mentioned Jason Garrett's name at all, and he seems to be somebody who we mention as, oh man, here we go again, Jason Garrett holding back the Cowboys. Instead, it's Kellen Moore, who is getting rightfully so, getting all of the credit for unleashing Dak Prescott and basically adding zeros to the end of that paycheck he's eventually going to get.
yeah.
I think that the Cowboys, you take a look at what they have going on the rest of the season, obviously we're going to have to wait and see. But right now, if we're saying it's the Eagles or the Cowboys, I mean, I'm pushing my chips towards the Cowboys side.
Yeah.
Injuries, all of the stuff that Philly's got going on.
Mm-hmm. It does. I mean, I've really liked the defense for Dallas, particularly from last year with Leighton Vander Esch having a really good rookie year out of Boise State. Also the alma mater of Kellen Moore, who's probably the greatest Boise player of all time.
There you go.
But I do like what you were saying earlier. No one's really giving a lot of credit to Jason Garrett. People are saying, like, if he's not holding the Cowboys back, he's clapping.
Yeah.
But, he's kind of a little bit of that CEO coach, and I guess he's allowing, his coordinators to flourish. And I do think it helps that Dak and Kellen were teammates. So maybe he's not really brand new. I guess I'm trying to say is Kellen Moore does not have like a well-defined offensive system that he's like, oh, I stem from the Norv Turner tree, so I'm only going to do that.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to run the ZBS of the Shanahan clan. He's like, I'm going to do what's best for Dak to win ball games.
And that's essentially what you have to do if you're the Cowboys. If you're going to build around Dak Prescott and you're going to invest all of this money in him, and he's the franchise essentially, you have to put a guy in charge who's going to unleash that, who's going to unlock that. And I think that is what's going to ultimately put the Cowboys above the Eagles here. And again, you don't want to read too much into it because it's only week 2, but Carson Wentz is 8 for 20 for 64 yards and 2 interceptions. His team has 6 points on the board. That is not what you want. I mean, it's rhetorical, but come on, what are we even talking about here? If Carson Wentz can't play up to snuff, Nate Sudfeld is not going to come in, and he's not going to be the savior.
No.
We're having the depth on this team questioned significantly with these injuries. How far can they go? Because that's been a strength of theirs. That's a big reason why they made it to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, is because they had such a deep roster. So give me the Cowboys in the NFC East. I guess to kind of answer the question here for Ron, is it an easy path? I guess that ultimately comes down to what the Eagles end up doing for the rest of this season, because I don't think this one game is going to define the rest of their year. I do see it as a big, big, big concern moving forward.
I do think we'll have a better feel for all these teams after the first quarter of the season. If Philly's like 2-2 and it's not really a strong 2-2, and Dallas is 3-1 or 4-0, then maybe they are the cream of the crop in that division this year.
I mean, the Cowboys are hosting the Dolphins next week, so let's just go ahead and pencil them in as a 3-0 team.
I think they should just play Kellen Moore and see what happens.
I mean, yeah. Give the commissioner a call and see. They got a big test again, and now so with the Cowboys, they're at New Orleans week 4. If Drew Brees doesn't play in that game, it changes a lot. So let's say that that's a win. Then they host the Packers, and then they're at the Jets. They host the Eagles, and then they have their bye week. That's not what I would define as difficult.
No, and the one thing you did mention, even without. When you're talking about Breeze, that is the Cowboys are a team that do match up pretty well with the Saints. Like they kind of have the advantage.
I mean, they beat them last year.
Yeah,
so.
The reason I had been pessimistic about tonight's game is because with Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz, and particularly with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and who on all the great players in the defensive line, this has just not been a good matchup for the Falcons of the Dan Quinn era. But they are playing very well right now.
They are.
Or well enough.
And right now they have a second down. Matt Ryan just ran it out of his own end zone. He was dancing around trying to find something, see if they could make it happen, and they could not. So now we have 2nd and 10 as we hit the 9-minute mark to go In the third quarter, the Falcons currently up on the Eagles 17-6 for those of you watching in the chat, because we are a commentary-only stream. We are not showing the game because that is not legal. So that is why you don't do it. That's why you don't see it anywhere on the internet unless you have NBC Live. So, and the Falcons, we're going to deal with a third down now, as they appear to be going absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, just not a really good start to the drive. Ryan had a little bit of a slight miscommunication on the snap there from Mac.
Yeah, because he ran into a brick wall of Eagles defenders.
I just feel like Mac is just not ready to play against Fletcher Cox in this game. It's just like, I got to go against this just monster of a human being. He's big. It's like a grizzly bear, like a.
He does. Oh, and the grizzly bear unleashes and he throws an interception. And the Eagles, maybe we can get some points offensively by using the defense, and that's
Julio Jones makes the tackle, and Philly is in prime spot to get some points here.
And we'll see if that happens. But this is not the first time Matt Ryan has thrown a brutal interception.
No,
that was capital B brutal.
No, that's like the fourth bad one he's thrown this year, and we're like in week 2.
Yeah, we're showing the replay here, and we just need to get the full extent of how bad this was. He was under incredible pressure. Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah,
if you're Matt Ryan, that's...
Yeah, you can't do that. You underthrew it, and you didn't put it in a spot where your guy can get it.
So the Eagles are going to get the ball back inside of the Falcons' 30. Matt Ryan, he knows what he did, and we will see if it ends up biting the Falcons in the behind. 8:05 to go. 1st and 10 for Carson Wentz, who needs to really redeem himself on this drive here as he hands it off. They get a couple yards. But if you're the Eagles, you can't walk away from this drive. You can't turn another Matt Ryan interception into just 3 points, which is what they did last time at the end of the first half.
Yeah, you got to strike pay dirt, and you probably need to do it.
Matt Ryan's, he's hot on the sideline. He is not a happy man. I know one way that Matt Ryan can not be so upset on the sideline. Bueller involves not throwing interceptions, which is something he has done multiple times tonight. As we have a 2nd and 7 for the Eagles. Wentz out of the shotgun. A little play action, and there we go. We're getting a first down inside of the 10. I believe that is to Zach Ertz. So, slowly but surely, methodically moving into the red zone, go the Eagles.
Yeah, they've had a really great rapport just since Wentz came to Philadelphia. I mean, for a while there, people were saying like he's only going to throw the ball to Ertz. Well, if you're able to convert first downs like that, I don't see the problem with that.
Yeah, Jasmine Wimbish says, "What jersey you're wearing?" And you say,
Deion Sanders 21
retro. Show it off again. I know you're proud of it. Show it off. There we go. Yes. There it is. I do like that. It's a very nice retro jerseys. The Eagles, they move backwards, and I do not play professional football, Bueller, but I know that you're supposed to move the ball forward across the line of scrimmage, which is what the Eagles just did not do. So they're not accomplishing their goals here.
They are not accomplishing their goals. At least they're all facing the same direction, unlike Deion Sanders' Florida State Seminoles 2 weeks ago, where one guy was wide receiver facing the wrong direction.
That's true, and they're also not the Steelers from last Sunday night, where everybody moved except the one guy who had the ball, and that's just really not what you're looking for.
Seeing the occasional dumb stuff on Sunday Night Football is just always the best. It's like my favorite one all time is.
Well, here we go with Carson Wentz. Oh, Carson Wentz from behind. And it is an incomplete pass on
McKinley.
2nd and goal. Tack McKinley got to him again.
He's been playing really well tonight, just really getting off the edge. We were looking for like a big, I think this is his 3rd year in the league, so we maybe 2nd.
Here he comes. We're showing the replay. Oh, this is like, look.
Was that Jason Peters?
I believe Jason Peters gave him a push of encourage towards his own quarterback.
It's like
He's like, there you go, buddy.
You go get him,
Let me show
Tiger.
you the way. So it's 3rd and goal now. We have the Eagles just outside of the 10. But the 10.5, I'd say. Wentz drops back. He ducks down. He's moving around. Is he going to get a touchdown? Zach Ertz? No, that's not Zach Ertz. That's somebody else.
That's Mac Hollins. They're stopped at the 5.
You know what else it's not?
It's not a touchdown.
It's not a touchdown. Do you go for it if you're the Eagles here? It's 17-6. You can't turn another turnover into 3 points. It looks like Doug Peterson really wants to.
I think he wants to, but
Do you want to? You're John Buehler, head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. What are you calling right now?
I'm putting Jake Elliott out there. Give me 3 points.
Okay.
Because it's like I feel much more confident that just with the way the Falcons secondary has been hitting you so hard.
Well, they're throwing old Carson
okay.
Wentz out to the wolves here.
Okay.
We'll see.
Maybe trying to.
We
draw
got
him
5 on the
offsides.
play clock, so we might want to maybe hurry up a little bit here as we get the snap off just before the clock expires. Wentz rolls around, throws it, and we have a touchdown.
Yeah, we do.
Nelson Aguilar.
Wide open.
So it worked.
Yeah.
I wanted to say you would have been right for taking the points, but they get points either way. So
Good on Doug Peterson to trust his guy. It's going to give him a lot of confidence in what's been a pretty tough game for him thus far.
And we're assuming that the Eagles are going to go for 2 here to make it a 3-point game. There's not a whole lot of incentive to kick the extra point. So here we go. Wentz actually looks like the Wentz that we want him to look like.
That's what he should be doing. Tack is Ron Bird's favorite defensive player, followed by Deion Jones.
I like that.
That's a good duo right there.
right,
I do like Adrian Claiborne a lot with his crazy tinkle dreadlocks.
Former Buccaneer great Adrian Claiborne.
Yeah, won a Super Bowl with the Patriots. Now he's back.
All right, here we go. The 2-point conversion. And Wentz is going to sneak it in himself. It looks like his knee went down before he went in, but we are signaled that the 2-point conversion was indeed successful.
It was pretty close, but
Carson Wentz is hustling off the field because he's like, look, there's no need to review this. Even though he is absolutely down before he breaks the plane. This is going to get reviewed.
Yeah,
this is going to get overturned, and it is going to be a 17-12 game.
Yeah. Let's see. Looking at the chat, Jasmine's asking, do you have more faith in the Timberwolves or the Bucks' future?
I have considered stopping watching sports altogether, Jasmine, because I have faith in neither of those teams. Both of them like to make me sad. Here's the thing, though. The Timberwolves and the Buccaneers are miraculous at doing one thing, and that is building up hope where it shouldn't exist and then just obliterating it. It's cruel. It's cruel. It's not nice. The Timberwolves trade for Jimmy Butler. I remember exactly where I was when I saw that the Timberwolves traded for Jimmy Butler. And I remember saying to the person I was with, I was like, oh my God, they're going to go to the playoffs this year. Like, this is incredible. I've not seen them go to the playoffs since I was a small child and Kevin Garnett was still playing for them. And even then that was heartbreaking. So what happens. And of course, Jimmy Butler blows up the entire franchise. I have no faith. They're going to ruin Karl Anthony Towns. Andrew Wiggins is somehow going to become owner of the team, and this is just going to be a huge thing that ends forever, or never ends. And then the Bucks, it's been since 2006-07 since they've been to the playoffs. It's a nightmare. So
yeah,
thanks for reminding me of that, Jasmine. I was having such a wonderful time, and now all I can think about is how awful my teams are.
It's all right. I mean, hey, you're gonna be tied for first place through week 2.
That's true. Although the Bucks were 2-0 to start the season last year, everybody forgets they beat the Saints in New Orleans. That was the big Fitzmagic game, but lost in that shuffle is they beat the Eagles the next week, and then they were going into what I believe was the Monday night game in week 3 or 4 against the Steelers, and then that was when Chris Conte got his soul sucked out of his body by Vance McDonald. And that was just the end of everything for everybody. So
I just I miss Fitzmagic. I mean, if I don't trim my beard for a while, like I get kind of Fitzmagical.
I've seen it.
It gets a little bit out there.
Jasmine's keeping me humble. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, got to keep us.
I gotta be put in check every so often. Every time I get too big of a head, it's like, look, pal, you root for the Bucks and the Timberwolves, with the Twins and the Wild on the side. So like, there's not a whole lot of happiness going on there. All right, so we're reviewing this 2-point conversion for the Eagles. They say it is reversed. His knee went down, which we all have eyes, and we saw that.
It looks like Deion Jones was able to get a hand on him before he did cross the goal line.
So it is a 17-12 game, 4:57 left to go in the third quarter. Matt Ryan's going to come back out onto the field, but he ended the last drive with a brutal interception. It was not the first time that he's done that tonight, and both times the Eagles, they turned that into points. So we'll see if maybe we can get this Eagles defense cooking and alive with the passion of getting the ball back. But the kick is away, and not going to take it out. So now that it's 17-12, Bueller, where's the confidence meter at right now for you? It seemed extremely high as we were coming out of halftime. It got even higher when the Falcons scored, when they weren't even supposed to have the ball to start the half. Now the margins have slimmed a little. Where are you at?
Still feeling decently confident, which doesn't sound all that confident.
That sounds not confident at all.
It was kind of good from a Falcons standpoint to not see Carson Wentz take it in himself for two. So you have a little bit of a wiggle room here. Even if you do give up a touchdown later, you're within like a field goal. So it really comes down to this drive. And
we got a fumble. We got a big boy fumble. And
it does look like
the Falcons have gotten it back.
Sanu. I don't know why he's throwing the ball to Stalker. Like last
week. I don't know if this was a designed play or if he was. I don't know, because it looked like the ball was deflected.
It looked like. It looked like Mike Mularkey got a little bit ahead of himself. He's like, let's get the tight ends involved every single play.
I mean, that was a legit fumble, but the Falcons did get the ball back.
Yes, Sanu was able to get on that to beat out Nigel Bradham. So it's 2nd and 1.
Gained yardage. 2nd and 1. There we go. It all worked out. That's Mularkey's plan. As Freeman takes us to get the first down, as the Falcons are going to slowly chop away at the time, to make a reference to your other Atlanta team, the Braves. Chop on.
Clinched the playoffs last night, looking for their first advancement in the postseason since 2001.
Good Lord, Bueller. I know I have it bad, but oof.
From 1991 to 2001, with the exception of the 94 strike shortened season, the Braves played in every single NLCS.
I remember that. The 90s Braves were good. The old Bobby Cox Braves. 1st and 10 for the Falcons as Matt Ryan whips this one out.
For about a good 15-yard gain to Calvin Ridley. I think he's starting to really emerge as like that next great Alabama wide receiver, along with Julio Jones and Amari Cooper.
All right. Ken Reese was asking if we have any more information on Elshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson. They're both questionable to return to the game, so they're not ruled out, but we haven't seen them out on the field making much of an impact. But it hasn't really hurt the Eagles too much in that they've been able to use Nelson Aguilar to get a touchdown on the last drive, unsuccessful 2-point conversion, 17-12. It would certainly help if the Eagles had their top 2 receivers, as we have Austin Hooper taking the ball. Hooper, are you watching it, Hooper?
Hooper,
yeah,
doing Hooper things.
No Jaws reference there.
I know it's Jaws.
There we go.
Richard Dreyfuss, yeah.
There we go. Bueller. You can always count on Bueller for the deep cut pop culture references. People forget. But no, Ken, Jeffrey and Jackson, they're not ruled out, but they could come back, but they've not been much of a factor due to the injuries that they've suffered. 2nd and 6. Coming up on 2.5 minutes to play here in the third quarter, as Mohamed Sanu takes this and he gets a first down.
As Fletcher Cox just sat on top of him. That is a giant human being.
Fletcher Cox is not a small man.
No, he is not.
He is not the type of person that I would intimidate in any form. It would not end well for me.
I did have a question for you, Hill, regarding just the bringing Dirk Cutter back to Atlanta. I know that he likes to run the Air Coryell with the passing game.
He does.
But the issue with him is he will abandon the run faster than Mike Martz if it's not working.
That's true. As Matt Ryan, he's going for it all with the justice, and it is incomplete in the end zone. He was going for Calvin Ridley. He threw into double coverage, and you're the Falcons fan here, man. Matt Ryan's thrown a couple of bad interceptions. He's thrown into double coverage, deep double coverage.
I don't really know why you're trying to force it there. Like, it's double coverage.
Ridley, okay, look, upon further review, Ridley maybe should have had that. It was a well-placed ball. Oof. I still don't like my quarterback who's thrown a couple of bad picks. I'm going for that kind of a...
I mean, I do. And
he's going for the throat at 17-12, and we're not even into the fourth quarter yet. We got 1:45 left to go in the third.
It looks like a good run here from Ito Smith.
Ooh, Ito Smith. Ito Smith to the 20 to the 15, down
at about
the 10 or 11-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10. The Falcons are knocking on heaven's door here.
Which I think, like, he's been a really great addition to the rushing attack. He basically made Tevin Coleman expendable.
He did.
My question is, like, I know with the Bucs, did it seem like that? Could Tampa really run the football last year?
They didn't have any running backs. That's why Peyton Barber is the starting running back. He tricked everybody into thinking that he was capable of doing that job. So much so that they had Ronald Jones, a guy that they picked very high in the draft, basically have a lost rookie season.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I thought really highly of him coming out of USC.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got some time. 1st and 10 here for the Falcons as Devontae Freeman carries it inside of the 10. 2nd down. We're inside of a minute to go until the 4th quarter. I've got 55 seconds left before I am out and replaced by Matt Verderam. And I really want the Falcons to score.
That would be very exciting. Let's just...
It would be. Ita Smith, 4 carries, 31 yards. He's the leading rusher there for the Falcons. I believe a lot of that came on that last carry, though.
The Falcons had not really had a lot of success in this game running the football.
No.
Really, neither team.
2nd and 6 from the 8-yard line. Matt Ryan into the end zone.
Throws another interception. My God.
He threw it to the wrong team. It's a touchback, so the Eagles are going to get the ball back. Look, I saw a completion in the end zone before the end of this quarter. There's a flag down. We'll see what this is all about. But Matt Ryan throws it to the wrong jersey color. It's an interception for the Falcons, or for the Eagles. But 12 seconds left to go here in the 3rd quarter. We'll see what the flag is, whether or not it affects the interception or if it happened after the interception occurred. Matt Ryan and the Falcons offense are staying on the field, but the Eagles defense continues to celebrate as though this is not going to go against them. Here is the call. We have a touchback, so the interception counts. Personal foul occurred after the interception on the Eagles, so this is going to move them backwards after the touchback.
Mm-hmm.
But the interception counts. Matt Ryan, another brutal interception that he throws. This one is a literal drive killer. It happens in the end zone.
He had absolutely nothing on that. What is he doing? Step into the throw, man. Like, just run it. Take a sack. I would have rather you done that than whatever the hell that was.
Sorry, Bueller.
It's life,
I don't know
man.
what to tell you.
It's fine. Actually, it's not fine. We'll probably lose because of this now.
You want a hug?
Probably later.
Yeah.
I know you'll be smiling while you hug because
I mean,
you hate the Falcons.
You're my friend.
Okay. It's okay though.
We're
man.
friends, and I appreciate the Falcons losing, but at the expense of upsetting you, it's really it's a Sophie's Choice situation here for me.
Yeah, I don't want to see you suffer, but even though it does happen.
I do want to see the Falcons lose. So 12 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter. The Eagles are going to have the ball 1st and 20, thanks to a personal foul that occurred after the interception in the end zone, which is Matt Ryan's 3rd interception of the night. Here's his stat line, Bueller. 23 for 36, 253, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Accurate. That is
he will throw some picks. He's never been one to
Brian
have.
Bradford says Matt Ryan sucks. Not inaccurate.
He's sucking
Ron
right
Burt.
now.
So the NFC South quarterback situation: 2 that's interceptions, 2 that are interception prone, 2 that are injured. That's exactly the case, and it's not good.
Yeah, I don't think you want to be either of those things.
We cannot show you the screen, Aqua Fizz, but you can listen to our commentary. You can also follow along below us, the little score bug here telling you everything that's going on. You can also drop questions into the chat, because since we can't show you the game and we're talking about it, we can entertain you by answering questions that you may have either about this game, about anything that you saw in week 2, about anything that you want to see happen in week 3, predictions. A lot happened as far as injuries this past week. We don't know what's going to happen next week, especially after the things that we saw, like Drew Brees going down, Ben Roethlisberger suffers an injury, Carson Wentz looks not great, but maybe can mount a comeback here. Matt Ryan looks awful after he looked not great last week against the Vikings who lost in Lambeau, with Kirk Cousins who doesn't look good. This is a real kind of daisy chain of awfulness that we're going through here. But
this is a dome. Can you imagine what he's going to do when there's like a slight zephyr
Back-to-back
outside.
dome games, too, because he plays in Minnesota last week, and now they're playing inside of another dome in Atlanta.
I mean, to be fair, you're probably not going to go up against like defensive lines as stout as the Vikings and the Eagles in back-to-back weeks. So, maybe you are getting a little feeling a little bit too much pressure there.
Yeah. It is 1st and 10, and the Eagles, this is out to Ertz. They're not quite going to get the first down, but it's going to take us the end of the third quarter. Nelly asks, should we start Taysom Hill next week? Nelly, you're saying we as though you are in the Saints front office, and I want to say if you're asking us for front office advice and you were in the Saints front office, please look elsewhere. But don't start Taysom Hill. Start Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Why would you start Taysom Hill? I get the allure of starting Taysom Hill. Like, I like Taysom Hill. He's a good story. I remember when he was at BYU and he was a Heisman guy and then he kept getting injured. We didn't really know what he was going to be. And now he's catching touchdown passes on Monday Night Football, and he's kind of this good utility swing player for Sean Payton. But Teddy Bridgewater is your backup. If Drew Brees is out for a significant portion of time, Teddy Bridgewater is the guy that I'm throwing in there to be like, look, this is a win or go home game against the Falcons for the NFC South Championship. What are we doing? We're throwing out Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, he led the Vikings to the playoffs. He was a great quarterback in college at Louisville. And if you're going to need a guy that's going to step back and throw the ball 25 times, it's more likely that that's going to happen with Bridgewater than Hill, who was a good player at BYU, but it's just been so long since he's played quarterback.
Yeah, he's a he's a nice gadget. He's a nice story, but he's not necessarily somebody that I'm investing Super Bowl hope in. Teddy Bridgewater, I think we're cooking with a little bit of gas there. What do you think of Adam Vinatieri this year? I think that he might retire tomorrow because he can't do his job anymore.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate because the kicker bug has literally bitten everybody up to and including one of the greatest kickers that we've seen in the last 25 years.
Yeah, it would be a shame if that's how Vinatieri is going to go out. Like he's like a no doubt Hall of Famer. I'm not going to say first ballot because it took Morton Anderson for a while to get in, and there's just not a lot of kickers or special teams players in there. But I mean he's been the best I've seen in my lifetime for that extended stretch. But I think, did you see the tweet that Stephen Holder sent out?
Yeah, well that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, that was
saying that we don't see you guys on Mondays. And Adam Vinatieri, the Stephen Holder, the Colts beat writer, tweeted out that he had an interaction with Adam Vinatieri after the game, which Adam Vinatieri, again, for a second straight week, didn't do his job. Stephen Holder said, we'll see you later or whatever, and Adam Vinatieri said, I'll see you tomorrow, and Stephen Holder said, we don't see you tomorrow, it's a Monday, it's an off day, and Adam Vinatieri said, I will see you tomorrow, implying that he may have a retirement announcement. That would be 2 Colts players who have retired this season. Not the team I thought players would be walking away from.
What's the deal with Actually, no. Vontae Davis was on the.
He was on the Bills.
He was on the Bills, but
he was on the Bills. Which Fonzo Game said he saw a post earlier stating that teams that are 2-0 now all go to the playoffs. I don't exactly know what the statistic is. All teams that are 2-0 don't actually all go to the playoffs, but the Bills are 2-0, and the Bills have been a team that I've pegged to be kind of a surprise this year, not to win the AFC East because the Patriots, Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick are still there. That's a roadblock that you're not going to get around, but they could get in as a wild card. Everybody kind of picked the Browns as the sexy wild card pick, but the Bills, I mean, they're getting wins early in the season. It sounds kind of reductive to be like, well, you have to win games early to get in the playoffs later, but that's true. If you get them now, you run into a hard schedule like the 49ers are that way, getting wins now, have a tough schedule down the stretch. You win. You start the season by winning 4 or 5 games, putting those in the bag. That's going to come back, and that's going to build. I think the Bills are kind of in that situation.
Yeah, they got a good coaching staff. They seem to like their quarterback as
Carson Wentz. Doing something. I don't know. They're blowing the whistle. Forward progress was stopped. Carson Wentz is upset that the incomplete pass isn't going to count.
But yeah, I do like what the Bills are doing. Mm-hmm. It's like watching the Carolina Panthers North because you've got Sean McDermott, who was a long-time defensive coordinator there. Brandon Beane was the front office guy, I believe, under Gettleman. I don't know if he was there for Marty Herney initially. But and then you got Brian Daboll, who people really like. He may eventually be an NFL head coach.
He is. He's from Alabama, right?
Yeah, he was on Saban's staff, and I think he's part of the Belichick tree.
Okay.
So, and he's kind of like a tight ends coach.
13:41 to go here in the fourth quarter. 13:41 to go in this game, Bueller. 17 points for the team you would deem the good guys, and the Eagles have 12. I'm going back to check the confidence meter because I'm worried about you. You got really upset with that Matt Ryan interception, the third of the night. I can't blame you. As a Jameis Winston fan, or not as a Jameis Winston fan, as a fan of a team who has Jameis Winston as their quarterback, I'm not ever confident. How confident are you? I'm going to leave you on this. How confident are you? I'm leaving this room, and I'm going to take your word as bond.
Oh, God.
How are the Falcons going to do for the remainder of this 13:41?
They're going to find a way to win this game.
Okay, I'm leaving on that.
And
we're going to win the game.
It's going to be by like 3 to
Don't
7
ruin
points.
it for me, Bueller. You already had him winning the game. All right, Matt Verderam's coming back, so he's going to take it the rest of the way down here with Bueller. Prayers up for you, man. Hopefully Matt Ryan doesn't throw any more interceptions. I'm taking you with your word that they're going to find a way to win the game. So here we go.
Oh, get out.
And here we go. Matt Verderam
All right.
coming back.
Matt Verderam back with a vengeance. Oh, man.
All right, let's do this.
This has been just, I don't know. I've just been fascinated by this game. It doesn't seem like either team really is taking reins of this.
No, it doesn't. Look, it's been an interesting game to watch. I mean, Matt Ryan can't stop throwing bad picks, but not to be outdone by Carson Wentz. So ultimately here, yeah, you've got two good teams not playing their best games, but here we are. By the way, wanted to say, please know that we are very grateful for you for watching the stream, whether it's on YouTube or Twitch or on Facebook. Please subscribe to the FanSided pages, whether it be on Facebook or on YouTube. There's always a lot of good stuff going up. Certainly as well, you just saw Joshua leave. He is my co-host on the Stacking the Box podcast, and we are on there every single week. Goes up every Tuesday, and we are with Jeff Schwartz, the former NFL offensive lineman of 8 years. He joins us each and every week. It's an hour-long show. He's on for the whole show with Hill and I. So please go to iTunes, subscribe there, leave a like, leave a comment. I promise you you'll enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. It's insightful. So I will. And there is the link from our great video team. So please check it out. Would really appreciate it. You could also follow it on Twitter at Stacking the Box. So Bueller, 13:41 to go. And your boys at the 40, your own 45, but looking for more.
Yeah, I think they got to get points on this possession. You got to like try to cleanse the palate from that terrible interception. It doesn't seem that Wentz is really playing anywhere close to his standard, but you're not putting him or the Eagles away. The longer they hang around, the more uptight I'm going to get.
Oh, that seems fair enough. Can't blame you. But, listen, Wentz has been awful. Yeah. So if you guys could, if the Falcons could score a touchdown, you'd have to feel pretty good about your chances. But obviously, look, Philadelphia has great defense. It's not going to be easy to do. Mm-hmm. And a critical third down coming up here near midfield.
It does seem like the Eagles' defensive line is starting to get a little bit more push and penetration as the game is wearing on. Maybe the Falcons are starting to feel some of the issues caused by injuries to their starters, with Chris Lindstrom last week and then with McGarry going out in the first half.
Right. No, listen, that's true. McGarry's now back. Look, this is a big play in this game. 3rd and 9 for the Falcons at their own 46. Schwartz is probably going to dial up some pressure. They're showing a blitz, and here it comes right up the A-gap, and they got Ryan clean.
Yeah.
Safety blitz. Came right up. Sendejo right through the A-gap. Nobody touched him.
Yeah, it was just... I mean, you knew this was happening.
Came on a delay, came off the right side, twisted over, and did nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it's never a good sign when 3 players in the Falcons are all standing together, blocking no one.
Yeah, I don't really know what Mac was trying to do there. This has not been a great game for him today.
So a mediocre punt, to say the least. Sproles, fair catch. 27 or so, and 11:42 to go.
Yeah.
It's a good, it's a compelling game anyway. I know the game itself hasn't been otherworldly, but listen, this is a big game. is a big game. If the Falcons win this game, they're 1-1. You don't know what's going on with Drew Brees. All of a sudden, you're feeling pretty good if you're Atlanta. If Philadelphia wins this game 2-0, they're tied with Dallas, and they've got to feel good because this is going to be one of their harder games, you think, on the schedule. So a lot on the line. It's week 2. Let's not go nuts, but still a big game here, especially for your Falcons. Win this game, get to 1-1, and feel good.
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of proof that if you can win this game, that you can hang with some of the best in football. I mean, the Vikings, like I said, looked really good last week and came up short in Green Bay this week. And you are going to be playing several really good teams at the AFC South coming down the line. Atlanta's schedule does ease up as the season progresses, but you can't put yourself in like a 2-4 hole if you want to have any sort of opportunity of getting to the postseason.
Right.
And quite frankly, Dan Quinn needs it to keep his job. His seat is getting a little warm right now. And people are getting a little tired of his cliches. That's kind of his thing.
Well, listen, this is a big opportunity for Dan Quinn, for the Falcons, the whole group. I mean, this is a big chance. You get a win against Philadelphia, you feel good. You're 1-1, okay, fine. You had 2 tough games to start the season. If you come out of that 1-1, you're okay. So this is a big moment here for Atlanta. They've got to find a way to win this game, or they're in a big hole. Conversely, look, if you're Philadelphia, again, not the end of the world if you lose, but it's a big opportunity.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep pace with Dallas in the division because they're not going to be fading anytime soon. That looks to be a pretty good team, probably one of the 2 to 3 best teams in the NFC.
Yes.
Through the first 2 weeks of the season.
So one thing I just wanted to whet everybody's appetite. Listen, if you go to FanSided.com, every Monday morning, 6 o'clock Eastern, my Stack in the Box column drops. Not to just sit here and self-promote, but hopefully you'll think there's a lot of good stuff in it. It's usually a couple thousand words, touches on just about every team in the league. This week, had a lot of different things I could have led with. I'm leading with Mitchell Trubisky and why the Bears have to trust him if they're going to win games. And I know, look, I get it. Like, you're probably like, what? But you're not going to win throwing bubble screens all game long. Like, at some point, you've got to just let him throw the football. And if he's that bad, then he's that bad. Then you got to move on from him as soon as you can. But you can't. The Bears almost lost today because they basically just neutered him and said, hey, throw for 100 yards and let's hope for the best. It can't happen. I won't give away much more than that, but I compared it to another quarterback who was much maligned early in his career, ended up winning a Super Bowl. But anyway, Stack in the Box, 6 a.m. tomorrow Eastern.
It's a great column. I read it every week. I always learn something from it. It's got all sorts of cool stuff. You'll got your list of like top 10 stuff. You'll talk about just the whole format's great. You do a great job with it.
And random stuff. Thanks. I appreciate it. It's got 5 things you learned this week. Power rankings where they're different every week. Quotable. Link to the podcast. So you can listen to it while you're reading if you want to. There's a big column to lead it off. There's a parting shot, history lesson, random stat, the whole deal. So, if you want some more football on Monday morning, look, it's not the length of what Peter King writes. Peter King writes a novel every week. God bless the man. I can't do that. But it's probably about a third of the length. So if you want to check it out, a little snackable column, give it a read. Would appreciate it. So thank you everyone watching. Eagles just took a holding penalty on what would have been a pretty nice run to get this drive going. Instead, now they backtrack. So a tough penalty there for the Eagles right on the left guard. Yeah. There's no question.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, you would have had the first down otherwise. Instead of being like 2nd and 1, now you're looking at 2nd and 12.
Yep.
I was thinking back to what you were saying about like Trubisky.
Yep.
And obviously, I know he's in the same draft as
Mahomes
and Watson. Yep. And we were talking about this in the office last week, and you were saying something along the lines like, I guess you can't really blame the Bears for not taking Mahomes over Trubisky because he was just so raw. I mean,
nobody thought he was a top 5 pick. Nobody.
But like Watson was unbelievable at Clemson, and he was in the same conference as Trubisky.
Him.
And
that to me is the better argument.
Yeah,
you could have taken him. Because I don't think anybody in the world thought. Look, there were a lot of people. Go back and look at the draft grades. A lot of people thought Kansas City was nuts for taking Mahomes at 10. A lot of people felt like, look, he's this air raid guy at a Texas Tech. These guys never work, and they never did. I mean, he really was the first one. It worked. By the way, 3rd and 3 here from the 34 for Philadelphia. And Wentz lofts one up and a nice catch by Aguilar. the
Yeah.
midfield. It was high. Really nice catch because he was wide open and Wentz almost overthrown.
Yeah, Wentz has been high on a lot of passes today, and like Aguilar went up for one previously and got hit pretty hard by Ricardo Allen, but it's a testament to him just to go out there and to compete and make a big time play when his team needs it the most right now.
Yeah, they've had a lot of injuries. They've had a lot of injuries tonight, and Aguilar goes up and snares one and keeps his drive moving at midfield. He has 6 catches, 56 yards, and a touchdown. So Aguilar's having a nice night as the Falcons try to hold on. 17-12 with 9:21 and counting to go in Atlanta. But yeah, just to wrap up on Trubisky. And look, I don't even blame the Bears for taking my biggest criticism of the Bears or any team taking him, and I thought this at the draft, and I think it now. Everybody, when he was coming out, said, hey, look, he's not a guy with a high ceiling. Like, he's maybe Andy Dalton, plus. That's about what he is.
Yeah.
Why are you taking that guy second overall? I don't get it. And they traded up to get him. That's the part where I criticize them.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like Andy Dalton. I mean, like, you're starting to look a little bit, dare I say it, Bortlesy. Maybe not that inaccurate, but it's like there's like a certain like inherent limitation there. It's like, can we take like the training wheels off?
He reminds me of like Tavares Jackson.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
It's just like he's just there. And like the Vikings made the playoffs with Tavares Jackson, but like nobody was going into a game worried about Tavares Jackson.
And the biggest difference is like Tavares Jackson played at like Alabama State. Like
right,
Trubisky went to UNC. Like I know that's not a football power, but that's an ACC team. You're going to be playing the likes of Miami and Clemson and Florida State and Louisville. Like you're not going up against a bunch of scrubs. And like the fact he only really had 1 year of experience in college, a little bit of a red flag. But he does seem to be a very well liked guy in that locker room. His teammates love him, and this is a defensive minded team. When the Bears are good, they win with defense.
Yep.
So there is a recipe for success, but we are wanting a little bit more given that it's about to be 2020.
Yeah, and you know what? Look, I think sometimes you have to understand that times change. And in the NFL, in 1985, you could be really limited offensively and win a Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
You could run the ball and just play great defense, and that was fine. I'm not going to say it's impossible to do that now. It is exponentially harder. Mm-hmm. You go back into the 90s and go look at a lot of the quarterbacks who made the playoffs in the 90s. I mean, it is a bum fest, okay? I mean, Stan Humphries in the Super Bowl, Neil O'Donnell's in the Super Bowl.
Chris Chandler.
I was going to say, not to bag on your Falcons, but Chris Chandler's in the Super Bowl, right? Like, and just even throughout the playoffs. I mean, guys like Bobby Hebert made the playoffs all the time, and, like Steve Walsh for the Bears. Look at the playoffs now, and
like Danny Cannell made the playoffs.
Man did make the playoffs, and then was immediately bounced out of them. But yes, he did. But you look at the playoffs now. Most of the time, you're just not going. Maybe get sting of the wild card. I know Bortles is a rare example, but like most of these teams, let's be real, you're not going anywhere if you don't have a Pro Bowl level quarterback. You're just not.
You're gonna need unless you're one of the two teams where it just sort of clicks that year, you're going to need somebody at least Dak Prescott level or better. Somebody that's like going to be able to run the offense. They may not necessarily throw for 400 yards, but
right.
they're gonna do I'm not gonna say like game manage, but like a little bit more than that.
By the way, I hope you're jacked up for Thursday night. Titans Jags. Look out! You want to talk about two limited offenses? It's a race to 10. All right. Let's get back to this game here. We're coming back from commercial. Eagles and Falcons coming down to it. 17-12 to go, 8.5 to play at, as I'll call it, the new Georgia Dome, because I don't care. That's what it will always be to me, the Georgia Dome. 3rd and 6 from the Atlanta 46 for the Eagles. Carson Wentz, he's got all day, and he's got Hollins wide open on a crosser down to the 30-yard line. So all of a sudden, the Eagles in field goal range and obviously looking for more.
Yeah, I don't really know what was going on with the Atlanta defense there, but it does seem that Wentz is playing with a bit more poise. Hollins is wide open for an easy gain for a first down and definitely puts them in a position where they can get 3 points, possibly more.
Well, all of a sudden now the Falcons have got to find a way to make a stop. You can live with giving up a field goal. You cannot give up a touchdown. Obviously, at that point, you'd be trailing. And the Atlanta offense has not been a well-oiled machine. Neither offense has been tonight. So you look at it, look, Philadelphia, 1st and 10, a little power play off the right side as apparently the entire city of Chicago is going by, as you can hear that. God knows what's going on downtown. But in any event, look, this is a big, big drive for Philly. Philly's not played well offensively themselves. If the Eagles are going to win this game, you've got to think they're probably looking to jam it in here for 6.
I know that like earlier Peterson went for it on 4th down, but you got to believe like right now you're probably going to want to go for it on 4th down here.
You might if it's short. Now look, Philly could say if it's 4th and 5 or something, hey, let's kick because then we only need a field goal. Fine, fair enough. 2nd down and 7, you're going to swing it out. And a nice tackle in space. Really nice tackle.
By Olakun, yeah.
Yep, Olakun. Really nice play. And it's 3rd and 7. So the Falcons force a 3rd and long.
He played pretty well last year, filling in for an injured Deion Jones. And he's kind of gotten to the point where he's kind of usurped Duke Riley in that linebacking core alongside Jones and Devondre Campbell. So even if your team does suffer like a major injury, you can always look for guys that someone's going to step up and you'll be able to probably help yourself out next year. We are seeing Olakun play pretty well tonight.
Very nice play. Would have been a nice gain otherwise. 3rd and 9 from the 29. They actually gave him 2-yard loss there. So the Eagles now in the 3rd and long spot, and the Falcons get immediate pressure. But Wentz is going to get out of it and complete a pass to Hollins at the 12-yard line. I'd like to see if he was down for it.
It looked pretty close.
He was on his way to the ground. I don't know. The Eagles, I think, are running tempo to get up the line of scrimmage here. Let's see. He got rid of it. I think he got rid of the ball. I think it's a good play.
I don't think that's a little too tight to overturn. And Dan Quinn's already lost 1 challenge tonight.
Yeah, I think it's a good play. A great play by Wentz. He was under pressure from the second it started, and he's going to gun one underneath for a short gain to Ertz here, maybe about 3, maybe 4, as we come under 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, just barely got that one off.
Well, that was a great play. Mm-hmm. The Falcons had all kinds of pressure. All kinds. He stepped up through the mess, was able to gun it in there. By the way, Hunter, I see your comment about are the cops coming for us. They may be. About 8 cop cars just went by with a fire truck, so who knows. Wentz is 8 of 8 for 72 yards on this drive. As again, we come under 5 minutes, 4:47 to go, and the Eagles knocking on the door deep in the red zone here in Atlanta. 2nd and 5 from the 7, and it's going to be a draw play, and 3rd and about a yard. Sanders went off the right side. He got tripped up by Kaminsky. So 3rd and 3 feet for the Eagles.
Yeah, this is this might be one of the biggest plays of the game right here, if not the biggest up to this point. It'd be interesting to see what Peterson does draw up.
You've got to look. I think if you're the Eagles, you got a great offensive line. You run the ball here. Wentz has not been great. I know he's been good on this drive, but he's not been good tonight. I'm pounding the ball, and they're going to sneak it forward with Wentz, and it looks like he's got it.
Yeah, so you're going to be 1st and goal from about the 2 or 3, so plenty of opportunities. That is so close. Just they're showing the replay of Wentz's knee. I mean, there's no way you can like challenge that or overturn that.
No, I think it was.
Yeah, he got it off.
Good play. So now you've got 3.5 minutes to go. It's 1st and goal inside the 3-yard line. In fact, they marked it at the 1-yard line. So 1st and goal from the 1. Both teams have all 3 timeouts. And the Eagles are going to dive in, touchdown, Wentz. A back-to-back quarterback sneaks, and Wentz, who's been just hideous all night, there's a flag down. The flag on the play. And I don't know who it's offside on the Falcons. So the touchdown will stand.
They're going to decline it. Philly takes a 1-point lead. They're going to clearly go for 2 here to try to make it a field goal game.
So we'll see if Philadelphia can convert, but they take the lead for the first time all night. 18-17, and these two teams every time they get together, they're weird games, tight games, weird games, and we're getting another one right now, so it's coming on down to it.
I just feel like it's just so hard to defend a QB sneak, like when it's like a yard or less to go. It's just because you don't know the snap count, even if you're on the road and you've got I just don't really know how you stop that consistently. I feel like people isn't like Brady's like converts at like 95% of the time, something outrageous.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. The Eagles called timeout, by the way, so they are figuring out their best 2-point conversion play with 3:13 to go in the game. Well, if nothing else, it's been kind of a slog at times, but the game is coming right down to the end here. And they keep showing this play by Wentz. He's getting sacked, and he threw it in there to Hollins. It was an unbelievable throw. And it was good. It was a good play.
Yeah, this has not been a beautiful watch by any means, but it has been compelling, and it has been, competitive the entire time. And that's kind of what you hope for, these big standalone games, just to see something that's going to come down to the wire between two teams that really want it.
Right. So now the Eagles getting ready to go for two. They're back in the huddle, back in action. I'm curious to see what they do here because they've got a ton of injured receivers. They try to just go goal line personnel, bang this thing into the end zone from 2 yards out, or do they try a little switch route up? They got two receivers up top. They try to get one to Ertz, and they go to Ertz and they convert. They convert with Ertz, a nice little quick slant on the inside, and Ertz was wide open.
He got that one out really quickly. I thought he was going to hand it off there, but he just got that in there for 3 points for Philly. Obviously, Matt Ryan's got plenty of time to work with to get points on the board, but after the way he's been playing the last couple of drives with those picks, confidence is kind of trending down a little bit.
Well, they got 3.5 minutes. So, as you said, you got time and you got 3 timeouts. So, and you only need a field goal to tie, obviously, a touchdown to win for the Falcons at this point.
I mean, you saw that Matt Bryant shank earlier. I mean, did that get blocked? It was.
I don't think it got blocked. I think he just shanked it. He just missed.
Yeah, it was. It's not good. Hill was talking about earlier. It's like kicking has been just a problem like across the entire league. I mean, we were watching the game earlier between the Chargers and Lions. My goodness,
that game was truly a tire fire. I didn't want to talk about that game. The Chargers and the Lions both deserve to lose.
That was a grease fire, and that deserves to be behind a paywall.
So I see that our FanSided account is tweeting vigorously about how great Carson Wentz is, and I can only surmise that our social media director, Ashley Young, who happens to be a diehard Eagles fan, might be behind all that. But understandably, Carson Wentz is the big drive. Yeah, the FanSided has turned into a Carson Wentz fan account for the time being.
It was Gardner Minshew earlier. Now it's
right.
Carson Wentz.
Gardner Minshew can't roll him after dark. What we've seen.
Oh, man.
So still in commercial. In case you're wondering, we're not keeping you in the dark. Just waiting for the game to come back on. And look, week 2 will wrap up tomorrow night. We will not be doing a stream for the game, but the Browns and the Jets at MetLife. Monday Night Football was a lot more compelling before the entire Jets team got hurt or contracted mono. The Browns are basically a touchdown favorite in that game, and I would have to expect they're going to win.
Yeah, I think actually I initially picked the Jets to win that game, but then obviously with Sam Darnold being out with mono, I mean that just sucks. It's like it's like that's just a month of just complete uncertainty. And even if he's going to be out there, he's going to have like no energy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's brutal. Mono, if you've ever had it, I never had my sister had it. She was wiped out for a month.
Yeah, I had it. I got it during finals week in college. That did not go well for me.
Yeah, so that's rough.
But you think Cleveland's going to win convincingly, or do you think they just kind of just get by?
I think they win convincingly. I don't think Trevor Siemian's win that game. And I got to tell you, man, if they don't win that game, good night in Cleveland.
Yeah,
you have to win that game.
That's not going to be a good look for Freddie Kitchens at all if they can't find a way to win that game.
Yeah, you got to win that game. You have to win that game.
And Atlanta will start the drive from their own 25 as Philly kicked the ball for a touchback.
Yes. All right, well, we're going to get it rolling here. This is maybe make it or break it time here for the Falcons. 3:13 to go. Again, all 3 timeouts. Falcons need 75 yards for the go-ahead score, and they obviously only need a field goal here to tie. And you would imagine with Matt Bryant's range, I don't know, 35 to 40 yards probably gets him in that range. So the first play, and Ryan right away to Devontae Freeman gets 9, and the Falcons are off and running.
It has been nice to see him finally healthy. It's he's a very good receiver out of the backfield. So you can have plays like that if you don't really feel comfortable throwing it deep and getting picked off again.
Well, 2nd and 1, and Ryan is back and looking intermediate and incomplete. He was looking for Sanu, and Sanu was looking for a flag, but he's not going to get one.
He's not going to get it. So it's 3rd and 1. Do we look to throw it here?
If I'm Atlanta, I'm spreading them out and run the football.
I think that's probably it.
I'd go 4 wide. I'd make them defend the width of the field, and I'd run some kind of a power play inside. I mean, you need a yard, and really not even. You need about half a yard. If you're the Falcons here, come on, what are we talking about? You got to be able to run the ball. They're Ryan and the Simmons. They're not going to. See, they're going 3 wide, but they're in tight with the. I don't like this.
I don't like this formation at all.
And now they're really tight, and somebody jumped. It might be on the Eagles. In fact, frankly, I think it is on the Eagles. Of course, both teams are signaling at each other, but
it looked like the
Eagles
jumped.
lurched off sides, and they did.
They did. So
an easy first down, a gift. A gift for the Falcons. It was Ridgeway who came barreling over, left guard.
Let's see. Yeah, he runs right into Mack.
Well, what you see there was Ryan signaled with his foot for Sanu to go in motion. Ridgeway saw his foot and went flying over the ball, but that's legal. Ryan can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So 1st and 10 for the Falcons at their own 39, 2:48 to go, and again, all 3 timeouts. Ryan's in the gun. He's going to get rid of it to Jones, and Jones is blanketed in coverage. 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, he's been trying to force it to Julio all night, and it hasn't been to the success that he's had against the Eagles the 3 previous times. But, I mean, he does have that. He just had that one touchdown earlier. I believe he had the touchdown. It's him and Ridley that were the 2 that scored. Yeah, I'm just kind of glad even with the offsides, because whatever that formation that Cutter was doing was just not looking good on that 3rd and 1. So we got 2nd and 10 from 39.
Ryan's got to get out of there, and he does, and completed it. Nice throw.
Nice throw to Sanu. So it's going to be 3rd and short.
All of a sudden here, we're approaching the 2-minute warning. Not quite there yet, 2:25. Big 3rd and 3, of course, goes without saying. And Ryan is under pressure and throws an incomplete pass to Freeman. And even if he had caught it, he was going to get killed. Nigel Bradham was right there waiting.
That looked like it had the potential for a pick 6. I was just complete miscommunication out there. So Atlanta's going to has to go for it here.
I agree. I know they have 3 timeouts, and technically you could play that game, but you go for it. If you don't get it, then you worry about taking the 3 timeouts and then trying to get the ball back. I totally agree with you. I think if you're Atlanta, you've got to make a move here. You've got to try, and they will.
Mm-hmm. If you don't get it, you've got 3 timeouts.
And Philly's not in field goal range yet, so you would theoretically you'd still be okay. Obviously up against it a little bit. And they got to go 2 on the play clock, 1 on the play clock. They got it off. And it's a quick bubble screen to Jones. He's wide open. And he is going to go.
Julio Jones will find pay dirt. Touchdown, Atlanta Falcons.
Wow.
What a great play design.
That was a great play. Nice blocking on the outside. And Jones, untouched. Once he got past the line of scrimmage, one diving attempt. That was it.
That was incredible. Just
Jim Schwartz just said a very bad word on television.
Yeah, he did not look.
He was not pleased with the defensive effort there.
I got to see the replay here again. I got to believe that there was just a really well-crafted block there. I mean, Jones is not necessarily the fastest guy, but when you get him going, it's just once he gets kind of 10 yards out, it's good luck.
Well, he turned them on that play. It just a wide receiver screen. I mean, it wasn't even up for the first down where he caught it. It's just the line of scrimmage, and he just turned upfield and was gone. So with the extra point up and good, 2:10 to go, and Atlanta now 24-20, and all of a sudden the offense is taking over here in Atlanta. Philly has 2 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. So let's see the replay here, and you're going to see NBC's doing a nice job of showing this. Matthews is going to get out in space. He's going to get out, and he's going to just absolutely destroy one of the corners. Couldn't see the number there.
He's for as horrendously bad as he played against the Vikings last week. He's playing up to the Pro Bowl level today.
Well, that was a hell of a block. I mean, that's an offensive lineman running 25 yards laterally and just killing the cornerback.
That's the kind of block that's going to make his dad proud, who's in the audience,
Unbelievable.
the crowd today. Just
great block.
Wow. Just thinking with, Philly's got a ton of time here to find pay dirt. They have to do that to win this game. Obviously down 4 now. So you got 2 timeouts and you got the 2-minute warning. So you're probably going to get maybe a playoff before the 2 minutes here.
Yep.
Depending on what you do with the kickoff.
They're going to make Philly return this thing, and he's got it to 10. It's a short kick, and Philly's going to get out to about the 32, 33. So 2:03 to go, and the Eagles, a field goal does them no good. So it is make it or break it time. They need about 67 yards.
That is another kickoff that Matt Bryant is doing over Matt Bosher, who's clearly doing with the groin thing from earlier.
Yep.
So, Bryant may be very accurate, but he just does not have the leg of Bosher on those kickoffs. So even getting it to the goal line is going to be a bit of a stretch, but Philly's got their chance here to tie it up, or no, to win the ball game. Not going to tie it up, excuse me. God, that block is just incredible by Jake Matthews. See, you got his dad up there on the screen right now, just
making noise.
Is his dad the greatest Oiler Titan of all time?
You could certainly make the case.
I feel it's like either him or Warren, man.
Yeah, Earl Campbell. I mean, Mike Munchak's a great player, but yeah, I mean, you could make the case in terms of body of work. Yeah, Bruce Matthews, not bad. We're at the 2-minute warning, by the way, in Atlanta, 24-20. Again, we'll be back here in a few minutes on NBC. By the way, to answer your question about Bruce Matthews, so if you're not aware of who Bruce Matthews is, you should be. Quick history lesson. He was drafted in that famed 1983 draft. 9-time first-team All-Pro, 14-time Pro Bowler. Made it every year between 1988 and 2001. That's, by the way, when he retired. So he was a Pro Bowler every year until he retired. On the 90s All-Decade team. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he was part of the Music City Miracle team towards the tail end of his career. And I was doing some research on him for a previous project. I believe he made Pro Bowl at all 3 positions.
He did.
I always associate him with like a tackle more towards the end, but he was definitely more of a guard, playing like opposite of Mike Munchak.
I was going to say for a long time, the Munchak's a Hall of Player in his own right, also in the Hall of Fame. 9-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first-team All-Pro, 6-time second-team All-Pro, 1980s All-Decade team. So between Munchak and Matthews, they could block.
Oh yeah,
they got it done up front.
And then Jake Matthews, his uncle is Clay Matthews Jr., and so his cousin is Clay Matthews III. Right.
All right, so let's answer a few questions here. Kevin, you're a Seahawks fan. Can we beat the Saints even though Breeze is out? Look, if Breeze is out, you're beating the Saints.
Yeah.
You're at home, and if Breeze isn't playing, good night. You'll be 3-0.
Yeah, I think that was with Hill earlier, or was that with you, where you're saying that, like, if you're doing your suicide league, you probably want to take the Seahawks.
You and I are talking about it.
Yeah, yep. probably take the Seahawks to win that game if you haven't done so yet. They've squeaked by their first 2 games, but if Brees isn't playing, I don't really have a lot of faith in Teddy Bridgewater winning amongst the 12s.
I see Ron asking me who do I think is going to win this game. I always feel like in these situations you take the team that's winning because your team's got to make it happen. So I'll take the Falcons. I think the Falcons find a way to win. Wentz has been uneven all game. But obviously right now, look, anything and all things are possible. This is a weird game and a weird week, frankly.
It's just going to really come down to who makes the big play. If we've got another play where Wentz throws it millimeters from being sacked, or, if you have Desmond Trufant get his 3rd interception of the night, that's really what it's going to come down to. I feel Atlanta has the momentum right now, but Philly has looked pretty good on their last few drives.
They have, and it's a 2nd and 2 at the 40. Look, 1:58 to go. Again, the Eagles to set the scene, 2 timeouts. And we are underway here as Wentz just hit as he throws and he's wide open. Aguilar just dropped a touchdown. He was going down the left sideline, and Wentz got hit as he threw. He laid it out there perfectly, and the ball went right through Nelson Aguilar's hands. Look, if he catches that ball, it's off to the races. I think he's gone. I think it's a touchdown. I don't think anybody's catching him.
Yeah.
It was a blown. Oh, yeah, no doubt it's a touchdown. Keanu Neal bit on a shorter route.
Actually, that wouldn't have been like Oliver kind of made like a bad read there. I think Neal might have caught up to him at some point, but
Could be. I have to see the all-22. My read on it was Oliver was in the short zone and Neal was supposed to take. Either way, they blew a coverage. And he was gone if not for a drop pass. Now 3rd and 2, we'll see if the Eagles can bounce back. And they hit Sproles for the first. He only gets 3, and he gets out of bounds, but he does pick up the first down. Wow, that is – the Eagles lose this game. Aguilar, that's a long flight home. Because that ball was as on the money as you could possibly ask for it to be. He he couldn't have walked up there and put it in a better spot.
That had the chance to be the best throw Wentz has thrown all night because he's been high on everything.
He has, and it was perfect. It was a perfect throw. So now you've got 1st and 10, a $1.47 to play. And the Eagles are their own 43. So we'll see how this all shakes. The Falcons, as you can see on the screen, leading 24-20, trying to get their first win of the year. And the Eagles and another drop. Another drop. This one would not have been a touchdown, but it would have been a nice starter here on 1st down. Sproles hit him right in the hands. And
you'd expect the veteran to make that. And
he's got to make that play. He knows. He's shaking his head. He's got to make that play. That's easy money. That's 5 to 7 yards all day long.
It's kind of amazing that he's still just being able to play at like a high level. Like I remember him coming out of his last year at K-State. I think he was like a Heisman finalist, and that was back in like 2003 when they won the Big 12.
He's been in the league forever. Philadelphia's trying to get to 2-0, and they have a long way to go, but it's possible. 2 timeouts. And Wentz looking for a big gainer, and it's incomplete across the middle. The Falcons were all over
again,
Zach Ertz.
A little high, and hit Ertz pretty hard there.
Ertz is hurt. Not maybe, I don't know how hurt, but he's down on one knee, and he's clearly feeling it.
I mean, Keanu Neal will hit you hard, and let's see what's going on with the replay here.
Just let him too far across the middle. It was a little high, and Neal just met Ertz right at the point of contact.
Yeah, it looks like got him kind of right on the outside part of the ribs there a little bit.
Yep.
3rd and 10 here with 1:39 left in the ball game.
And Philly took a timeout.
Really?
That's interesting. So you call a timeout there.
On an incompletion.
Or was it, you know what? I wonder if it was called because Ertz didn't get up fast enough. And although the time wasn't going. So no, they would have had to just call a timeout. 1:39 to go, and now it's 3rd and 10. So the Eagles, obviously, of course, 4-down territory here, but
you got to pick up something
Yep.
decent here.
Yep. Critical down for Philly. And Wentz is under a lot of trouble, and he's going to get sacked.
Ooh,
Beasley got to him. Wentz tried to sneak out the back door to the left side, and Beasley was just waiting for him. And another timeout's called, I'm sure, by the Eagles.
That's the biggest play of the season for Vic Beasley. He's been a much maligned player. Outside of his All-Pro year in 2016, he has just not been the star Atlanta thought he was good. They were going to get out of Clemson. But he was the guy earlier that almost sacked Wentz on that completion where his knee was almost down. But that's the thing with Beasley. He's a speed rusher. He's very much undersized, so he's not going to really be able to do much besides speed. He's not really much of a technician, never really able to pick up on the spin move from Dwight Freeney.
Well, that play really, not to take it away from Beasley, he really just ran around the back end of the pocket, but Wentz tried to flush out, and that was where Beasley was waiting. So 4th and 14, this is it. The Eagles have no timeouts left. If they don't convert here, the game ends right now. And timeout Atlanta. They wanted to see how the Eagles would line up. They got to look at it, and now they're going to call timeout so they can reassess what kind of coverage they'd like to play.
What have you thought of the kind of the new look pass rush with Quinn kind of being in charge of the defense all by himself? I know he kind of did it like under the radar when they kind of de facto fired Richard Smith midway through the season and kept him on the staff during the Super Bowl year. But it is nice to see the head coach's specialty starting to kind of do well for the team because you're a Chiefs fan. You want to see the quarterback play do well in offensive line with Andy Reid and stuff.
Right. I think the defense has played well tonight. I think the front's done a nice job. It's early returns, but I think Quinn's done well, and I think he's getting back to his roots as D coordinator. And here we go, 4th and 14, and the pressure's on. Wentz throws up a desperation heave. Aguilar is wide open at the 20-yard line.
Wow.
I don't know what in the world Atlanta was doing. I have no idea. And Jason Peters is down in the backfield on his back.
Clock is going.
I don't know what the Falcons were doing. I have no idea. Absolutely none.
If he's hurt, what kind of happens with Philly not having any timeouts?
I believe it's a 10-second runoff. I believe that's the rule under 2 minutes. Everybody on the Falcons, sans the 4 guys who were rushing, they were all 20 yards off the line of scrimmage, and nobody picks up Nelson Aguilar. If the throw was better, it would have been a touchdown. Mm-hmm. There's nobody even there.
Like you had Ricardo Allen just standing there flat-footed, and I mean he did go in there to make the stop, but that's a huge gain.
I have no idea what happened. I genuinely have no idea what the hell's going on. I don't know how the Falcons are charged with a timeout. I don't know why we don't have audio in here, but the Falcons were charged with a timeout. But Aguilar comes up with it, and all of a sudden, they're in the red zone, and the Eagles now have the advantage.
Yeah, our producer, Hunter Armour, says there's no 10-second runoff because there's injuries on both sides.
Okay. I don't know why it takes away time from the Falcons, but okay. So now, 1st and 10 with a minute 11 to go. So time no longer is even a factor here, or any real factor. Philly does have no timeouts. But one thing that is a factor, Andre Dillard, who looked very good in preseason, he's in. He's a rookie tackle. He is replacing Jason Peters. So an interesting spot if you're a rookie. You better know everything you need to know about the protections, the shifts, the motions, the stunts, the twists, all that. Tough spot to come into if you're Andre Dillard.
I mean, this is a blue chip prospect. This is a guy that the Philadelphia drafted, and it was like somebody that Houston absolutely wanted, and it just did not work out. Obviously, they probably wish they would have not drafted Titus Howard, but they traded for Laramie Tunsil now. But
that team's a mess. 1st and 10 at the 18-yard line, and the Eagles going 3 wide to the right. And Wentz goes for the end zone and incomplete.
Yeah.
Nobody even in the area. Wentz is screaming for a flag. Tough to see why, unless Hollins fell down on the way to the route or the way to the end of the route, because there was nobody even near that ball. So no flag, obviously. 2nd down and 10.
This would be the way this game would come down to. Like this is just how these two teams have played for the last 3 years.
Well, the last 2 times you have been on the snake-bitten end, sir. But this time the Falcons do hold the lead. As Sproles catches one underneath for about 1.5 yards. You give him 2.
Yeah.
Time's ticking, though.
Yeah, Campbell makes the tackle inbounds, so the clock is ticking. 3rd down.
The Eagles are hurrying the line. Under 50 seconds to go here. 3rd and 8 from the 16-yard line. 3 wide to the bottom, 1 wide to the top, and Wentz is looking to the left side and overshoots Ertz. Might have had him open. Not an easy throw, but had him. 4th and 8. So again, the Eagles facing what has to be the game.
This is the game right here. Someone's going to win it and someone's going to lose it. I know it sounds dumb, but it's just like you're within striking distance right now here if you're the Eagles. 4th and 8, so yeah, you can probably get another set of downs, but then again, you don't have any timeouts. So
Oh, this is it. I mean, they have to convert. You've got 3 on the play clock for the Eagles. Again, 3 wide to the bottom, and Wentz is looking, and he's got Ertz right at the line to gain. I don't know if he's got it. It is so close. So close. Let's see what they're going to mark him shy.
They're going to mark it shy.
They marked him well shy. Now, you know this is going to go to review.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no two ways.
It looked closer than where it's being marked right now. But
It's definitely closer than where it's marked. But my initial reaction is I didn't think he got it.
Yeah.
I thought he was shy.
Yeah, it looks like he was probably about like a foot short.
I agree. Let's see. You're going to see the replay. He's got to get to the 8. And I think right there he's about a half yard shy. He never got there reaching out. I don't think he got it. I think he's shy. Let's see. Here's a great look. Right down the line.
He
didn't get
shy,
it. He didn't get it. He's short.
Yeah,
he's short by about half a yard. Because he didn't get it reaching out. He's shy. It's a great tackle. Oliver. It's a great tackle. Because if he even gets another foot, he's got a first down.
Yeah. They marked it short initially, or they're going to come out and measure it? Because I don't really know if the booth's going to like.
They can measure all they want. He didn't get a first down. You guys are going to win this game. This would be one of the worst reversals of all time. He's clearly short of the line at the game.
But I do like what you were saying earlier. Like, this has been an up and down game for Oliver. He's made some good plays, and he's made some boneheaded stuff for a second-year player. And if this is short, he made the play of the game.
That's it. Call stands.
Call stands.
So the Eagles will fall to 1-1. The Falcons will rise up to 1-1. And all of a sudden, the NFC South looking a lot different. The Bucs won. They beat the Panthers. That wasn't expected. The Panthers fall 0-2. The Saints lose, which isn't shocking at Los Angeles, but Breeze is hurt. That's a game changer. And now all of a sudden the Falcons, on a 4th down play to Julio Jones, a receiver screen, they win the game. So a huge win for Atlanta, and obviously a tough loss here for Philadelphia.
Yeah, this is just I know Atlanta and Philly are not in the same division, but they kind of have a little bit of a good rivalry that kind of goes. These games always seem to be very feisty. I don't know who that is for your Chiefs, but like when you play somebody out of
New England.
New England,
or Pittsburgh for years.
This is definitely going to take a lot of pressure off of Dan Quinn. I did like the urgency with the Falcons played with today. They needed it because they look completely flat against the Vikings. And I got to give the Eagles credit here. This was a game that a lot of stuff was just not going right, and they battled. And playing in a dome, playing in prime time against a talented team like the Falcons is tough, and it came down to the last play. So I think there's a lot of positive takeaways for both teams here. Atlanta does come away with the victory, but you got to believe if Wentz was feeling more like himself, maybe the Eagles find a way to come away with this victory.
Could have been, but was not to be tonight. By the way, thank you, Tour de Force, for the comment. Appreciate it. We'll be here every Sunday night. So look, tonight, obviously, that wraps. We want to thank everybody who's been watching, certainly on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Again, please subscribe to the pages, whether it's YouTube or Facebook. It does a lot for us, and hopefully it'll do a lot for you. It'll give you something to watch. Stack in the Box podcast. Make sure to subscribe to that. That's Josh Hill and myself, along with former NFL offensive lineman Jeff Schwartz. It's once a week, every Tuesday. Plus, get some bonus episodes. We do some interviews with guys in and around the league. So
had Jason Witten on last week.
Yep. Good point. And we're hoping to get a really exciting guest this week as well. Working on that as we speak. So please go to iTunes and subscribe to Stacking the Box. Really, again, though, appreciate everything you guys do. And finally, just to wrap up quick here, we always like to finish with one question on each team. So since you were the Falcons fan, Bill, I'll ask you, how big was that win for Atlanta, considering what happened in the division, considering you were 0-1 going into the game? The Falcons get to 1-1 after 2 tough games. Thoughts on how you guys move forward now?
This is a huge win. This has been a team in the Eagles that has been a thorn in your side for the last 3 years. You started last season off losing on the road to the defending Super Bowl champions and losing 3 players in the process. The year prior, you lost on the last second play with Julio Jones not come down with that in the divisional round. And then the Eagles did beat up on you during the Super Bowl year. You have to feel pretty good about it because you weren't perfect, but you did find ways to win.
Right.
And like I said, this is probably the best team on paper you will play for the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season. So you'll feel really confident heading into your AFC South games.
Look, and if you're the Eagles, you feel fine. You're 1-1. The big thing is the injuries. How hurt is Alshon Jeffrey? How hurt is Deshaun Jackson? Carson Wentz didn't look right. Is he okay? He was in and out of the medical tent. Jason Peters at the end of the game. As long as the injuries come out okay for Philly, I think they're fine. They're a really good team. They're 1-1. No big deal. They go home. They'll deal with it. But it was a weird game. It was an interesting game. Ultimately, it was an exciting game. And the Falcons come away with the victory. So, for Josh Hill, who is on the other side of the glass, so to speak, at this point, we want to thank all of our video team, especially Richard Durante, who's holding it down in the control room. But for John Bueller, I am Matt Verderame. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next week.